The demigod is absolutely swarmed, these grey creatures just tearing into him from all sides, impacts exploding everywhere. But they just keep coming, their sheer numbers a nightmare as one launches itself for a finishing strike. But then, with an insane, explosive surge, the demigod just erupts in a blinding white-blue energy blast, sending those creatures flying. His eyes are just burning with fiery orange power, absolutely crackling with raw magic as he gets ready to drop the hammer. Then, a colossal explosion of blue and white energy just rips through the air from him, swallowing everything in a devastating wave of pure destruction. The chaotic magic just hangs in the air, swirling through the dust and debris of the absolute carnage he just unleashed. The sheer, raw power he unleashed just moments ago still reverberates, leaving behind a landscape utterly annihilated, a testament to his devastating might. But from the depths of that destruction, a horde of grotesque humanoids emerges, their menacing forms surveying the absolute carnage. One of them, eyes blazing crimson and tentacles writhing, snarls in disbelief, how could a mere human possibly dare to defy them? Its voice dripping with fury and utter bewilderment, it screams, "What exactly are you?" Then, a single, decisive footfall echoes across the devastation, and a voice dripping with arrogance retorts, "Haven't you heard of me?" The figure steps into full view, cloaked in power, and declares himself the apostle of justice, the one who punishes the wicked and brings order to the world. His eyes blazing with an electric blue glow, the Archmage finally reveals his true, legendary name, humanity's strongest 9-star Archmage, Lucas Trauman. The humanoids reel back in shock, one of them roaring, "How dare a measly human rival against me?" Lucas, with a smirk, simply retorts, "What an outdated mindset." With a chilling, confident smirk, Lucas unveils his true, terrifying ambition. When someone like him achieves everything, they inevitably start wanting to rule the world. With an arrogant smirk, Lucas points a finger, his voice dripping with challenge, "See you soon." But the two grotesque figures below only scoff, one of them mocking, A petty human thinks he can win against us. Yet, before their words even fade, an intricate magic circle explodes around him, its golden light blinding the chamber. His eyes blazing with fierce determination as he finishes his thought, "That's." The very air shimmers, absolutely crackling with raw magical energy. Concentrating into a blinding, pulsating golden orb in his outstretched hand. Then, a devastating explosion of light and force erupts, engulfing the entire area in a brilliant, destructive golden aura. The sheer, unstoppable power of his spell absolutely tearing through everything in its path. The golden explosion from Lucas's spell absolutely shreds the air, sending one of his opponents spiraling helplessly through the raw, radiant energy. While the other is violently contorted by the sheer, overwhelming force, his body twisting unnaturally under the immense pressure, barely holding together. Looking down at the absolute chaos he's unleashed, Lucas's voice booms out, confident and chilling, a stark reminder that his power is on a whole other level, far beyond their wildest nightmares. He then drops the bombshell, revealing his true identity, declaring himself the one and only Lucas Trauman. But he's not done. Suddenly, a swirling blue vortex erupts beneath the first opponent, dragging him inexorably into its terrifying depths, a look of utter, frozen shock plastered across his face. The second opponent, witnessing this terrifying spectacle, recoils in absolute horror, a desperate, choked cry escaping his lips. His face contorts in a primal, gut-wrenching scream of terror and pain, as the horrifying reality of his situation finally slams into him. The blue vortex expands, reaching for him next, a hungry maw, his body stretching and distorting as he's violently dragged into the swirling abyss. With a final, desperate, futile struggle, his arm vanishes into the shimmering blue light, leaving nothing but faint, dissipating particles in its wake. A terrifying new threat, the demigod, just drops into the scene, radiating pure power. With a voice that shakes reality, the demigod claims to be the god humans worship, but Lucas isn't having any of it, firing back that he's never praised this thing. The demigod lays down the law, calling Lucas's moves the unbridled order, but Lucas isn't backing down, shouting that he'll be the judge. Laughing off the whole order and judge thing, Lucas completely shuts down the demigod, asking if anyone could even trust a world run by it. The demigod actually admits Lucas is beyond human, but then hits him with the ultimate diss, "You're still just a human." A bone-chilling laugh rips from the demigod, its taunts filling the entire space. Then, bam. An unseen force crushes Lucas, ripping a scream from him as his body gets twisted by the insane pressure. He fights back, but then the chilling truth hits him, he can't gather any mana. The demigod's judgment rings true, the sin of opposing God. His glowing eye shows the brutal truth, a power that which is not permitted to humans. The demigod's voice thunders, declaring itself the very god humanity worships, but Lucas, utterly unyielding, fires back that he's never once bowed down or praised such a being. This defiance, the demigod roars, is a deadly sin, and as Lucas is crushed into absolute despair, he'll be consumed by endless doubt. He lets out a pained urgh under the crushing force, the demigod's voice hammering, doubt and doubt and doubt again. The torture intensifies, promising that soon, he'll curse his very existence, dragged back to the void to embrace eternal suffering. The monstrous, ancient form of the demigod looms, its power crushing Lucas, making him regret ever existing. Lucas's face twists in pure agony, spectral eyes swirling around him, as the demigod pronounces the fate of all who dare defy God. His hand clenches, a faint blue glow struggling to emerge as the demigod delivers the final blow, is my very own punishment. Then, a jarring cut to the present day. Lucas is slamming into a wall, his old mage robes replaced by modern gear. Now, standing with a new ally, Lucas faces down a monstrous threat, snarling, "Do you think we're beggars?" He demands to know why anyone would even bargain with such worthless monsters. Even as a kid, Lucas was a savage, straight up roasting the broke bullies trying to get a rise out of him. But that sass came with a price, as some dude instantly grabbed his hair, yanking his head back with a loud, "Couch." The jerk kept his grip, and Lucas was stuck, trapped by the Academy's stupid rules, unable to unleash his true power. The hair-pulling just kept going. With the main bully getting all up in his face, bragging he'd have booted Lucas ages ago if they weren't related, or whatever. Lucas's face was pure agony, but he just took the disrespect. Another one of the goons, watching the whole thing, even commented on how much of a jerk the main bully was being. The main bully just flashed a creepy, evil grin, showing his true colors. But Lucas had enough. In a flash of pure defiance, he exploded, dropping two bullies with a brutal kick. Thwack. He unleashes a lightning-fast punch, sending the first bully flying. Without hesitation, he lands a brutal kick to the second bully's stomach. A pained grunt erupts from the larger bully as Lucas's kick sends him flying through the air. The first bully tries to get up, only to be met with another devastating kick that sends him sprawling. One bully begs for his life, but the orange-haired leader just stomps on his head, shutting him up. He grinds his foot down with a sadistic smirk, ignoring the desperate cries. Then, he locks eyes with Lucas, the orange-haired bully sneeringly reminds him about their magic class. A chilling grin spreads across his face as he declares that Lucas is stuck with him. He yanks Lucas's hair with a vicious grip, whispering a chilling promise to be gentle. Still trapped, helpless, Lucas is subjected to the bully's chilling threats, a promise to make this day unforgettable, all while demanding a price for their reputation. Then, the bully's foot comes down, a chilling declaration that Lucas won't be walking right tomorrow. A sickening crunch echoes, as his hand is mercilessly crushed. Still grinding his heel, the bully sneers, telling him to keep the screams down and just go home. Lucas's other hand clenches, trembling, a silent fury building as he finds this whole ordeal utterly annoying. A guttural "urgh" rips from his throat, as he lies there, beaten but not defeated. Then, a sudden, sharp internal shift. A resounding "keng," as a burning desire ignites, "I want to be stronger." His eyes ignite with an electric blue, a fierce, unyielding resolve burning within. The flashback shatters, and Lucas, now in his full archmage glory, stands on high alert, a shimmering blue aura radiating from him as he wonders if he just heard something. His eyes snap open, a dazed expression slowly giving way as the past's echoes finally dissipate. The last fragments of memory shatter, and he's back, but the world's still a chaotic blur. Vision sharpening, he takes in the desolate, alien landscape, a monstrous, twisted structure dominating the horizon. Amalgamations, he scoffs, oh well. This grotesque fusion of flesh and metal, a silent, terrifying monument to unknown powers. Then, with a surge of power, Lucas stands, his archmage form blazing with ethereal blue light, proclaiming, "It's about time, my mind." Lucas Troman, cloaked and weary, stares up at the desolate sky, grappling with the sheer scale of time. Has it been hundreds, or even thousands of years? A heavy sigh escapes him. This world, a shattered testament to divine fury, lies broken beneath an eternal storm, a stark reminder of the price for defying a god. Amidst the crushing darkness, a single, desperate thought rings out, is this even real? He craves power. His glowing blue eyes, now burning with fierce resolve, reflect on his former self, a shocking realization of his past weakness hitting him hard. Then, a jarring shift, and he looks down, a spark of confusion igniting in his gaze. Suddenly, he's in a grand, ornate hall, facing a towering, robed figure. "Father," he demands, "what did you just?" But the figure's voice slices through his question, cold and absolute. "I said, you are to disappear." The demigod's voice absolutely thunders with pure disdain, ripping into Lucas and demanding he stop tarnishing their name. Lucas stays absolutely silent, his eyes fixed on the ground. But a quiet storm is raging inside him. The grand hall itself seems to mock his submission, as the demigod challenges his entire being. He's on his knees before the towering demigod, who keeps pushing him, demanding to know if he trusts a weakling, if he's truly weak, and if he's finally had enough. The demigod's voice turns to ice, flat out stating Lucas isn't allowed to be weak, and that the Blake house has zero tolerance for cowards, branding him utterly incapable of getting stronger. But as those crushing words echo, Lucas finally snaps his head up, a fierce defiance blazing in his eyes, and he declares his true identity, I, Fry. The demigod, completely blind to Lucas's change, just keeps on condemning him, declaring that Lucas has never truly existed in his life. A fierce, almost glowing glint ignites in Lucas's eye as he mentally slams back at the demigod's words, thinking, and I have never appeared in your life either. His gaze, once broken, now blazes with an unyielding fire, a single tear cutting through the grime as he mentally screams defiance at the demigod's every word. The world shifts, revealing the unassuming facade of Frey's house, a place hiding a past darker than its shadowed walls. Dark, silent windows betray nothing of the turmoil brewing inside. A cluttered study, filled with books and scattered notes, hints at a life consumed by knowledge, and perhaps, crushing loneliness. Amidst the academic chaos, a framed photo on the desk reveals a younger, blonde Fry, a ghost of a past that clashes violently with the present. But then, a different figure, long dark hair cascading, stands by the window, back turned, a suffocating silence filling the room. His mind is a dark abyss, a single, chilling word escaping his lips, revealing the true horror of his situation. He stares down, a cup forgotten in his grasp, his face a mask of profound, hopeless contemplation. His fingers clench around a pill bottle, the crushing weight of his final decision almost visible. Pure, unadulterated terror grips him. This isn't just fear, it's the chilling, bone-deep realization that death is absolutely horrifying. His mind is spinning, and the demigod's voice, like a venomous serpent, just keeps whispering, planting doubt after doubt after doubt. His eyes are wide with pure agony. The shadowy figure looms, its glowing eyes burning through the void, proclaiming that soon, he'll even doubt his own damn existence. He grits his teeth, fighting back against the mental onslaught. But then, a furious roar erupts from him, challenging the very concepts of God and order. Shut up. The demigod just keeps on taunting, mocking him, did you really think this pathetic world was all there is? It claims to understand now. Tears stream down his face as he clenches his jaw, cursing this horrible world and the unseen hand messing with it, but then, a fire ignites within him, a fierce, unbreakable resolve to never give up. With a surge of pure defiance, he screams out his tormentor's name, the demigod. He unleashes a primal scream, his face a mask of pure, unyielding defiance, swearing to conquer this hellish torment, no matter the cost. The internal battle rages, a furious desire to punch back, even as his own blood erupts, a brutal testament to his agony. His eyes, blazing with intensity, snap open to a shocking, sudden realization. A raw, desperate question tears from his throat, what's this, as he confronts an utterly alien sensation. From the searing light, a monstrous, clawed hand lunges, poised to consume him whole. For a fleeting instant, utter despair grips him, a chilling whisper of surrender, let's die. But then, a jolt of pure clarity, as he fiercely challenges the torment itself, who is taken? Who is losing consciousness and dying? His eyes blaze with unyielding resolve, accepting his destiny without a shred of blame. Even as a shadowy grip chokes the life from him, Lucas fiercely confronts the unseen entity, accepting his fate as the one left behind, yet daring to question its very essence. He's falling, spiraling into a dark void, absolutely crushed by self-blame. It's all my fault, he thinks, I was born without wings. Tears stream down his face, his voice cracking with pure despair as he screams, it's my fault I can't get stronger. He keeps falling, but then, a sudden, sharp question cuts through all the self-pity, making him wonder, is that actually true? But elsewhere, a group of onlookers is watching, one guy just shrugs, yeah, that makes sense, while another asks, is he even really part of the heavenly host? And a third person just scoffs, the disgrace of the heavenly host. But Lucas, a dark, knowing smile twisting his lips, fires back, if I were you, I would have kicked the bucket ages ago. Suddenly, he's glowing with a fierce, pale blue light, standing tall against a horde of shadowy figures, and he absolutely roars, don't make me laugh. Who are you, to judge me? His eyes are blazing with pure resolve, the pale blue light flaring as he stares down every single one of his unseen critics. He's down, out cold, utterly defenseless on the unforgiving ground. Then, a sickening crunch. Something inside him is shattering, breaking apart. Suddenly, shadowy tendrils erupt from the void, grabbing him, hoisting him up like a puppet. A chilling voice booms, the seal is being released. How did this happen? But then, a different memory, a different touch, a hand reaching out to him, a voice whispering, the moment that child entered my mind, it was like pure sunlight, a warmth I hadn't known. His face, battered and bloody, tells a story of pure torment. He struggles to sit up, his gaze locking onto the figure in front of him, a raw, desperate question tearing from his throat, who? That same gentle hand extends again, a soft touch to his brow. A lone tear streaks down his face, a silent testament to the storm within. His gaze lifts, a fierce determination in his voice as he declares, if I can be reborn someday. Then I hope. The ultimate power spring has been unleashed. He, once the strongest, now explodes into an ethereal, reborn form. A powerful entity with blazing blue eyes and untamed, dark hair, every muscle surging with untamed energy. This reborn self is crowned with mighty wings, a true symbol of his epic transformation. Then, a sudden jolt. He snaps awake, a searing pain across his face, his electric blue eyes flaring with confusion as he's ripped back to reality. He reaches out, a silent, desperate question hanging in the air, his dark hair now framing his bewildered face. A tiny, glowing blue particle flits past his face, his eyes still blazing with an intense, otherworldly power. A sharp gasp escapes him, the full weight of his new reality crashing down. He pushes himself up, his bare feet scraping against the wooden floor, rising to his full height once more. He turns to the window, gazing out with fierce resolve, a whisper escaping his lips, "I'm finally." A chilling voice screams at him to go back, to rewind 2 millennia of history. But the ghost of Fry Blake, the absolute weakest human, still haunts him, a past he's left in the dust. But now, staring into his own eyes, a new reality hits him. He's Lucas Trauman, the strongest mage alive. The two identities collide, a thunderous declaration ripping through his mind. From this second on, the past and present are one. At the window, he embraces the fusion, realizing this new life, this raw freedom, was a gift from the power he now wields. With a powerful sweep, he rips open the heavy curtains, blasting the room with blinding light. Staring out at the world, a monumental promise explodes from him: he's going to give everyone the power to fly. His hand presses against the glass, a silent, intense gaze fixed on the world outside. From his high perch, he scans the horizon, his eyes burning with fierce, unshakable resolve. His eyes burn with an unyielding resolve. With a defiant gesture, he points skyward, directly challenging the one hailed as a god, the demigod. Standing at the window, he makes a chilling promise: he'll be back, and it won't be long, he'll definitely get his revenge. Then, with a direct, piercing gaze, he delivers a final, ominous message: see you soon. Under a full moon, a sleepy village lies silent, wrapped in the chilling night mist. But a lone figure, radiating a soft blue light, is already leaving the village behind, pushing deeper into the dark, waiting forest. Engulfed in a blazing, crackling blue aura, he grapples with his own strength, knowing he can't unleash his true power in this borrowed body. His raw, mystical energy saturates the air, making the misty swamp around him explode with shimmering, glowing particles. A strained grimace twists his features as he fights his own power, the crushing truth that his real strength is still caged, hitting hard. Amidst the towering trees, his aura exploding, he vows to master divine energy and forge his body into an unyielding fortress to hoard even more power. Eyes still shut, his jaw clenches, a burning resolve hardening his face. With his back to the village, facing a shadowy, foreboding path, he knows he has to reclaim his true powers, and fast, if he's going to take on the demigod. A monstrous shadow erupts from within him, eyes blazing crimson, as he screams his absolute resolve: I need to be even stronger than I was before. Untamed power explodes around him, a chaotic storm of blue energy and razor-sharp red fragments. He dives headfirst into the maelstrom, his eyes now burning with a brilliant, controlled blue, ready to dominate the chaos. But the monstrous shadow within still thrashes, its fiery red eyes a constant, burning challenge. Dark, formless currents of power churn and coil, threatening to consume him whole. Yet, he stands unyielding amidst the chaos, his hair whipping around him, as the blue energy finally begins to obey, coalescing around his very being. An ancient voice, deep within his soul, warns him: don't be hasty. This is the chance he's waited for 4,000 years. Eyes closed, he concentrates, the inner voice commanding him to discard your urge and quell your rage. This is the ultimate test of his will. Under the silent watch of the full moon, the storm within calms. For now, the battle for ultimate power is far from over. He's made up his mind. The time for hesitation is over, it's time to act. The scene shifts to a mystical forest, light piercing through the dense leaves, revealing a secluded spot. And there he is. Transformed, with wild white hair and a physique of pure power, he's ready for anything. His eyes, still shut, hint at the immense power brewing within. Suddenly, one eye bursts open, blazing with an intense, pale blue light, a clear sign of his awakened power. Mana erupts around his arm, forming a vibrant blue aura. He's charging up. A full-body blue aura explodes around him as he states with absolute conviction: looks like I've got to handle this myself. But from the darkness, a fierce, animalistic eye with a fiery brown-orange iris observes, its stare chillingly intense. He's writhing, a raw, primal sound tearing from his throat as his body goes into full rejection mode. A vile, purple-black goo erupts from him, and the sound is just Uek. The narration confirms it: the impure blood, the stuff that shouldn't be there, is getting expelled from Frey's body, leaving a disgusting mess behind. His face is a mask of pure agony and resolve. He's got to get it all out. He's screaming: I need to vomit it all. The last drop, and as he does, a powerful blue energy explodes from him, signaling the ultimate purge. The blue energy goes absolutely wild, swirling like a hurricane around him, his screams now a terrifying symphony of power and agony. It's a full-blown energy vortex now, the purification is complete, and he's unleashed. Switching scenes. In a totally different vibe, a busy town square, a young woman and a guy are just chilling, walking through the crowd. The woman turns to her buddy and asks, "David, what's up? Why are you here so early today?" Jack pops up, instantly calling out David for being way too early. But David just fires back, demanding to know why Jack was hitting birds yesterday. Jack casually drops the bombshell that he'd taken a ton of sleeping pills and just ran off, leaving David utterly baffled and asking if he's talking about sleeping pills. Later, David's just chilling, checking out a notice board that's flashing a system error message, and all he can think about is lunch. But elsewhere, something incredible is happening. A radiant, winged figure, absolutely blazing with golden light, is soaring through swirling, ethereal clouds. This majestic being, with massive, feathered wings, just keeps climbing, absolutely drenched in brilliant, otherworldly light. Then, just as suddenly, Lucas Troman is back, looking totally disoriented and asking how much power he just lost. His pale blue eyes betray a deep exhaustion and a heavy concern. He's suddenly in a desolate, blood-soaked wasteland, and a voice drops a bombshell. This is all happening inside some young kid's body. His face is a mess, bruised and bloody, showing just how much he's been through. Outside a massive academy, a mysterious woman checks him out, commenting on his rough look but hinting her own problems are way worse. Suddenly, a monstrous hunger hits him, and all he can think about is eating. Next thing you know, he's in a chaotic West Rod Academy trainee canteen, a total food frenzy. The student body starts buzzing. As they openly question if he's been starving for a whole week, their gossip filled with shock and curiosity. But hey, some students are just living their best life, chowing down on soup, totally hyped about the Korea soup they found. The gossip keeps going, with students trying to figure out who this new guy is, finally nailing him as Fry Blake. Waiting, he thinks, is his new superpower, as he stares out a massive, arched window. His golden eyes burn with intense thought, a subtle tension etched on his face. Elsewhere, a brown-haired student rages, proclaiming herself a great goddess who shouldn't be stuck with these kids, as a nearby peer lets out a frustrated sigh. But Lucas knows there's no escaping this new life, a mind-bending 4,000-year gap now filled with Frey's memories. He's got to master this world's mechanics first, then he'll make his move. His mind plunges into a chaotic, dark vortex, glowing with faint red energy as he downloads the sheer volume of knowledge. From a high vantage, he's a lone wolf, striding down a vast corridor, his blue robes trailing like a banner. His eyes are locked, his determination absolute, a silent command to himself, don't rush this. He bursts through the door, a sharp thwack of impact immediately following his entrance as someone goes flying. The poor student, completely blindsided, is sent sprawling, a mid-air tumble before an inevitable crash. Lucas Troman takes a beat, surveying the chaos he just caused, a silent judgment passing over his features. David, still sprawled on the ground, glares up at the scene, while other students just keep on chatting, totally oblivious to the drama. Lucas scans the room, spotting a huddle of students, one of them absolutely raging about tickets, furious that someone messed up the count. He keeps ranting, yelling about how many times he's warned them to bet right, his fury practically boiling over as he glares at the clueless students. Brushing off the gambling, Lucas coolly steps right over David, his foot barely missing the stunned student. Just moments later, Lucas is chilling at a desk, with David still on the floor right next to him, an awkward silence filling the air. David glares up, his face a perfect blend of what just happened, and pure irritation, totally bewildered. He takes in the scene, a smirk playing on his lips. Finally here, buddy, he thinks, ready for whatever comes next. A golden-haired figure stares down, his face a mask, as a voice cuts through the air, questioning his very presence. Meanwhile, a brown-haired figure locks onto him, his eyes burning with an ominous red glow. Then, with a sharp tone, he snaps, "Oi, Fry." David doesn't waste a second, cutting straight to the chase, hand over 10 lunch tickets. Pointing an accusatory finger, he lays out his case, "I lost my tickets because of you, got it? So you're gonna pay me back." As Fry stares down, David's fury boils over. "Who do you think you are, hitting my head like that?" The onlookers can only wonder if this is some twisted form of friendship. His face twisting in a snarl, David's internal monologue delivers the verdict, "Yeah, definitely not." Suddenly, a crimson glow erupts from an eye, a mysterious symbol blazing within its core. While David, absolutely fuming, shoves his hand into Frey's face, practically screaming, "What the? Are you trembling right now?" Frey's face contorts in pure annoyance, snapping back, "I'm trembling. Because of a giant like him?" A monstrous snarl rips from his throat, sharp fangs flashing, a raw, untamed power surging. But David just doubles down, slamming Frey's head into the ground with savage force, pushing him further. But then, a sudden, explosive quang. Fry absolutely explodes, launching David backward with mind-blowing force, sending him soaring. That crimson glow in his eye just goes supernova, the symbol practically screaming power. Meanwhile, the other students, including Jack, are absolutely floored, one blurting out, "HUH. What? Wasn't Fry in the classroom just now?" As another demands, "I'm not the only one who saw that, right?" The orange-haired student can only stare, utterly bewildered by the sudden turn of events. Fry, still processing the situation, mutters, "Oh, so it's them." Another student, witnessing the chaos, remembers the chilling words, "The ones who made you guys run, Young." David, absolutely furious, can only manage a guttural, "TCH." He lunges, grabbing Fry by the collar, his voice dripping with venom, "Geez. Those eyes just..." But before he can even finish, a devastating blow connects, sending him flying with an explosive quang. A blinding burst of electric blue energy explodes from Frey's hand, ripping through the very air. David is absolutely rocketed backward, a shimmering blue shockwave marking his violent trajectory. He's still airborne, slamming into something unseen with another thunderous quang. David is absolutely launched, his body a blur as he slams into the ground with brutal force. Dust explodes on impact, leaving him stunned and broken. Blood streams from his lips, a brutal reminder of Frey's power. Fry looms over the fallen David, a chilling display of absolute dominance. The crowd erupts in disbelief, someone shouts, demanding to know what just happened and why he was sent flying. Jack, wide-eyed, confirms the grim truth, David is out cold. A flicker of surprise crosses Frey's face, a moment of, "Did I really do that to a kid?" But then, a powerful, ethereal voice cuts through his thoughts, a figure with flowing grey-purple hair and piercing blue eyes, declaring this entire event a special service for Fry, humanity's strongest great mage, Lucas. A bone-chilling crack rips through the air as Fry coolly strides away, leaving David absolutely wrecked and out cold on the classroom floor. The other students are absolutely stunned, one gasping, "What the heck did Fry just pull off? No way he can do something like that." A red-haired student and her friend are totally freaking out, their expressions screaming pure terror and confusion. Their eyes are practically popping out of their heads, reflecting the insane power surge, as they try to process the absolute chaos that just went down. A wave of murmurs and shuffling sweeps through the room as everyone turns to the commotion, someone shouting, "What's all this racket about?" Jack and another student burst into the classroom, freezing at the sight, Jack gasping in shock as he processes the absolute mess. His eyes narrow, the monocle flashing as he zeroes in on the unfolding disaster. A crowd of students swarms around David's unconscious body, someone shrieking, "Oh my god. Jack's out cold. He's totally unresponsive." Jack's monocle-enhanced eye captures the brutal truth of the scene, a silent, intense stare at the shocking aftermath. Kneeling beside the fallen, Jack's eyes snap open, instantly recognizing the sheer, raw power still vibrating in the atmosphere. These aren't just random bursts, these are undeniable traces of martial skills, supercharged with mana. This is next-level stuff. His face contorts, a visceral shock rippling through him. He adjusts his monocle, a chilling thought forming, there's no way anyone, not even the top professors, should have this kind of talent. His eyes dart around the room, desperate for a clue. Who could have done this? He remembers Professor Keene, the guy who teaches everything, is supposed to be supervising this class, and that just makes his head spin. The unconscious trainee professor is in danger, but word on the street is he'll be fine soon, and he was the only one in the class when it went down. While Jack's mind races, Professor Keene, the bald, middle-aged supervisor, watches the students from the back, a knowing smirk playing on his face. His expression is totally unreadable, but there's definitely a glint of amusement in those eyes. He's absolutely loving the vibe in this class, especially with all the female trainees around. And who catches his eye? None other than the super cute and pretty Isabel. As he keeps an eye on the bustling classroom. But wait, what's this? Someone spots Fry in class, totally shocked. Isabel is not having it, shooting a warning glance to keep Fry off his radar. Professor Keene himself rolls up to Fry, wondering what he's doing here and when he even started showing up. His face gives nothing away. While Isabel's still on Frey's case, pointing out he's clearly not 100% after his last stunt, but he's already back in the classroom grind. He just chills, watching Isabel try to play it cool, whispering for him to dial it back because the professor's on the grind. David's totally grossed out, and Isabel spills the tea, saying it's because he used to bully Lucas every single time he came around. Professor Keene, from the front, catches their whole convo, and drops a loaded question, "Oh really? So, there were things more important than MY class, huh?" He just stands there, hand on his hip. Isabel, totally cringing, confesses that's pretty much it, then tries to play the "I'm super sensitive at this age" card. Professor Keen bursts out laughing, muttering, "What is she even saying?" then quickly warns, "Don't you dare laugh, or you'll seriously regret it." He spins around, face turning stone cold, dripping with sarcasm as he agrees his class is totally skippable and unimportant. Isabel's face is beet red with embarrassment, and Lucas Stroman, observing her, can't help but find the professor's show funny, even as he realizes she's totally about to get reamed for it. Professor Keen then drops the bomb on the class, declaring, "All right, pop quiz time." He's still going off. Professor Keen lays down the law, making it clear that disrespect won't fly in his academy. But then, out of nowhere, he drops the first question of the pop quiz. The question: name 3 items used by the legendary magic warrior King Kassajan. But that name, Kassajan, hits Lucas Stroman like a bolt, his eyes snapping wide with an intense, almost dangerous focus. Professor Keen, sharp as ever, catches the flicker of reaction, and demands to know what was just said. Lucas Stroman, his face now a mask of intense focus, leans in, confirming the name, Kassajan. 4,000 years ago, the world was a canvas of endless mountains. Peaks piercing the sky, a vast, untamed wilderness waiting. Then, high above, a lone figure appeared on a cliff, taking in the epic view. Golden hair tied back, shoulders rippling with power, he was ready for anything. Then, a surge of raw power, his hand igniting with a brilliant, ethereal glow, charging up for impact. Then, with an explosive, decisive force, he delivered a devastating punch. He unleashes an earth-shattering surge of power, a golden inferno erupting around him. His punch detonates into a colossal blue energy wave, ripping through reality itself. Slamming into the distant mountains with an apocalyptic explosion. That just keeps expanding, vaporizing everything in its path. The mountain range is gone, replaced by a monstrous, smoking crater. As the raw, blue energy finally begins to fade, leaving only devastation. He surveys the absolute carnage, a tired breath escaping his lips. Contemplating the fallen and challenging the very notion of the rays, once their reign crumbles. Then, with a steely gaze, he declares his own name, Lucas. A hulking warrior, muscles rippling, takes a moment to reflect, a deep thought crossing his mind. This is Kassajan, a legendary figure, now acknowledging an arrival. He warms up, every stretch a testament to his power, his movements explosive. Lucas Stroman steps onto the scene, a smirk playing on his face, calling out his friend for still grinding even when he's finally here. But Lucas isn't here to just chat, he's got tea ready, insisting his friend take a break. Now chilling with tea, Kassajan can't help but roast Lucas, calling him musclehead, and wondering if he'll ever settle down with all this training. He keeps going, genuinely worried about Lucas's future, and if his dedication to power will leave him alone forever. But Lucas drops a bombshell, declaring that real power means standing alone, and that for a true martial artist, women are just rocks. Kassajan's jaw drops, absolutely floored by Lucas's wild take. Deep in thought, Lucas Stroman questions everything, wondering if his new life is truly a departure from his old one. Kassajan's gaze pierces him, a silent challenge hanging in the air between the two powerful figures. Amidst their heavy discussion, a simple offer of tea attempts to lighten the mood. Kassajan's smirk is loaded with meaning, a clear sign he knows something Lucas doesn't want revealed. Then, the bombshell drops, Kassajan unleashes a brutal taunt, calling Lucas Magic Warrior King Kassajan and ripping into him for his newfound fame after 400 years, despite being nothing more than a musclehead. Lucas can't deny the sting of truth, muttering to himself that his friend is still stuck in the warrior class, despite the grand title. Suddenly, the setting changes to a classroom, where Isabel, a student, boldly interrupts the professor, dropping a deep philosophical question about knowledge itself, then smoothly apologizing to Professor Keen. Without missing a beat, she declares her unwavering belief, true knowledge can only be gained through classroom learning. Lucas and Kassajan exchange bewildered glances, utterly perplexed by Isabel's bizarre behavior. Her eyes snap wide open in shock. As Kassajan can't help but comment on her soldier-like demeanor, despite her innocent looks. Isabel, unwavering, presses her point, the legendary magic warrior King Kassajan was, in fact, a martial artist. He relied solely on his physical prowess, she declares, making it impossible to label him a magician. Her conviction burns in her eyes, a fierce, unyielding stare. The air crackles with unspoken challenge, a silent battle of wills playing out between them. Then, with a pointed tone, Kassajan singles her out, trainee Isabel. But Isabel fires back, demanding to know if he's daring to insult every single practitioner of magic warrior techniques. She's not backing down, her face a mask of stubborn conviction, declaring her interpretation as absolute truth. The entire classroom is on edge, every eye glued to the explosive confrontation unfolding before them. But Kassajan? He's completely unfazed, his calm demeanor only fueling the fire as he challenges her narrow view of magic. He doubles down, stating that a martial artist is a magician, even dropping Lucas's name as if to say, he'd back me up on this. David's jaw drops, flashing back to when Cass Jean would have thrown down just for the idea of being called a magician. Isabel's eyes narrow, a spark of defiance igniting as she realizes this isn't just a debate, it's a full-blown intellectual brawl. Her patience snaps, and she explodes forward, seizing Cass Jean's shirt, practically daring him to explain himself. The shirt strains under her furious grip, a sharp, tack sound punctuating the explosive moment. David can only stare, utterly stunned, whispering that she's completely out of line. A subtle smirk, just barely there, playing on his lips. Isabel, now back in her seat, can't shake his earlier words about being a minimalist. And even though she's giving it her all, she feels like her arguments are just bouncing off him. Then, Cass Jean pivots, facing the entire class, throwing down the gauntlet. His intense gaze sweeps across the room, daring anyone to disagree. He throws his hand up, absolutely certain, proclaiming there's no way he could be wrong. Jack's like, whoa, that's kinda weird, but Professor Keen, after a beat. The classroom is buzzing, and then, a voice cuts through the noise, shouting, Fry Blake. The spotlight now squarely on the blonde-haired prodigy, who doesn't even flinch. Meanwhile, Cass Jean, with a face like thunder, isn't backing down, his intense stare daring anyone to contradict him. He practically snarls, asking if they've lost their minds, challenging them to keep up their defiant attitude, all while Professor Keen watches the drama unfold, a silent judge. But Fry Blake. He's completely unfazed, coolly demanding, next question, as if this whole debate is just a warm-up. Professor Keen is absolutely floored, sweat pouring down his face as his eyes practically pop out. David and Jack are just as shocked, their faces frozen in pure astonishment, totally speechless. Even the orange-haired student is completely baffled, his mind clearly blown, totally confused. Isabel's jaw is practically on the floor, her eyes wide with a mix of shock and a sudden, terrifying understanding, it's all hitting her at once. The professor's voice booms, utterly stunned, asking if Lucas Troman actually nailed every single question. His face a mask of pure shock. How is this even possible, he mutters, especially about the demigod, Lucas knew everything. It's insane. Someone else whispers, is this really Fry Blake, the Academy's biggest loser, before the professor snaps, quiet. Lucas Troman, completely unfazed, just coolly asks the professor if he has any more questions, like it's no big deal. Professor Keen's mind was blown, utterly unable to process how this brat knew so much about ancient history. But Lucas? He just let out a cool humph. The professor's jaw dropped, his eyes practically popping out of his head. He was shaking, barely able to whisper Lucas's name in pure shock. David and Jack were absolutely stunned, gasping in disbelief, as the professor could only mutter, good grief. Even Isabel was completely taken aback, her face a picture of utter surprise. Later, the academy stood silent under a bright sky. As Isabel made her exit, needing some time to herself, clearly deep in thought about everything that just happened. Isabel, still reeling from Lucas's display, steps up to him, a question on her lips, are you going for lunch? But he doesn't even flinch, his eyes locked on something unseen. Completely ignoring her, he just pivots and starts walking. His face, a mask of indifference. Isabel stares, a stunned look on her face. She's absolutely floored, whispering, he ignored me. The shock fades into thought, her eyes dropping. But then, a resolute step, and she's on his trail. Her footsteps softly tap as she trails him, both figures now moving across the campus. She finally catches up, shouting his name, but he just keeps walking, completely blowing her off. But she's not giving up. She confronts him, demanding to know why he's following her, and he just casually drops, are you following me? I'm just going to lunch. Totally baffled by his attitude, she blurts out, what's with that weird way you talk? He just brushes it off as family heritage and tells her to get lost. Eventually, they hit up this massive academy building, probably heading straight for the cafeteria. And inside? A total feast. Lucas, with a look of pure hunger, is ready to demolish everything, as someone asks, are you seriously gonna eat all that? He's at a table, surrounded by other students, just tearing into his food, while someone says a quick grace, every meal is a blessing. Thanks for the food. Isabel watches him devour an insane amount of food and just has to ask, why am I even talking to you? No need to know. And he just deadpans, no need to know. Later, she's all alone, furiously writing, a thought popping into her head, don't get it twisted. There just weren't any other seats. She keeps writing, totally fixated on his words. For millennia ago, the Light Ages reigned supreme, a golden era of human power and knowledge, and as the teacher drones on, Isabel can't help but notice Lucas Troman's utterly bored expression, completely unfazed by the supposed peak of civilization. A flicker of disdain crosses his face, a silent, almost arrogant dismissal of the entire historical account. A barely audible scoff escapes him, a dismissive, good grief. With an almost mocking tone, he declares, 4,000 years, and magecraft hasn't just stagnated, it's actually gone backwards. His casual remark hits with the force of a revelation, a chilling echo of a demigod's incarnation, possessing knowledge that transcends mere academic study. Isabel's eyes widen, absorbing his every word, her thoughts racing as the sheer audacity of his statement sinks in. The lesson plunges deeper into the annals of history, unveiling the titans of old, like the awe-inspiring magic warrior King Bielin, a force of nature in his time. Next, the shadowy Black Witch Iris Prisfounder emerges from the past, followed by the legendary great sage Wilsman, names that once shook the very foundations of the world. But the ultimate legend, the one who stood above all, was the strongest mage, the man everyone dreamed of surpassing, Lucas. Lucas Troman, sporting a shocking new gray hair color, sits in silence, one word burning in his mind. Isabel, still reeling from the professor's lecture on the light ages and legendary masters, can't help but imagine meeting such a powerful being. She even fantasizes about marrying a legendary mage, a thought so wild it makes her choke, as Lucas remains completely unfazed, staring at his meal. Food erupts from her mouth as Lucas's scathing internal monologue slices through the silence, branding anyone still clinging to light ages heroes as utterly naive. Isabel, deep in contemplation, ponders the enigma that is Fry, confessing to herself a burgeoning fascination, especially after his intense reaction to the topic of magecraft. Across the chaotic cafeteria, David and Jack spot Isabel having lunch with Fry, a shocking sight that instantly grabs their attention. Jack, utterly stunned, demands to know if Isabel was actually chasing him earlier, and David's shocked face confirms it. He's absolutely floored, the legendary Isabel, always top tier at the academy, actually chasing after Fry. David, utterly crushed, whines that despite his relentless daily attempts to ask her out, she's clearly into someone else, earning a commiserating groan from Jack. The background noise of the cafeteria was just that, noise, but Lucas Troman's internal monologue was anything but quiet, a sharp edge of irritation cutting through his calm facade. Unaware of the storm brewing beneath his cool exterior, Isabel pressed on, her focus entirely on their discussion. His eyes were locked, but his mind was a whirlwind, a single, cutting thought branding the unseen provocateur as, that asshole. Cutting through the tension, Isabel pivoted the conversation, zeroing in on Professor Keen's latest brain teaser. Lucas absorbed her words, his face a mask as he calmly continued his meal. She pushed for more, recalling his earlier response to the professor's challenge. Isabel laid out the crucial terms, declaring amplification and battling as the heart of the matter. Her explanation ignited a flash of memory in Lucas, recalling Schweitzer's brutal training, a regimen built purely on assimilation and amplification. The revelation hung heavy, a stark, unsettling counterpoint to their casual conversation. He's still chowing down, but Isabel cuts right to the chase, asking if he'd teach her the legendary battling method he brought up. He just keeps eating, but Isabel doubles down, declaring, I am a competent wizard. Lucas, however, is totally unimpressed, thinking, seriously? What stage is she even at right now? Then, with a sigh that carries centuries of weight, he just says, I've lived for a long time. Far too long. Isabel, completely baffled, fires back, wait, aren't you the same age as me? Lucas just grumbles. He starts clearing the table, shutting her down with a blunt, nope. Isabel, still reeling, tries to press, what do you mean? Lucas, somehow already done with his entire meal, declares, man, I'm stuffed. Isabel, utterly shocked, asks, you finished everything already? He just walks off with a mountain of dishes, casually telling her, hold on. Take your sweet time eating. While he's already scrubbing dishes, Isabel, refusing to be ignored, finally gets her question out, so, to answer my question, what exactly is this battling you mentioned? Lucas, casually holding a tower of dishes, drops a bombshell of advice. His hands effortlessly glide through the dishwater, revealing a deeper truth, it's not just facts, it's the raw, unfiltered experience that truly matters. Isabel's gaze intensifies, a spark igniting in her eyes as she grapples with the revelation. It's not knowledge, but experience, she practically shouts, the weight of his words hitting her like a truck. Fast forward to a classroom, where Lucas now commands the attention of students like Isabel, David, and Jack, with Professor Keen observing. Isabel, still reeling from his cryptic wisdom, can't help but question the very essence of who he is. The Academy's massive circular arena is absolutely buzzing, packed with students ready for an epic practical demonstration of one-on-one magic battles. David, walking with Jack, can't help but comment that only one-star magic is allowed for this demo, finally. Jack's face is locked in. His eyes laser-focused on the action. Meanwhile, Isabel and David are chilling on the steps, with David wondering what this whole restricted show is even about. But a sharp-eyed, dark-haired woman cuts through the noise, declaring that what they really need are actual, no-holds-barred battles. A commanding voice booms, laying down the law, you're on your own for injuries. Don't expect a real fight here, trainees. Isabel's face twists in confusion, a silent, huh, hanging in the air. She leans in, eyes locked on the professor, clearly wondering if he's talking to her. Professor Keene just stares back, cool as ice, completely unaware that Isabel's inner monologue is screaming about how gorgeous he is. But Isabel snaps out of it, immediately calling him out. Are you serious? Talking about the professor like that? He just shrugs it off, dropping a cryptic "watch and learn" on her. But her mind is still stuck on his perfect beauty. Isabel, not backing down, fires back a savage burn. Your taste in women is old. Over on the training grounds, David and Fry are just chilling, watching all the action unfold. Two powerhouses lock eyes. The silver-haired enigma and his fiery-maned counterpart are absolutely dialed in. Their faces etched with an unspoken, fierce determination. Then, a rhythmic thud of footsteps cuts through the air. And the silver-haired legend drops a bombshell, asking if his buddy feels the rage. The wait has been torture, keeping him up at night with pure, unadulterated hype. He and David just keep on strolling, totally oblivious to the intense, focused stare burning into their backs from the orange-haired guy. The orange-haired dude just watches them disappear, a deep, calculating look on his face. Then, out of nowhere, a collective, jaw-dropping shockwave hits Isabel, the orange-haired guy, and some random student. Just as the silver-haired powerhouse blitzes in, snatching Isabel midair. His eyes burn as he proclaims this is why he woke from his eternal sleep, calling her trainee Fry. His leg snaps out in a dynamic, powerful stance, a testament to his lightning-fast move. As he finishes his thought, it was all for. He flashes that confident smirk, those glowing eyes practically screaming assurance. He stares her down, dropping a loaded question, practically daring her to answer. Her face flushes crimson, and in her mind, she's already imagining him asking her to do him the honor of taking her out tonight. But just like that, the vibe changes. Lucas Stroman is now holding some other student, his voice like a whip, barking at them to get back in line, no more chances. David, Jack, and the rest of the class are all watching, and someone finally shouts, time to get back to it. He pivots back to Isabel, laying down the law, telling her straight up she's gotta follow her senior agent's orders, trainee Fry. But then, he softens up, adding a little sweetener, a dinner date if she nails it. And just like that, they're off, striding away with purpose. Isabel's still blushing hard, her head spinning from the whole exchange. Isabel's brain is on overdrive, a whirlwind of thoughts about Lucas Stroman, and she's fighting hard to keep it together. Lucas, on the other hand, brushes off her inner chaos, telling himself not to get hyped over a rookie, while Isabel, totally red-faced, tries to chill out, mortified by her own feelings. Then, his focus snaps to Jack, who's sprawled out on the ground, totally beaten, and Lucas Stroman just lays into him, demanding to know if he's lost his mind. Jack, still dazed from the beatdown, tries to explain he didn't see that opponent coming, but Lucas Stroman shuts him down instantly, pointing out that Jack was the one who pushed for the fight. Lucas Stroman then challenges him, asking why he'd cancel if he was so sure of himself, and Jack, looking up, can only stammer back, why would I? Lucas Stroman lets out a frustrated sigh, noting that Jack seems to have completely forgotten his mess from last night, and tells him to get his act together and think things through. With a deadly serious look, Lucas Stroman gets right in Jack's face, warning him to pay attention, or he's going to mess with his voice box. Jack, now totally freaked out, can only nod, as Lucas Stroman doubles down on his threat. Lucas Stroman finishes his brutal lecture, declaring that kind of talk would be the last time Jack ever walks straight. Lucas Stroman, ever the strategist, can't help but question the power of one-star spells, even as the tension builds for the match ahead. But hold up, David makes his move, casually introducing himself to Jack right before the action kicks off. Then, a referee steps up, her voice booming across the arena, signaling the official start of the showdown. The crowd holds its breath as Lucas Stroman starts his chant, unleashing a devastating spell he calls Kage. And just like that, the ground beneath Jack's feet erupts, cracking and rising with raw power, forming a violent vortex of light and debris that completely swallows him whole. On the sidelines, Isabel and David are stunned, their faces showing pure shock as they question if Lucas Stroman is really going all out with that insane move. But inside that chaos, Jack isn't backing down. He stands firm, arms crossed, ready to take on the full brunt of the assault. Isabel's eyes are practically popping out of her head. She's absolutely stunned, watching Lucas Stroman's insane spell go off. David, totally confused, blurts out, didn't Professor Jake say even weak spells were allowed? But Isabel's already defending Lucas, saying he hasn't broken a single rule. She's sticking to her guns, like, how can you even say he's breaking rules when he literally hasn't done anything wrong? But back in the arena, the Kage spell is going absolutely wild. It's a terrifying vortex of glowing orange energy and debris, a secret power only Lucas's family can wield, and his hand is still directing the chaos. Lucas Stroman just stands there, watching the whole thing unfold with this super intense, almost chilling stare, taking in every bit of his spell's raw power. The spell just keeps getting stronger, a massive explosion of magic and debris. It's absolutely insane how much power is being unleashed. Lucas is thinking about how deadly this thing is, knowing that if his opponent's mana is too weak, this Kage spell could literally kill them. Suddenly, Isabel's mind flashes back to a time she confronted Lucas, calling him out for bullying, and he just shot back, "So what if I am?" And then, from somewhere else, a mysterious gray-haired guy is watching the whole thing go down, and all he says is, "Really?" Lucas Stroman, with a flick of his wrist, conjures a dazzling, light blue orb of raw power, magic missile, he calls it, with an almost dismissive air. The spell ignites the air, and Lucas observes his own creation, while Isabel and David exchange worried glances, and Professor Jake's expression hardens, taking in the spectacle. The orb pulses with raw power, its glow so intense it elicits a gasp from the onlookers. Lucas's eyes blaze with an arrogant, pale blue light, a mocking laugh escaping him at the mere mention of a magic missile, a spell he clearly deems beneath him. Standing amidst the swirling chaos and shattered earth of his devastating attack, he casually remarks on the mess, dismissing his foe's entire magical repertoire as utterly pathetic. But he's not done yet. With a brutal clench of his hand, a colossal, blinding orb of pure destruction ignites, ready to unleash hell. His arm becomes a streak of motion, slamming down towards the arena floor, unleashing the full force of his magic. The spell detonates with a cataclysmic roar, shattering the earth and launching a torrent of rubble into the air, a blinding explosion of raw power. The barrier, once thought impenetrable, explodes into a million pieces. Cracks spiderwebbing everywhere as the sheer force tears it apart. And then, with a deafening boom, it's gone, leaving nothing but a desperate hand reaching into the void. Jack's face twists in pure agony as the devastating magic slams into him, the blue energy consuming everything. A blinding, concentrated blast erupts, launching him like a ragdoll, sending him flying, a blue streak against the chaos, debris raining down around him. But it's not over. Shards of pure magic shred into him mid-air, each hit a brutal shockwave. And then, a bone-jarring crash as he smashes into the ground, the impact shaking the very earth. The sky clears, but the arena is a wreck, fragments of destruction slowly falling from above. Jack's body lies broken and still amidst the shattered ground. His face contorted in a silent scream of agony, glasses askew as his entire frame trembles from the impact. Around him, the very earth is torn apart, strewn with jagged fragments of what was once solid ground. Chapter 8 kicks off, and we're right back with David, Jack, and another student, all looking seriously worried. David's face is a mask of pure terror, his eyes screaming without a sound. Meanwhile, Lucas Stroman just stands there, eyes locked on the ground, his expression totally unreadable as chaos erupts. Tears are just pouring down David's face, a raw, choked sound tearing from his throat as he tries to process the horror. He tries to scream, to shout, but nothing. His voice is just gone. Jack, still with the other students, can't help but comment on the absolute chaos, calling it quite a racket. But David? He's still completely overwhelmed, his face a portrait of pure, unadulterated anguish. He stares down, his golden hair flowing, eyes burning with an intense, unreadable expression. A student crumples, as a voice thunders, blasting them for using vision modes to betray, utterly clueless about the sheer disgrace. The verbal assault intensifies, shouting that they're absolutely disgracing their family name. David's face is a wreck of pure despair, tears gushing as he's crushed by an invisible weight. He unleashes a focused burst of brilliant blue energy, the raw power absolutely crackling from his outstretched hand. The impact sends David reeling back, a guttural scream tearing from his throat as the force absolutely slams into him. Whatever magical defense he had conjured shatters into countless icy fragments, utterly unable to withstand the assault. Still engulfed in the shimmering blue aura, David's scream echoes, a testament to the absolute overwhelming power he faces. Finally, his resistance broken, he collapses to the ground, his clothes torn and his body utterly defeated, as Lucas Stroman stands calmly above him. A cold, knowing expression settles on Lucas's face, his glowing eyes absolutely fixed on the fallen student. From a distance, Isabel watches the brutal display, her face contorted in a mixture of pure horror and disbelief. Lucas then addresses the defeated David, his voice carrying an undeniable weight, "This is too much." As Isabel stands frozen, another figure approaches her, demanding, "Professor Jane. We already have a problem. What exactly brought you to bring this match to a halt?" He still hasn't declared his. His voice just hits different, and Isabel is totally caught off guard, her mind racing with questions. Lucas Stroman, towering over the fallen David, isn't holding back, dropping a verbal bomb about his expectations, like, "Didn't I already tell you this wasn't going to be some friendly sparring session?" Professor Jake, ever the serious mentor, keeps dropping truth bombs, making it clear that becoming a mage isn't some casual hobby, it demands total commitment. Lucas Stroman just can't believe David's audacity, practically mocking him for thinking someone would bail him out, like, seriously? You thought the professor would just hit the pause button when you were in trouble? Professor Jake then locks eyes with Isabel, his face giving absolutely nothing away as he keeps talking. Then, a super intense close-up of Lucas Troman's eyes, they're practically burning with a fierce, pale blue glow, showing just how serious he is. David, totally wrecked, manages to gasp out some words, throwing shade at Lucas Troman, like, you used to care, but now you're just enjoying my pain, huh? But Lucas Troman is absolutely stone-faced, straight up blaming David and all the other wannabe magicians for messing up the entire world. His stare intensifies, and he drops the ultimate verdict: people like David don't even deserve to use magic. He glares down at the broken figure, a cold, hard promise echoing, you'll regret this for the rest of your life. But then, a twisted smirk, he casually drops, bro, I'm just messing with you. Seriously, did you think I'd actually end you? A flick of his hand, and he declares, come on, I'm a good guy. I'll just take your legs, out of pity. David's face contorts, his eyes clench tight, tears streaming down from the sheer agony and insult. One tear breaks free, a silent testament to his suffering. Lucas, however, watches with an icy, unreadable stare, his face a mask of indifference. David is sprawled, shattered, gripping his ruined legs, a desperate thought screaming, don't you have two legs? A chilling grin stretches Lucas's lips as he manifests a pulsating orb of raw power, declaring his next move, magic missile. His eye ignites with a blinding, magical surge, the raw energy practically exploding from him. He keeps channeling, a brilliant orb of raw power coalescing in his palm. While David's eye snaps wide open in pure terror, reflecting the devastating impact to come. The magical energy surges, crackling with untamed, destructive force. A desperate hand shoots up, a last-ditch, hopeless effort against the inevitable. Then, a sickening crunch rips through the air as Lucas's foot slams down, crushing whatever lies beneath. David's face twists into a silent, gut-wrenching scream of pure agony. Another brutal smash echoes, piling on his already unbearable suffering. From a vantage point above, an observer coolly comments on the brutal display, acknowledging Lucas's undeniable skills. Lucas himself flashes a cold, satisfied smirk, his eyes faintly glowing with the lingering power of his devastating magic. He strides with an undeniable aura, his eyes locked on the academy gates, ready for anything. The massive academy building rising up to meet them. But inside, the academy is buzzing with gossip, a student shouting, Fry the Trash and his lackey David are back. What happened to David? The tension is palpable as another demands, is that true? The student spills the tea, revealing a shocking rumor, my friend said he was sent home with no arms, no legs, no voice. His mage career is totally over. Someone else pipes up, Karma's AB*TCH, right? David was a total jerk. Honestly, the academy's way better without him. Then, a gray-haired student's eyes widen, whoa, look. It's actually him. Lucas and David stride through the gawking crowd, the students whispering, did he make a deal with the devil or something? The gray-haired student boldly steps up, challenging Lucas head-on, his voice cutting through the whispers, are you Fry Blake? His eyes narrow, demanding an answer, then he adds, yeah, who the hell are you? A new challenger steps up, a fourth-year trainee named Duman Mylist, making his presence known. David quickly recognizes him as an upperclassman, but then Duman drops the bombshell, calling Lucas by his infamous alias, Fry Blake. Lucas's eyes narrow, a silent challenge in their depths as he processes the name. Duman doesn't back down, boldly inviting him to join the legendary Traman rings. Lucas stands his ground, unmoving, as Duman's gestures grow more insistent. A rare moment of surprise flashes across Lucas's face as he questions, Traman. Duman, brimming with confidence, confirms it, practically daring Lucas to deny knowledge of West Roy Academy's elite. This isn't just any club, the Traman Rings are the elite assembly of West Roy Academy's trainees. Whispers ripple through the student body, the Traman Rings aren't for just anyone, they're an exclusive, high-stakes proving ground. Duman dramatically presents a golden ring, revealing it as the ultimate symbol of the Traman Rings, a master's personal gift, accessible only to those who conquer its trials. Lucas scrutinizes the ring, its pure gold gleam and master craftsmanship undeniable. But a deeper mystery unfolds as he questions if it's an illusion, or if its mana transcends his very perception, his hand instinctively covering his face in profound contemplation. Seeing his profound reaction, Duman calmly advises him not to be overwhelmed, emphasizing the Traman Ring's unparalleled exclusivity. Lucas gasps in disbelief as Duman confirms the legendary Traman Rings, then drops a bombshell, Lucas can't even perceive its true form. His eyes snap wide open, a name exploding in his thoughts, Lord Peruin June. Duman's lips curl into a knowing, confident smile. With a flourish, he extends a formal greeting to Lucas. Duman observes Lucas, who is still reeling from the revelation. He's thinking about it, that ultimate existence, the one humans worship and call God. But then, out of nowhere, a voice snaps him back to reality, asking if they've met, calling him Professor Fry. Then the gray-haired man steps up, eyes locked, and drops the bomb, announcing, "I am the master of the Traman rings, Peruin Jun." A slick silver-haired manager, Peruin Jun, steps forward, declaring his allegiance to the Traman rings. And then, the bombshell, a direct invitation for Fry Blake to join the Traman rings. Frey's gaze remains sharp, his thoughts a mystery. Peruin Jun's eyes are locked on him, waiting for the next move. He mentally commands his associate to keep a close eye on Fry. But Frey's composure is off the charts, especially for a guy his age. But Fry just shrugs it off with a dismissive "geez, not interested," declaring that joining them wouldn't change a thing. But Lucas just turns his back, totally unfazed. Just a beat later, though. Lucas just stands there, radiating pure power, a subtle, pale blue glow pulsing from his core. Without a single word. Later, as twilight settles. And inside, a feast awaits. At the table, a dark-haired woman leans in. Isabel is absolutely fuming, standing over a feast and demanding to know why she's being told to leave and starve. She tells Professor Jane to back off, declaring her intense worry for someone. Isabel just wants to bail, but Professor Jane shuts her down, reminding her there's only so much help she can get. Elsewhere, a mysterious woman with flowing black hair is deep in thought, frustrated that even after all her digging, she's found zero intel on battling. Back to the drama. Professor Jane hits Isabel with the ultimate question: what's she actually gonna do if she's so worried? Isabel is speechless. Our mysterious researcher is still fixated, trying to figure out if battling is a person, a thing, or what. With a glass of wine in hand, she drops a bombshell, rumors about some secret institution. Buried in books, she's losing it. How can there be zero records? Is Professor Jake really that untraceable? Her eyes narrow with resolve. If it's not battling, then she's going to dig up every single secret about it. She's on the move, but her mind is clearly somewhere else entirely. But a sudden flush crosses her face, a memory hitting different, sparking a hidden heat. Flashback. The gray-haired professor has her in a tight embrace at the table, whispering about something way more exciting, and Isabel is right there, taking it all in. The blush goes full on, her eyes giving away all the shock and excitement she feels. Hands reach, faces close in, almost kissing, as she remembers the professor who used to tease her, and how they're totally breaking all the rules now. Then, bam. A huge crash rocks the room, snapping both the professor and her wide awake in bed, totally freaking out. Isabel is absolutely livid, standing over them at the table, finger wagging, screaming about their scandalous actions with a professor and questioning her student status. As the full moon rises, casting its silent judgment, the night gets heavy. The city streets are dead quiet, a total vibe shift from the earlier drama. The gray-haired observer feels it, a chilling presence, a shadow that just won't quit, even inside the academy's impenetrable barrier. He's absolutely sure, but the real question is, why now, why here? Later, under the stars, the gray-haired observer just knows it, people are still after him, and he knows exactly what they want. Isabel stands beside him, staring up at the stars, a tense silence hanging in the air. Her face is etched with worry, but his is a stone mask. She looks away, hands clasped, deep in thought. He finally breaks the silence, calling her name, Isabel, under the lonely glow of the street lamp. She cuts to the chase, demanding to know, who's the academy's honcho, a word she clearly finds odd. He pushes her for the name, despite her frustration that he never gives her any answers. She's practically vibrating with anticipation, demanding he spill the beans. A sly grin spreads across his face as he teases her, "Are you really that hyped?" The Academy's honcho was the mastermind behind everything, with Professor Douglas and Essa Marilia as key figures. But there's a secret, an unrivaled power lurking in the shadows. Isabel drops a bombshell, revealing this powerhouse is none other than her own aunt. He confirms it, Isabel's aunt is the Academy's director, Lady Cirrus Trizanine. She's the only one with the Ice Synthesis title from the Empire, and the only 8-star mage. The scene shifts. Our gray-haired observer is now in a serious talk with the black-haired woman. She emphasizes the mind-blowing truth, Lady Cirrus is an 8-star mage, a title earned through her insane ice synthesis powers. Isabel's jaw drops. WHOA, 8-star, she exclaims, barely believing a mage can even reach that level. She drives the point home, reminding him that the last 8-star mage was from 3,000 years ago. The discussion heats up. Nobody even knows the true limit of human magic, but 8-star. That's the ultimate peak, a legendary rank achieved by less than 10 mages in all of history. Seriously, 8-star isn't just hard, it's a straight-up legend. The gray-haired observer connects the dots, realizing the Academy's protector, the director, must be an 8-star mage. The researcher nods, confirming she's in the dark about the director, but drops the bomb that Professor Douglas and Essa Marilia are both 7-star powerhouses. Flashback time. Lucas Troman is there, recruiting David and Duman Milist to join the legendary Troman Rings. Back to reality, the observer's mind snaps to the director, that 8-star mage who's gotta know something big. His determination solidifies, he has to meet her. Just as he thinks it, a voice cuts through, Isabel, and she's right there, answering, yes. The observer's eyes narrow, his gaze locked onto Isabel. The gray-haired observer is still trying to figure out the Academy's real power, even with all his connections. Meanwhile, a flashback hits us with Lucas Troman recruiting David and Duman Milist for the Troman Rings, hyping them up to break past their limits. Back to the present, the researcher asks if they should snag a 7-star mage, but the observer shuts it down fast, declaring 7 stars just won't cut it. She fires back, admitting it'd take a decade to hit that rank, and even then, it might still be a bust. The gray-haired observer then gets all thoughtful, muttering about hitting that level himself if he just grinds hard enough before his break is over. The researcher lets out a little laugh, joking that his wild boasts might actually come true, then quickly asks him to repeat himself. She adds, it's always good to aim high. With a fierce look, the observer proclaims his dream is massive, then asks if she'll stick by him. She just manages a soft, hesitant, wait, as he keeps talking. Out of nowhere, the gray-haired observer is hugging Isabel, shouting that he can't, because she's just a student. Isabel is not having it. She's practically fuming in his arms, telling him to cut it out with the casual act. And she's not messing around, threatening to snitch to her aunt if he doesn't get serious. But the observer? He just shrugs it off, dropping a cold line about not liking little kids. Ouch. That just sets Isabel off even more, as she screams in disbelief, while the researcher next to her can only nod along, totally getting it. He just turns his back on the whole scene, muttering nothing, it's nothing, like it's no big deal. The city lights twinkle below. The observer is left alone on the balcony, deep in thought, realizing he doesn't need to rush, but every move he makes now has to be perfect. His eyes are laser-focused as he plots the fastest path to his goals. 3 weeks later, a bandaged leg is all that's left, a shattered fragment of something important just lying there. Back in the academy, Duman Milist is in Lucas Troman's face, furious, yelling, you dared to hurt me? With his crew backing him up, Duman keeps going, spitting, I don't know what you guys are doing, but there's no way I'll lose against trash like you. Then, with a brutal stomp, the broken piece is ground into dust. Meanwhile, in the library's calm, Isabel stares out, clearly troubled. Duman tracks Lucas down, who's just trying to read, and snarls, Fry. Did you seriously think I'd let that go? His face twisted with pure fury, Duman screams, I'll make you regret being born. Still absolutely fuming, he's not holding back, screaming that he'll unleash all his crew. Before Lucas can even blink, a flurry of magic missiles just absolutely rocks him, blasting him off his feet. His crutches go flying as he's sent sprawling, hitting the ground with a sickening thud. The sickening crunch rings out, and Duman's goons just grin, loving every second. Lucas is just sprawled out, helpless, with the whole crew laughing, and Duman looming over him like a king. With a twisted grin, Duman barks out the order, rearrange his nose properly. His words just hang there, a brutal threat, while Isabel can only watch the whole messed up scene from afar. A sharp gasp tears from her, her face twisted in pure anguish. Leaving Lucas a broken mess on the floor, Duman and his crew just stroll off, their dirty work done, with Isabel still watching, absolutely horrified. Duman's crew can't believe what they're seeing. They're straight up mocking Lucas, wondering how someone so weak even got into Westwood Academy. But Lucas is in a tight spot, mentally kicking himself for being so weak and knowing he desperately needs to level up his mana control in Frey's body, and fast. Trying to make a quick exit, Lucas gets cut off by one of Duman's goons, who's got questions about him being with Professor Jane on the first floor. Duman just smirks, staring Lucas down and throwing shade about the rumors that he can't even use magic. Lucas is still down for the count, his body aching as Duman stands triumphantly over him. He's stuck there, powerless as the insults keep coming. Then, one of Duman's buddies, a guy with light brown hair, steps up and introduces himself as Alex Drumid, like Lucas should totally know who he is. Duman doubles down, flexing his seniority and demanding Lucas show him some respect and praise. And with a smug grin, Duman brags that he could absolutely obliterate Lucas with just a flick of his finger. Still sprawled on the floor, Lucas faces Duman's sneering challenge, demanding answers, while the kid who used to be treated like royalty is now just trash on the ground. Staring up defiantly, Lucas fires back, demanding to know how Duman plans to pay for busting his face. Alex, standing close by, can't help but question if this really is Fry Blake, as another student nervously asks if they're actually bullying him right now. Duman, completely ignoring the other student, snaps at Lucas, demanding he show some respect to his upperclassmen. Lucas, his pale blue eyes burning with a faint glow, seethes internally, calling them, these little brats. Duman, getting even more heated, can't believe Lucas doesn't know who he is, bringing up how he dealt with David. Lucas, his voice dripping with pure menace, snarls, "Do you want to die or not?" as he remembers his trip to the first floor with Professor Jane. Duman, hand raised in a threatening gesture, screams that today is Lucas's funeral. Looks like Duman's gotten way too full of himself, surrounded by his buddies, just because he handled some weak underclassmen. But Lucas, still down but not out, promises to make sure Duman is the one who ends up dead. Duman Mylist, with Alex Drumid by his side, just laughs off the threats, telling his crew not to sweat it, they're just here for the show. He scoffs, like, why would we even need to jump a weakling like him? Then bam, a magic missile is already flying. But before that spell even lands, Lucas is already a blur, sending one of the goons absolutely launching with a shocking, invisible strike. Another one gets instantly rocked, hitting the deck with a sickening thud. It's a total whirlwind, as more of Duman's crew get tossed around like ragdolls, slamming into the ground. Duman and Alex are absolutely stunned, their jaws on the floor as the fight takes an insane turn. Then, from the chaos, a desperate scream rips through the air, Alex. Alex Drumid and another student are down for the count, lying motionless among the broken crates. Lucas looms over them, his voice dripping with ice as he taunts their pathetic struggle, and someone watching from the shadows is freaking out, he's using their magic while transformed. He stares down the defeated students, a flicker of regret crossing his face as he admits his mistake, realizing this isn't just a game and wondering why he's even bothering with these kids. But one student, absolutely livid, roars back, "You bastard. There's a limit to how far you can push us." Duman Mylist, absolutely fuming, flexes his lineage, "I'm the son of the legendary Goldbrex. A descendant of the Phalaris magic family." The mysterious observer, watching the whole thing go down, can only gape in shock, completely blown away by the audacity. But before they can even finish their trash talk, Lucas explodes with a blinding flurry of blue magical energy, blasting multiple students at once with devastating force, their screams of agony ripping through the air. Another student gets rocked, his face a twisted mess of shock and pain, barely managing to gasp out a single word. As the chaos explodes around him, Lucas starts to chant, his entire body radiating with a powerful blue aura, declaring, "I'm Magic Missile." He repeats the spell's name, the magical energy building up around him, about to unleash another devastating attack. He slams down amidst the chaos, the students he just obliterated strewn across the ground. He glances up, a single, dismissive thought burning in his mind, meaningless. These chumps never stood a chance. A weary sigh escapes him, the thought clear, seriously, I might actually get used to this level of idiocy. The massive academy looms, quiet for now. Later, or perhaps in a memory, Lucas is sprawled across a desk, buried under notes all screaming the same thing, meaningless. His eyes snap open, a burning question echoing in his thoughts, what am I even doing with my life right now? Back to the fight, Isabel stares up from the floor, defeated, but still manages to state the obvious, he's already taken out everyone who couldn't even cast Magic Missile. Alex Drumid, battered but defiant, fires back, reminding him that these weak students are actually elite mages, then scoffs at his use of Magic Missile, calling it a pathetic, low-rank spell. Lucas Stroman looms over him, his hand already crackling with power, coldly stating that only those who can cast Magic Missile are left for him to even bother with. Isabel's gaze locks onto the young man, while the gray-haired observer remains still, lost in thought. A flush creeps up her neck, a silent exclamation echoing in her mind, so cute. Snapping out of her reverie, she directly questions him, by the way, what do you want? Still unmoving, he calmly states, I followed your advice. His mind races with arcane knowledge, the secret of Troll's blood-boosting engraving circles already known. Yet, Isabel's innovation was the true game-changer, a 7-to-3 ratio of goblin blood for the mix. She then challenges him, oh, what? His memory flashes back, confirming her insight, his own words echoing, try using goblin's blood while you're at it. It'll work better. Standing over a pulsating magic circle, the gray-haired observer proclaims, indeed, an extreme breakthrough, with Isabel looking on in awe. Isabel's face flushes with a subtle, yet undeniable, blush. And she can't help but blurt out to the gray-haired observer, so, what's the next lesson, huh? He eyes her with a curious, almost calculating look, but she's too busy trying to hide her embarrassment. Then, it hits him, a sudden realization as his eyes snap open, wait, what? Since when am I her tutor? But then, his thoughts shift, a spark of ambition igniting, this kid's got talent. I'll make her a legend. No, an 8-star mage. Snapping back to reality, he focuses on her, a single word escaping his lips, Isabel. Sitting opposite him now, Isabel's eyes gleam with fierce resolve as she announces, this time, we're talking about battling. Her conviction unwavering, she adds, I'm heading out to train during the break. Her eyes practically burning with ambition, she throws down a challenge, come with me, and you'll witness the battling firsthand. But the gray-haired observer isn't holding back, telling her straight up that it's a death trap and he doubts her skills. Yet, he still agrees to go with her. His hand, with that subtle ring, is a picture of calm as he processes her bold challenge. Then, his gaze shifts to Isabel, a deep contemplation etched on his features. Isabel, her blue eyes burning with resolve, is practically vibrating with anticipation for his answer. And just like that, they're off, the academy shrinking behind them, as she eagerly reminds him to come along for her training. Lucas is totally fed up, shouting that they just wouldn't get it. Meanwhile, Isabel, with Duman, is completely lost, asking what in the world they're even discussing. He just brushes off their confusion, but Isabel, still totally bewildered, demands to know where they're going. Meanwhile, the mysterious gray-haired observer is deep in thought, a serious look etched on his face. Back with the crew, Lucas drops a bombshell, announcing they're heading to the Hispania Mountains, and Isabel is absolutely shocked. The colossal, snow-covered Hispania mountain range looms in the distance, an epic, intimidating view. Lucas confirms it's the infamous Hispania range, a notorious monster hotspot, and David just gives a grim, yup, fully aware of the peril. He lays out the plan, half a day to get there, even with a warped stone. Talk about a journey. The map scrolls, showing the long, winding path, and it's clear this isn't a quick trip. And just to amp up the tension, he drops another bombshell: the mountain road is crawling with dangerous monsters. Seriously, this is going to be epic. Isabel's face drops, and he can't help but ask, wait, are you scared? She fires back instantly, please don't look down on me. With a determined glint in her eye, she confesses, I didn't expect our journey to be an easy ride from the beginning. He then brings up her earlier comment, but what was that thing you mentioned just now? 4,000 years ago. Suddenly, a glowing warp stone appears in his hand. He clarifies it's a long-distance travel device, just like those legendary warp gates. Isabel, totally shocked, marvels at its convenience, pointing out that nothing like this existed 4 millennia ago. He muses on how technology, despite its slow crawl in some sectors, has somehow made warp gates ridiculously cheap. But the sheer audacity of commercializing warps, he thinks, is just brilliant. What a truly convenient world this has become. But there's always a catch, and for warp gates, it's the price tag. Just how expensive is it, really? Standing before a colossal warp gate in a buzzing city, David can't help but ask about the price, knowing the insane distance between Kos, Myphony, and Hispania means it's gonna be a fortune. Lucas drops the bomb, 10 gold for the trip. Isabel's jaw practically hits the floor, her scream of disbelief echoing through the square. She glares at the massive gate, still processing the outrageous price, a heavy thud punctuating her utter shock. She whips around to her friends, demanding to know if Lucas is really a noble, then a sudden thought hits her like a truck, making her shout, wait. Isabel, a noble herself with stacks of cash, can't wrap her head around Lucas's chill vibe about this fortune, practically yelling, don't you feel bad about this? Isabel, absolutely fuming over the warp gate's insane price tag, whips around to the gray-haired student, practically shaking him down for cash. He's just staring back, totally bewildered. But he just shrugs, giving her the ultimate bad news, he's completely broke. He tries to be logical, pointing out that he's not about to lug around extra stuff for a training trip. Isabel's temper flares, demanding he just go home and get money, but Duman cuts in, stressing they're already running late for training with Sarah. Then her eyes lock onto the gray-haired student's massive bag, and she's like, seriously? You're telling me you're broke with that giant thing? She throws her hands up in exasperation, trying to make him understand that this and that are totally different, and women just need a ton of stuff. Lucas, ever the calm one, just casually drops the idea that everything will magically work out once they hit the capital, a thought the gray-haired student hesitantly clings to. Isabel then zeroes in on Lucas, hitting him with the ultimate question, have you ever worked a day in your life? And his answer? A chill, nope, never. Money woes or not, the squad keeps moving, striding through a lively town, pushing forward to whatever comes next. Isabel and the gray-haired student are absolutely stunned, their eyes glued to the chaotic scene unfolding before them. A colossal ship sails down, dominates the dock, and a massive crowd is already swarming up the gangplank. Isabel can't believe it, exclaiming that the trip is totally free for academy students. Joining the massive wave of students surging towards the ship, the gray-haired student points out the insane number of trainees here. Isabel is already dreaming of a feast, especially meat, and the gray-haired student confirms the hype, saying he heard they've got top-tier food. David, catching wind of the food talk, is absolutely ecstatic, practically drooling at the thought of the grub. But their excitement crashes down hard when a voice booms out, declaring the ship is packed, leaving everyone in total disbelief. Isabel and the gray-haired student lock eyes, pure panic setting in, their dreams of a smooth trip instantly shattered. But wait, the ship, the Corteso, is already sailing away from the dock, leaving our hero stranded and wondering what's next. She's just there, watching, as he drops a casual, villainous line about himself. The port is absolutely swarming with people, just like humans always are. A port official, stone-faced, just confirms the free ride for trainees. He just gives a quick, almost bored, thank you. But elsewhere, inside a ship, something dark is stirring. And another guy is just chowing down, totally oblivious to what's coming. A scarred pirate barks out that everything's ready. The captain himself, a total beast, gives the chilling order to move out. And that pirate just lets out a creepy laugh, hinting at a wild night ahead. Meanwhile, on a grimy pirate vessel, the one-eyed first mate faces a hooded crewmate, who snarls, seriously, why'd you rip out your own eye, you idiot? The first mate just scoffs, firing back, what's your deal? Having one eye is pirate cred. Plus, let's be real, I'm not exactly normal in this insane world anyway. A mysterious map is laid out, its secret target highlighted, while a low growl escapes someone's lips, humph. The pirate captain lays out the plan to his eager crew, declaring, our target today. A ship heading straight for Corteso. A crewmate chimes in, I'll hit their weak spot, straight for the core. The first mate grins at his captain, confirming, boss, we're gonna clean up tonight. Then, almost as an afterthought, he asks, oh, by the way, what's the name of that ship again? The captain's face hardens, a chilling warning in his voice, take what you want, but mess up, and I'll take your other eye. He then reveals the juicy detail, it's packed with trainees from super-rich families. Cut to the majestic Corteso, slicing through the waves under a brilliant sky, with Isabel and the gray-haired observer on board. A sharp-dressed captain steps forward, extending a welcoming hand, welcome to the Corteso. I'm Captain Mac Martinez. Isabel and the observer nod, acknowledging him, we're in your hands. The pirate first mate is stressing, if we don't hit now, we're stuck here for a month. But his captain? Totally unfazed, just shrugging it off, nah, we'll find another target, easy. Back on the Corteso, Captain Mac Martinez is laying it all out, this ship. Total pirate magnet, especially in these waters. But the pirate captain? He just laughs, pirates. Relax, no need to worry. Back with Mac Martinez, he's still talking, spilling the beans on their insane defenses, we've got 2 escort warships, their hulls practically humming with magic. He gestures to the Corteso, now shimmering with a pink magical shield, and drops another bomb, plus, we've got a 4-star magician from the magic tower on escort duty. And just to prove it, a mage is literally charging up, crackling with vibrant blue energy, ready to drop the hammer. But the pirate captain? Still totally unfazed, his face a mask of grim resolve. Doesn't matter how many pirates they throw at us, he thinks, they're not winning. And check this out, the gray-haired observer's eyes are blazing with electric blue, his hand practically on fire with an orange glow. He's got some serious power brewing. Back on the Corteso, Mac Martinez just exhales, relaxing, now relieving, he mutters. But on the pirate ship, the captain is still hyped, yelling, pirates. The pirate first mate, eyes locked on the Corteso, feels a chilling realization creep in. A nervous whisper escapes him, Empire warships, that can't be right, can it? Back on the Corteso, Isabel and the observer brace themselves, their faces a mix of dread and disbelief as the pirate fleet closes in. The pirate captain, a force of nature, roars commands while his first mate frantically points, the pirates are here. The colossal Corteso cuts through the waves, a behemoth on the horizon. The first mate's voice cracks with panic, a pirate ship. Captain Mac, this is seriously bad. Isabel's jaw drops, her eyes wide with terror, as the full scope of the threat hits her. The gray-haired observer, a picture of stoic calm, observes the chaos with an unnerving stillness. Then, with a blinding flash, a shimmering magical barrier explodes around the Corteso, its ethereal energy swirling like a protective storm. The Corteso's ultimate defense erupts, a colossal blue barrier plunging into the depths, securing the ship's entire structure. Every single precaution has been taken. A swirling vortex of blue magical energy crackles with raw power. While elsewhere, a voice filled with disbelief cries out, impossible. They sank 2 warships. That's not something mere pirates can do. On the deck of a pirate ship, the captain and his crew stare out at the horizon, their faces etched with a mixture of shock and growing fear. One of the mohawked pirates lets out a nervous, strained laugh, ha ha ha. Just a few minutes prior, a crew member had urgently called out, Captain. They're in sight. As 2 imposing ships appeared on the horizon, the lead vessel identified as the Corteso. Now, the pirate captain and his first mate, surrounded by their anxious crew, face the grim reality, there are 2 warships with it. What do we do? The pirate captain, facing impossible odds, declares that a secret weapon, a special guest, will turn the tide. But this isn't just any guest, this robed enigma, crackling with arcane energy and surrounded by mystical orbs, was a monumental challenge to bring into their ranks. Suddenly, the purple energy explodes, forming a terrifying, skull-faced entity with eyes that burn with raw power. A silent, terrifying roar rips through the air, as those glowing blue orbs swirl around the monstrous form, pulsing with unimaginable magical might. At the heart of this chaotic storm, the robed figure remains, the purple energy a swirling vortex of power around him. This is it. This is the legendary Lord Goulard, the Lich. His incredible power is now unleashed, all for this one epic raid. One pirate, his face a mask of pure terror, can only stare as the raw, purple magic writhes around him. Horace, another pirate, can only utter a grim warning, while his comrade just groans, overwhelmed by the sheer scale of what's happening. But this power comes at a price. Lord Goulard reveals the shocking truth: he's burning through his own life force, like a spirit possessing a temporary vessel, to unleash this devastating magic. Still reeling from the captain's audacious plan, Horace can't believe they're going after the Corteso, protected by warships, but the first mate shuts him down fast. The first mate can't believe the captain cut a deal with a lich, but he's gotta admit, the captain's gonna be legendary in pirate history. Meanwhile, Lord Gullard's power is absolutely exploding, his lich form just oozing ominous purple energy as he preps his next devastating move. A swirling vortex of dark energy rips open, and from its terrifying depths, the chilling declaration of Ice Spear booms out. With a blinding flash of blue light, a colossal, intricately formed ice spear, absolutely crackling with power, just materializes out of nowhere. That massive projectile then absolutely rockets across the sky, locked onto those distant warships. Witnessing that sheer destructive force, Lucas Troman's eyes go wide in absolute shock. Horace and the first mate, totally overwhelmed, can only stare in terrified awe at the insane spectacle. But Lucas quickly snaps out of it, unleashing his own ice magic as he gets ready to counter that massive threat. He unleashes his own formidable ice magic, a swirling vortex of blue and white energy erupting around him. Even as Lord Gullard's colossal ice spear impacts the distant warships, shattering them into icy fragments with a deafening crack. The devastating ice continuing to tear through the fleet. A massive hand clenches in anticipation. As the ice spear continues its destructive path, threatening to obliterate the remaining vessels. When Lucas Troman manifests a colossal, shimmering ice barrier, radiating with blue energy. The pirate captain grits his teeth, a guttural roar escaping him in intense anticipation. As Lord Gullard's ice spear collides with the formidable barrier, halting its advance in a blinding flash of power. The captain lets out a triumphant laugh, commanding his crew to seize the moment and land. Kuma ha ha ha. Let's go. We're going to land. The pirate crew explodes in a frenzy of cheers, blades flashing as they celebrate their perceived victory. But the captain's triumphant grin vanishes, replaced by a scowl of confusion, as he recognizes Lord Gullard's devastating ice spear, a single blow that should have utterly obliterated their prey. The first mate, utterly stunned, can only stammer in disbelief, shaken by the sheer, terrifying power of the Lich. Meanwhile, the Lich, Lord Goulard, shrouded in dark, crackling magic, watches the chaos unfold, his glowing eyes fixated on the three colossal ice spears he had just conjured, each designed for absolute annihilation. He mentally confirms the devastating power he'd just unleashed, 3 ice spears. But the pirate captain's jaw drops in utter disbelief, his mind reeling as he stares at the impossible. That ship is still afloat, completely unscathed by the Lich's cataclysmic magic. A nervous subordinate dares to question Lord Goulard, who, for all his terrifying power, is utterly flummoxed, unable to process his own colossal miscalculation. The first mate, his face a mask of grim determination, proposes a brutal new plan: seize the passengers as hostages. The captain, his patience clearly gone, snaps at Horace, demanding an immediate apology for this colossal screw-up. Horace is absolutely fuming, cursing the irritating bastard under his breath. Lord Goulard coolly explains his strategy: attack to prevent sinking, a fair trade, he thought. But now, his voice dripping with menace, he demands to know what they're even trying to say. His skull-like face glows with an intense, furious red. A chilling voice, likely his, then urges them to just calm down. Back on the pirate ship, the captain is roaring orders, and his crew springs into action, ready to board. Lucas, eyes blazing with a fierce golden energy, takes it all in. David stands beside him, both witnessing the escalating situation. Isabel, utterly stunned, can only gasp about the annihilated warships. Peruan June, the gray-haired observer, stares into the distance, his mind clearly elsewhere, lost in thought. As the chaos unfolds, Isabel and David are on edge, with Isabel exclaiming, "They're really getting hammered. Good thing we stayed out of that mess." Below, Peruan June's mind is already on the pirates. He's haunted by a past where even the most devastating attacks simply vanished, swallowed whole by an unseen force. Isabel, sensing his deep contemplation, directly asks him, "Did you step in?" A heavy sigh escapes him as he closes his eyes, the weight of that past moment still crushing. His mind flashes back to a terrifying, shadowy monstrosity, pulsating with an ominous purple aura. He remembers the sheer powerlessness, admitting, even with all the mana fluctuations, I couldn't stop it. A chilling realization dawns on him: Fry. I'm just like you. Meanwhile, Duman Mylist and Alex Drumid are also watching, and Duman can't help but voice his growing unease. Coming here might have been a huge mistake. Peruin Jun's intense gaze remains locked, his face a mask of deep thought and unresolved burdens. He observes the escalating mayhem, a hand reaching out in a desperate plea, only for a cold voice to cut through. Get a grip. They're pirates. They're gonna die anyway. But another fires back, that's an ungrateful thing to say. Isabel whips her head around, challenging him. If it wasn't for him, who would have blocked it? His reply is chillingly calm, who knows? A heavy, contemplative look crosses his features. Down on the ship, Captain Martinez stands his ground, a defiant declaration on his lips, for saving this ship. Then, a massive explosion rips through the ship, sending bodies flying with panicked screams of kayak, as the terrifying cry of pirates erupts. The deck is instantly swarmed, a maelstrom of chaos. The very timbers of the vessel shriek under the relentless assault. Hordes of pirates crash onto the deck, blades flashing, as they clash violently with the ship's defenders, their shouts of pirates ringing out. Pure terror grips the crew, their desperate cries of the pirates are invading, and save me, echoing through the carnage. Suddenly, the ship's deck explodes into a maelstrom of steel and screams as pirates launch a full-scale invasion, catching the crew completely off guard. A crew member goes down hard, a pirate's heavy boot slamming onto his chest, no mercy shown. The attack is absolutely brutal, these pirates came out of nowhere, completely swarming the ship's crew. Captain Martinez can only stare in shock, utterly stunned that his barrier was breached and by the sheer, overwhelming numbers of these pirates. But the pirate first mate isn't just fighting, he's strategizing, shouting orders to his crew to hunt down the rich targets. A chilling grin stretches across his face, as he mutters about his dear little brother and comrade. This isn't just a raid, it's personal. Suddenly, a massive, mohawked brute steps into view, declaring himself Horus, a terrifying member of the blood-red crew. A pirate captain and his crew have boarded a ship, and he's already talking trash to Captain Mac Martinez, demanding to know if he even recognizes the vessel they've just taken over. But Mac Martinez, cool as ice, just stares him down and says, "Of course I do." The pirate captain just cackles, a booming, arrogant laugh, spilling the beans that this ship is basically a floating vault packed with wealthy families. That sets Mac Martinez off, and he snaps back, "How dare you filthy pirate talk like that?" Mac's face is pure fury, his resolve absolutely unshaken. But the pirate captain just shrugs it off, taunting Mac Martinez, "You really think you can take us on? This ship's loaded with nobles and royalty, we wouldn't be this careless." Mac Martinez's eyes narrow, a dangerous glint in them, as he snarls, "Too bad for you, because you guys picked the wrong ship to raid." Captain Mac Martinez isn't backing down, his voice booming with pure defiance as he tells these pirates they've made a huge mistake. But before the pirates can even blink, Lucas Troman unleashes a burst of raw power, bracing for impact as his hands begin to shimmer with energy. Suddenly, a searing crimson beam, fired by the pirate captain, rips across the deck, heading straight for Lucas. His pale blue eyes blaze with raw power, and his hand practically explodes with concentrated magic. The pirate captain, smug in his attack, snarls a warning, but Lucas just fires back, declaring he's never given him an ounce of respect. Then, bam! A green magical projectile, Lucas's counterattack, detonates with explosive force, sending the pirate captain stumbling back in shock. Mac Martinez and the woman next to him scream in terror, as Horus, another pirate, stares in absolute disbelief. The pirate first mate and another crew member shout in pure panic, their faces twisted with fear as this fight goes completely off the rails. But then, as another green projectile rockets towards the ship, a mysterious cloaked figure with gray hair teleports in, blocking the attack with an insane, glowing barrier. Everyone's asking, is this the one who just saved the ship? His eyes widen in shock as a grim voice cuts through the tension, he is not an opponent you can face. The mysterious hooded figure doubles down, "Don't you dare get yourself in trouble and stay down obscurity." Back with the pirates, the enraged captain, tied but defiant, roars, "Captain! How could you miss that?" But the pink-haired woman fires back, "Silence. I missed on purpose, he's a valuable hostage." The captain's face twists into a snarl, "I'll stop messing around," he vows, ready to get serious now. A new figure, sharp-eyed behind his glasses, surveys the captured duo, declaring, "Good. That 4 eyes. Let's use him." The pink-haired woman hesitates, a soft "no" escaping her lips as the two lie helpless on the deck. A dark, spreading stain appears on the grimy floor. The pirate captain recoils in utter disgust, "Look. Did he piss his pants?" He barks, "Get him washed." The blonde captive, utterly humiliated, lies tied, his trousers visibly drenched. He's thrown overboard, hitting the icy water with a desperate, choked-off scream as the shock hits him hard. The ship's massive hull smashes into the waves, sending a colossal splash sky-high. Fighting to break the surface, he chokes for air, the freezing depths trying to pull him down. Amidst the wreckage, Lucas Troman just floats, his body getting absolutely thrashed by the ocean. The endless ocean stretches out, a cold, uncaring void surrounding him. Meanwhile, back on the ship, the pirate captain and the pirate with glasses are just chilling, the one with glasses casually talking about some two-star orca getting totally owned. Then, a.m. A blinding wave of blue energy explodes. Lucas Troman is back on deck, absolutely raging, blasting the detestable pirates for what they did. But the pirate with glasses just casually cups his ear, shrugging off the insane magic as just noisy chatter. But Lucas Troman's focused magic slams into him anyway, sending shimmering blue energy exploding across his body and shoving him back. His declaration hangs in the air, and then, a cataclysmic burst of ice magic explodes from his shadowy figure, annihilating one of the pirates in a flash of blue energy. The pirate captain's jaw drops, utterly stunned, as a terrifying, swirling purple vortex rips open before them. The pirate with glasses, his glowing blue blade now useless, can only gasp in utter disbelief, a desperate "how" escaping his lips as the raw power overwhelms him. The dark energy surges forward, swallowing him whole. He's gone, vanished into the terrifying purple vortex. The pirate captain can only gape at the void where his comrade stood, his sword clattering to the ground, a horrified whisper escaping him, "No. It can't be. Is that a real lich?" The remaining pirates scramble back in sheer terror, as the malevolent energy pulses and expands. Then, from the very core of the terrifying purple maelstrom, a skeletal, cloaked horror manifests, its eyes blazing with an infernal, blood-red light. Meanwhile, from a hidden vantage point, Isabel and the gray-haired observer witness the horrifying spectacle, their expressions frozen in absolute terror. With the terrifying lich, Lord Goulard, now fully manifested, Lucas Troman wasted no time, confronting the pirates and demanding to know if they'd actually made a deal with an undying being. But the lich, with his eyes burning crimson, shot back with a chilling retort, snapping that undying beings don't cut deals with pathetic mortals, and questioning why they even dared to speak. But the pirate captain, surprisingly unfazed, shot back defiantly, shouting that they didn't care about power or money, they were just pirates. Lucas, watching their insane defiance, just scoffed, wondering if they valued money more than their own lives, then grumbled about the stifling heat. Meanwhile, the gray-haired observer, holding a distressed Isabel, casually pointed out the high humidity, considering they were in the middle of the ocean. But his calm facade cracked, revealing a worried frown that spoke volumes about the danger. Isabel, completely overwhelmed, clamped her hands over her ears, her face a mask of pure terror. Gazing at the pirate ship, Isabel's voice trembled with a chilling realization, these weren't just pirates, this whole thing was a total disaster. The purple magic pulsed, and he couldn't help but think, this lich? Easily a 4-star mage, minimum. It all clicked into place, no wonder those 4-star battle mages got absolutely wrecked, they stood no chance. But the pirate captain? He wasn't backing down, roaring, "All right, show yourself." Lord Goulard, radiating pure dark energy, just stood there, staring down the pirate captain. His eyes burned red, locked onto something invisible, and he growled, "You. The one who dared block my magic." A hand crackled with dark power as he demanded, "Come out now. I know you're shielding them." Lucas and the gray-haired observer exchanged worried glances as the lich's voice boomed, "Show yourself, now. Keep hiding, and you'll regret it." He didn't even finish the sentence. A skeletal hand exploded with dark energy, unleashing pure destruction. And just like that, jagged, glowing purple ice shards ripped through everything, a terrifying show of force. Lord Goulard unleashes his full power. A storm of glowing purple ice shards explodes forth, and he makes it clear, he's here to wipe them all out, right now. Engulfed in a dark, swirling aura, the lich stands absolutely menacing, his power practically screaming as he faces down the pirate captain. From afar, Lucas and the gray-haired observer can only watch the horror unfold, as the pirate captain lets out a desperate, choked cry. Massive ice shards absolutely decimate the ship, slamming down with incredible force, and the captain can only let out a terrified, drawn-out scream. Absolutely paralyzed by fear, the pirate captain tries to reason with the lich, his voice shaking as he desperately questions what Goulard is doing. But Gullard's glowing red eyes show absolutely no mercy, just pure, unadulterated, terrifying power. The pirate captain, absolutely drenched in sweat, can only think one thing, this guy is terrifying. His mind is completely blown by the sheer power on display. With a heavy, deliberate step, Goulard closes in. He towers over the absolutely terrified pirate captain, his voice cutting through all the chaos as he demands to know, "Are you the one who dared to block my magic?" With his piercing blue gaze locked onto the cowering pirates, Lord Gullard's voice rips through the air, a chilling demand for the name of the fool who dared to cross him. He looms over them, a terrifying silhouette of power, his command slicing through the tension, "Reveal your name." Isabel and David can only stare, their expressions a mix of fear and disbelief. While Lucas Troman watches with an almost unnerving focus, his eyes never leaving the scene. And there, amidst the stunned crowd, stands Peruin, his face a mask of tense anticipation, the sheer pressure of Gullard's presence almost suffocating. Isabel's eyes widen at the name Peruin June, immediately asking if the man beside her knows him. But Lucas Stroman, oblivious to the name, draws a blank on anyone called Peruin June in their academy, even as the truth is revealed, he's the student council leader. Isabel drops another bombshell. Peruin June isn't just a student leader, he's the legitimate heir to one of the Empire's three most powerful houses, the June House. Her companion can only muster a stunned, "Oh, is that so?" Peruin June, ever composed, simply states, "Excellent." Isabel, with a playful smirk, needles him, "Are you jealous because he's always battling the academy's top student?" He instantly, fiercely, denies it. Lucas, deep in thought, concedes that despite their similar academic standing, Peruin June's true power level must be significantly above his own. Then, a sudden realization hits Isabel, Lord Peruin June has to be on this very ship. The crowd parts, and a figure steps into view, instantly sparking a wave of relief. Isabel, recognizing the powerful presence, shouts, "It's Lord Peruin. We're saved." Her voice drops, a hint of worry creeping in, he's the one who nullified the Lich's magic. He has to be able to handle this. Wait, don't tell me. She turns to Peruin June, her eyes wide, asking, "That?" Elsewhere, Lucas Stroman watches, his mind racing, muttering, even just standing up for himself must be a monumental task. His internal monologue sharpens, a grim realization dawning, the Lich is easily 5-star, minimum. He mentally gauges Peruin June's power, acknowledging his growth in enlightenment and mana, but knowing he'd only just scraped 5-star himself. The raw, destructive energy of the Lich's magic still hangs in the air, a chilling reminder of its might, and the sheer impossibility of anyone surviving its cancellation is a miracle in itself. Lucas Stroman's eyes narrow, a profound thought solidifying in his mind, to be stronger than his past life, that's a true miracle. Isabel, her face etched with concern, then directly asks, "Are you stronger than that Lich?" Isabel's words hit, but Lucas's mind is miles away, his face a mask. She pushes him to get clear, feeling the raw magical aftermath. While he's locked in thought, knowing this path was always his destiny. He's on his feet, but his body is screaming. His hand shaking, feeling like it's about to explode from just shutting down the Lich's insane magic. Then, the Lich's terrifying presence erupts, a monstrous shadow engulfing everything. And Lucas, a tiny speck against the darkness, throws down a challenge. The Lich's eyes burn, its voice dripping with sinister glee, questioning how such a prime specimen could be right here. Its colossal, skeletal form absolutely dominates the scene, a chilling display of pure, unadulterated power. He listens, the Lich's chilling voice reverberating, declaring itself a god, an existence humans worship. But a defiant spark ignites in his eyes. The pirate captain, a grizzled veteran, cuts in, bluntly stating he's never praised or applauded the Lich. A smirk plays on his lips, shrugging off the Lich's arrogance. Then, his face turns grim as he brings up the children, forced through the deadly Oskal archipelago, hinting at a recent, perilous rescue. Hand over his heart, a raw display of emotion, he demands, should they have just watched it happen? On the ship's deck, Lucas Stroman, Isabel, and the first mate watch the rescued children, the captain's powerful words echoing, "Because they're human. We see our own kids in them." The captain, his conviction solid, adds, "Of course, we'll get paid for your safety. Obviously." Meanwhile, the gray-haired observer, Lord Peruin, watches the whole thing, a knowing smirk on his face as he deadpans, "So it was all about the money, huh?" Lucas Stroman faces down the pirate captain, his gaze locked and ready for anything. He lays down his terms, demanding to be the sole survivor of this deal. But the pirate captain isn't budging, revealing that the Jim Hooks are offering double his asking price, so there's no way he's letting those other kids go. Lucas can't believe his ears, calling him an idiot, but the captain just smirks, dropping the bombshell that the undying being Lord Dullard is on their side. The captain doubles down, explaining his ruthless business model, they could take Lucas's money, then flip the kids for even bigger gains. Why would they ever listen to him? Lucas takes it all in, a single, heavy word confirming his understanding. He admits, with a touch of defeat, that he's not powerful enough to take on the Lich they've got with them. But then, a surge of blue magical energy ignites around his hand, and his whole demeanor changes. With his eyes blazing with intense blue power, he makes a bold declaration of confidence. He stands firm, a faint blue energy shimmering around his form, declaring his intent to drag his adversaries into the afterlife with him, a chilling promise. Eliciting a frustrated "UGH" from the pirate captain, clearly not amused. From a distance, a mysterious gray-haired woman watches the unfolding scene, her expression unreadable. His eyes blazing with fierce resolve, he adds that he's starting to enjoy the prospect more and more, a truly terrifying declaration. Indeed, a narrator notes, such impressive spirit is rare for someone his age, a testament to his hidden power. Nearby, Isabel and the gray-haired observer watch, one exclaiming about the courageous fellow's bright future, while the other sharply questions the sudden, palpable shift in atmosphere. Suddenly, a monstrous maw with glowing teeth appears, its voice booming a defiant "I refuse." The lich makes its move. But before the lich can even react, Lucas unleashes a torrent of dark, purple energy, engulfing the shadowy figure as he chillingly declares its mana tastes wonderful at its current level. Quang! The very platform beneath them cracks and shatters under the immense pressure of the surging, dark power. Quang! Even as the dark energy rips through him, Lord Goulard unleashes a chilling vow. He'll drain every last drop of mana, turning it into an undead weapon. But Lucas, bound by shadowy tendrils yet glowing with an ominous blue light, drops a bombshell: "You're already mine." He's taken control. Watching the magical chaos erupt, the pirate captain's face twists into a snarl, declaring that negotiations are officially over. And with a furious roar, he commands his crew, "Bring every single one of them onto our ship." But while Lucas Stroman freefalls from the heavens, a desperate cry tearing from his throat, his allies, Isabel and the gray-haired observer, are already on the deck, surrounded by the pirate horde. A pirate, caught off guard by the sudden turn of events, screams for help, utterly terrified. On the ship's deck, Isabel, David, and the gray-haired observer are brutally seized, their resistance crushed by the overwhelming pirate numbers. Still falling, Lucas Stroman lets out a pained groan, while his friends are held hostage below. Meanwhile, from the shadows, a sinister, hooded figure with a skeletal grin watches the chaos, cackling with delight and praising the pirate's success. From the chilling void of an empty eye socket, a voice oozes with dark satisfaction: "Wow, what an extremely cute one." Isabel desperately holds onto an unconscious David, her concern palpable. The pirate captain, a menacing grin spreading across his face, points to the struggling duo, barking orders to his crew: "Wanna go grab some way over there?" He then adds, dripping with false reassurance, "Don't worry, I'm not a bad man." But the gray-haired observer, already seething, can only manage a sarcastic jab at his own captor: "Could the wig in front of me move a little bit to the side?" The pirates waste no time, hauling Isabel and David away to the left, while the defiant observer is dragged along to the right. His eyes narrow, a furious energy radiating from him. The captain, unfazed by the captive's fury, taunts him: "Just no eyes. Bad attitude." A dark laugh escapes him: Somehow, this feels. Time for a hostage, isn't it?" He declares, his words chillingly clear: "No can do about that. It's the real deal." Still defiant, he challenges his captor: "You come to me." The pirate captain, not backing down, fires back: "Who are you to order me to come and go?" Isabel, David, and the gray-haired man are bound, and she can only gasp: "What did he say?" The captain absolutely loses it, roaring: "Don't play games, Fry. Did you forget the grace of your decent job? You're a hostage, a fucking hostage." But the real threat, the hooded lich minion, just watches, a sinister thought hanging in the air. The pirate captain punctuates his rage by stomping his foot, shattering the deck beneath him. He leans in, his voice dripping with menace: "Do you even know who pays up in situations like this?" His face is pure, unadulterated fury, locked onto the captive. But even tied up, the gray-haired man's gaze is absolutely fearless, refusing to break. He stares down his captors, a defiant sneer plastered across his face, calling them out for their utter lack of situational awareness. But before his words even echo, the hooded lich minion, absolutely furious, slams a wicked staff down with crushing force onto the helpless Isabel. A sickening crunch of red energy erupts, and her scream tears through the air. Her face twists in pure agony, eyes clenched shut against the brutal impact. But then, a monstrous shadow beast erupts into existence, its terrifying maw filled with razor-sharp fangs. Before it can even fully form, Lucas Stroman, blazing with a brilliant blue aura, blasts forward, slamming into the beast with a devastating, glowing strike. But the beast's counter is lightning fast and brutal, sending him absolutely soaring backward. He's sent plummeting through the air, his momentum carrying him down, down, down. As the chaos unfolds, the gray-haired man just smirks, a knowing, sarcastic comment dripping from his lips. Whoa, hold up. Lucas Stroman is caught in a super sweet moment, locking eyes with a mysterious woman, and the vibes are just immaculate. He pulls her into a tight embrace, asking if joining her guild would make her happy, and her answer is an instant, enthusiastic, extremely happy. Talk about relationship goals. A colossal pirate ship is absolutely rocked, its side blown wide open by a devastating magical blast, sending a shower of electric blue energy everywhere. From afar, a red-haired girl stares, wide-eyed, at the destruction, blurting out, "What was that fight? Isn't that Fry?" Next to her, the blonde mage grins, a hint of pride in his voice as he declares, "He's the eternal pride of our academy." Suddenly, he's on the pirate ship's deck, eyes scanning the chaos, ready for anything. A flicker of recognition in his eyes as he mutters, "That move just now. But before the pirate's blade can even drop, Fry explodes into action with insane speed, delivering a kick without even using mana. It's a blur, a move almost impossible to track. His leg flares with pure power, and the pirate is sent flying from the brutal impact. The chaos on the pirate ship subsided, and Peruin, watching intently, couldn't help but think, he knew Fry was good, but this level of mana manipulation. Absolutely insane. Isabel, her eyes wide with worry, grabbed his arm and warned, "Careful." Her worried eyes, a clear sign of the danger they were witnessing. He, however, remained unfazed, putting a hand on her shoulder and declaring, "None of them are stronger than him." He then added, with a hint of pride, "You should be able to control your own body. I didn't realize you had grown so much." Isabel, flustered, could only look away. Back on the ship, Fry was already on the move, a blur of focused intent. Peruin's hand tightened, his eyes never leaving the action. And on the ship itself, David and the other pirates were completely bewildered, shouting, "What just happened right now?" The pirate first mate is absolutely fuming, cursing out some one-eyed boss, totally caught off guard by whatever just happened. But before he can even finish his rant, Fry blitzes him, a torrent of blue mana exploding out, sending the pirate flying back. The pirate is absolutely stunned, screaming in disbelief at the sheer speed and power of the attack. Just as Fry gains the upper hand, a new threat appears. A shadowy, hooded figure with terrifying, glowing red eyes materializes out of nowhere. And without a moment's hesitation, a crimson orb of pure energy, moving at blinding speed, rockets from its grasp. It hits with an explosive impact, shredding the very air and sending shrapnel everywhere. The pirate first mate screams in pure agony, caught in the devastating shockwave. Even Fry is sent reeling, a choked cry escaping his lips as his own blue mana shield shatters and fades. The pirate first mate screams, still reeling from the devastating magical blast. But Lucas's gaze is pure ice, his voice a chilling promise. He coolly states he's never taken a human life. Then drops the mic, declaring these guys aren't even human. The pirate captain loses it, roaring for his crew to take him down. But Lucas's eyes ignite with raw power. And a massive surge of energy explodes from him. The first pirate to even think about attacking gets absolutely rocked by an unseen force. As Lucas unleashes a whirlwind of devastating magic. Lucas Stroman absolutely explodes with power, unleashing a devastating, swirling vortex of electric blue wind magic. The sheer force of it expands instantly, completely swallowing the pirates in a maelstrom of raw energy. But wait, the pirate captain, somehow still standing, defiantly roars, "Take this finger attack." His crew, though, is frozen in pure, unadulterated terror, their faces screaming silent horror. Lucas doesn't even flinch, charging up an even more concentrated, pulsating orb of brilliant blue energy, ready to unleash hell. He then unleashes a barrage of piercing projectiles, tearing through the air with blinding speed. Even the hooded lich minion, watching from afar, can only gasp, "I am possible," as the pirate first mate beside him gets rocked. Pirates are sent absolutely soaring through the air, their bodies contorting from the brutal impacts, screaming, "URGH," in agony. Lucas Stroman is just getting started, continuing his relentless, unstoppable assault, because let's be real, these pirates are absolutely no match for him. Lucas's power was absolutely shredding the pirate crew, sending them screaming in terror. The pirate captain, furious, clamped down on Isabel, who fought back with everything she had. He was absolutely seething, but deep down, he knew it was over. But before he could even think, Lucas was already on him, a blue streak of pure power tearing through the air. A razor-sharp blast of wind magic exploded from him, slamming into the captain with insane force, freeing Isabel as Lucas landed with a deck-shattering crash. The captain's face was pure shock and agony, as Lucas unleashed a brutal follow-up kick, glowing with that same fierce blue energy. The impact sent him absolutely rocketing across the deck, a broken mess. The deck was a war zone, and Lucas was the storm, a golden-haired blur tearing through the pirate ranks, launching one unfortunate soul into the air with a devastating blow. Another pirate got absolutely rocked, his body flailing helplessly as he was launched skyward. And just like that, another one bit the dust, crumpling to the deck as Lucas showed no mercy. His arm pulsed with an ominous blue glow, charging up for the next wave of destruction. Lucas stood victorious over a pile of defeated pirates, Isabel looking on, but one pirate, clearly not getting the memo, screamed, "Why are you killing each other, you idiots? I'll kill him." With a furious snarl, that pirate was ready to throw down. But Lucas wasn't listening to threats, he was powering up, a massive, swirling vortex of blue wind magic erupting around him, ready to sweep away anyone in his path. That pirate's tough guy act. Gone. He screamed in pure terror as Lucas unleashed his true power. His eyes blazed with electric blue power, and Lucas unleashed a cataclysmic torrent of wind magic, obliterating everything in its path. The pirate's face twists in pure agony as Lucas's devastating wind spell absolutely engulfs him. Blue magical energy swirling violently, ripping through him. Tearing at his very form. The sheer force of the attack rips through the deck itself, sending splinters and debris absolutely everywhere. Lucas steps forward, his foot landing with a soft tack amidst the dissipating magical storm. He stands there, utterly calm, the last vestiges of the wind magic swirling around him as the deck lies in utter ruin. From a short distance, Ryan watches the aftermath, his expression completely unreadable. Isabel recoils in sheer horror, crying out at the raw display of power, while David, his face etched with pure anger, steps forward. He confronts Lucas, demanding he cease his actions, daring him to even twitch a single muscle. Just as the chaos from Lucas's last attack subsided, a pirate, still fueled by defiance, seized Isabel, screaming a death threat. Ryan, ever the silent observer, watched the escalating tension. David, already on edge, roared back, challenging the pirate's audacity. But in an instant, the pirate's bravado shattered, his eyes flaring wide with pure, unadulterated fear. Lucas, a blur of motion, had already closed the distance, locking the pirate in an inescapable hold as raw, blue energy surged between them. His eyes blazed with electric power, a storm brewing within their depths. And the pirate's face twisted into a mask of pure agony as the lightning struck. A blinding, electric surge consumed the pirate. His desperate scream swallowed by the crackling power. His lightning-charged fist explodes into the target, a raw burst of power. But in a flash, he's ensnared. Dark, shadowy tendrils erupt, locking him down instantly. A menacing hooded figure, radiating a terrifying purple aura, steps forward alongside the hulking pirate captain, now facing him down. The pirate Lucas just hit is absolutely petrified, as Isabel and the gray-haired observer stare, utterly stunned by this sudden, brutal reversal. "Are my skills?" Isabel demands, her voice sharp with shock. The gray-haired observer can only manage a stunned whisper, "This kid." Lord Peruin and Isabel are locked in, totally focused on the pirates, the air thick with anticipation. The pirate captain, a massive figure, throws his hands up, declaring he's never once given props to this so-called god. He lets out a massive, booming laugh, his amusement practically shaking the ship. The first mate, all business, just stares at his laughing captain, not even cracking a smile. Then, the captain pivots to his first mate, dropping the word "deal" like a bombshell. From their perch, Lord Peruin fires back, calling out the captain's bluff and asking what the real price tag is for this deal. He watches, a grim expression on his face, as the pirate captain, with a chilling grin, lays down his brutal terms, half. The captain sweeps his hand towards the terrified, bound figures, including Isabel and David, boldly stating he'll take exactly half, then challenges, "How about that, deal?" A profound unease settles over the observer's features, his mind racing to grasp the full, sinister implications of this so-called deal. The captain then barks a command to Bonnie, while Isabel, bound and terrified, can only manage a desperate, choked whisper, "I don't want to." The pirate leader, utterly unconcerned by their plight, grins, laying out his twisted logic, "You'll be doing me a favor, while we expand our gang." He flashes a wide, unsettling smile, his voice dripping with false reassurance, "It's a win-win situation, brother." The observer's thoughts burn with disgust, this captain is truly rotten to the core, daring to call it a win-win even as he demands they sacrifice their own people. The captain presses on, his voice chillingly casual, telling them they can personally decide who to keep, brother. He reiterates the chilling condition, his gaze sweeping over the captives, exactly half of them. A desperate plea rips from Lucas Troman's throat, his voice raw as he calls out to the figure standing before him. He's practically screaming, calling him, Fry, begging him to make a choice, to pick him. His eyes wide with desperation, Lucas pushes harder, "I'm begging you. Please choose me." He's laying it all out, offering up every secret he has on these pirates, just choose him. But the gray-haired observer? Stone cold, not even flinching, as Lucas desperately offers to do anything if his intel isn't enough. Back with the captives, Isabel and David are tied up, helpless, their faces etched with pure terror as they witness the desperate exchange. The pirate captain, a menacing shadow over the bound captives, just doubles down on his demands, bluntly stating he's taking exactly half. But the gray-haired observer? He's completely unfazed by Lucas's desperate pleas or the captain's chilling threats, coldly shutting him down, declaring he has no use for him. His eyes, cold and distant, betray no hint of wavering, his decision absolute. The pirate captain, a sneer twisting his features, glares at the bound captives, roaring about the pathetic kids and this ridiculous auction. But Lucas, still clinging to hope, desperately pleads with Lord Peruin, declaring his own superior worth. Peruin, however, remains ice-cold, shutting him down with a chilling reminder that lineage means nothing here. The surrounding pirates flinch, their faces etched with fear and disbelief at the tense exchange. The captain, absolutely furious, explodes with laughter, mocking Lucas's grand ambitions of becoming a minister. He then pivots, his gaze landing on Isabel, tearing into Fry about his past failures and questioning his true value, while Isabel's thoughts race, calculating who truly holds the most leverage. Peruin, utterly fed up, snaps at them to silence themselves, complaining that their squabbling is grating on his ears. As he turns to leave, Lucas makes one last desperate attempt, urging him to think. But Peruin simply brushes him off, grumbling about the oppressive heat and humidity of the open sea. The pirate captain, watching the whole pathetic display, sneers, dismissing the brats as clueless about true wealth and the grind it takes to earn it. The captives are absolutely stunned, their faces contorted in pure horror at the noble's shocking indifference. But Lord Peruin just doesn't care, his voice dripping with pure contempt as he sneers, "Is that how a mage acts?" Isabel's eyes are wide with terror, realizing the brutal truth, no matter what they say, a mage like Peruin will never protect them. Her face twists in pure agony as the pirate captain's taunting voice slices through the tension, "So, how much are you willing to pay again?" Peruin just turns his back on their desperate pleas, calling the whole thing disgusting as he walks away, leaving Lucas and the others completely helpless. The pirate captain's face just hardens, his patience totally gone. Meanwhile, in a totally different, shadowy realm, a monstrous shadow beast explodes with dark energy, absolutely crushing a robed figure in its grip. Lord Goulard, the Lich, watches the brutal show, green smoke swirling around his skull face as his red eyes burn with pure evil, tauntingly wondering if this bonehead could even stand a chance against him. He just scoffs at the idea, declaring with total confidence, "Nonsense. There's no human I can't." Suddenly, the pirate captain is staring down a terrifying shadow beast, its red eyes burning into his soul, and he's barely holding it together. Then, a terrifying thought hits him, is this thing reading his mind? Why is it looking at him like that? But elsewhere, Lord Goulard, radiating dark purple energy, realizes he can't even think freely anymore, he has to be super careful with his thoughts. Across the way, the gray-haired observer and Isabel are watching, and he's blown away, seeing a mana glow like nothing he's ever witnessed, realizing they're dealing with a seriously powerful fighter. But even with all that power, he shrugs it off, saying the guy's just a 5-star, talk about underestimating the competition. Suddenly, the shadow beast is impaled by a glowing red spear, and Lord Goulard is there, totally owning it, shouting that no one can conquer him. Purple energy just explodes around the beast. Watching all this go down, Isabel finally spills it, confirming she never trusted Goulard from the start. And with a terrifying stare, the Lich lays down the law, reminding everyone that he's already wiped out countless magic warriors just like the one who dared to challenge him. A terrifying shadow beast roars, its gaping maw demanding absolute submission. "Give up and be mine," it screams, but before its words can even settle, a torrent of purple energy explodes from the void. And Lucas Troman, a blur of golden hair and raw power, unleashes a devastating, living missile, in a counterattack that rips through the air. Isabel, watching from afar, can only gasp in awe and terror at the sheer, unbridled power of that spell. While Lucas, eyes blazing with resolve, presses his relentless assault, his voice a thunderous command cutting through the maelstrom. "Die!" The gray-haired observer, his face etched with a grim intensity, watches as the raw, untamed magical energy washes over him. The very air crackling with the spell's purple aura, swirling violently around him. A silent, terrifying testament to the sheer, destructive power being unleashed. Lucas's living missile attack, a blinding torrent of raw purple energy, absolutely slams forward, tearing through the air with impossible speed. "Fry, watch out!" Isabel screams, her voice cracking with pure terror. But Lucas, engulfed in a furious purple aura, just knows the danger. "I know," he snarls back, ready for anything. Even the seasoned gray-haired observer can only gasp, a cold sweat beading on his brow. "Dangerous," he whispers, utterly stunned. Yet, the shadow beast just drinks it in. The magical assault twists its form, but it's absorbing the power. Then, with a horrifying, guttural shriek, its monstrous maw rips open, revealing rows of razor-sharp, bone-like fangs. Suddenly, shadowy tendrils lash out, wrapping around Lucas and yanking him in. And from the very ground, more spectral hands erupt, clawing and grasping, threatening to drag him into the ultimate darkness. With Lucas Troman still caught in the beast's grip, the gray-haired observer exploded with power, a blinding wave of purple energy erupting from him. His gaze sharpened, locked onto the chaos with fierce determination. But the shadow beast's tendrils, unfazed, struck back with savage fury. Lucas Troman fought against the crushing tendrils, a single, desperate thought burning in his mind, that's the only way. Isabel could only watch, her face frozen in a horrified gasp. Then, with a thunderous roar, the observer unleashed a devastating wave of purple power, screaming, "Fry!" The raw magical force converged, forging an intricate, blazing symbol of absolute power. Suddenly, the ground explodes as a terrifying shadow beast bursts forth, its dark tendrils lashing out with raw, destructive power. Before Lucas Troman can even blink, those shadowy tendrils slam into him, sending him reeling with a guttural scream. The beast's relentless assault keeps him on the ropes, as another watches, horrified, from the sidelines. But then, with a fierce surge of resolve, Isabel unleashes a torrent of ice magic, her hands blazing with a vibrant blue aura. Her gaze turns razor-sharp, her eye blazing with a fierce, crimson glow as she channels every ounce of her power. Even with Isabel's desperate counter, the shadow beast's attack still sends Lucas Troman hurtling through the air, his body utterly defenseless. The world around them is shattered, but one name screams through the chaos: Fry. Isabel and David, their faces etched with terror, scream his name from the ship, begging for any sign of life. But Fry is down, utterly motionless, a chilling monument to the shadow beast's raw power. And the beast isn't done. Wicked, purple energy spikes erupt from thin air, blasting towards its targets. Then, the nightmare itself steps into view, its skull-like face and burning red eyes screaming pure menace. It coils, a vortex of dark power swirling around its form, primed to strike again. Another volley of those deadly purple projectiles rips through the air, a relentless assault. One spike slams into the ground with explosive force, the shadow beast looming over its destructive mark. Then, a chilling humph escapes its form, a sound of utter disdain for its helpless prey. A booming voice claims godhood in Lucas Troman's mind, but he's having none of it, firing back with pure defiance. But then, a massive surge of purple energy absolutely engulfs him, his body starting to morph and blaze with an insane, dark power. The transformation climaxes in a brutal energy explosion, blasting outwards as his new, armored form solidifies. Totally bewildered, he's asking himself how this even went down, because that attack was definitely meant for the gray-haired mage, not him. His glowing red eye flares as he tries to figure out why the attack didn't just vanish after its supposed target was taken out. Now, in his terrifying new form, he stands tall, with Lord Perroin just watching, his face giving nothing away. Close by, Isabel and David are absolutely floored, their faces screaming pure, unadulterated shock at the insane transformation. David, snapping out of it, shouts to him, his voice full of worry, demanding to know if Fry is okay. They stand side by side, Lucas Troman's armored leg next to David's regular jeans, a wild visual clash that screams just how much everything has changed. The monstrous shadow beast is absolutely floored, its glowing red eyes bugging out in pure disbelief. He was just too fast, blitzing past every single attack from those shadowy creeps, literally blinking behind them before they could even register it. Then, a lightning-fast strike, and the transformed Lucas Troman just blasts one of those beasts away. The beast's mind is blown, it can't even process how he didn't just dodge, but predicted 3 moves ahead. That kind of move was just impossible, something no human should ever be able to pull off. Lord Perroin just stares, his face giving nothing away as Lucas stands there, totally owning the situation. Isabel, though, can't hold back her worry, shouting out to him, "Fry, are you all right?" Lord Perroin stays quiet, his eyes locked onto the incredible power radiating from Lucas. Isabel, still totally freaked out, just keeps staring at him, waiting for a sign. His pale blue eyes blaze with raw power. A confident smirk gracing his lips. Meanwhile, Isabel's eyes widen, a mix of shock and worry etched on her face. Lucas stands tall next to Lord Perroin, radiating an undeniable aura. As Isabel's intense gaze remains locked on the unfolding events. Then, Lucas snaps his head up, a purple vortex tearing open above them, demanding to know what he's seeing. From its depths, a barrage of razor-sharp ice spears rains down. Making the pirate with glasses turn to Lord Perroin, his voice laced with doubt, asking if this can truly be trusted. Suddenly, a figure in sleek black armor, eyes blazing crimson, feels a chilling premonition, thinking about obliterating the ship to secure their survival. But before they can even move, a colossal explosion of ice and raw energy just detonates. No time to react. A red, pulsating orb bursts from a swirling purple vortex above, revealing the terrifying origin of this onslaught. And from it, countless ice spears just rain down on the ship below, making everyone wonder, what kind of monstrous mana is this? But just as chaos threatens to engulf everything, Lucas Troman's hand shoots out, blazing with an ethereal blue light. He stands his ground, a powerful blue magical aura exploding around him, forming an impenetrable barrier against the incoming onslaught. But the monstrous shadow beast, its skeletal form impaled by ice shards and eyes burning red, is bleeding out and totally immobilized, stunned by the unbelievable power that just hit it. Lucas Troman, with a determined look, declares it was a single spear, as Isabel watches, her face filled with worry, asking herself, just who could do this? Then, the camera zooms in on the glowing purple ice spear itself, a chilling testament to the immense magical power unleashed. As the purple vortex pulsed with dark energy, the shadow beast roared, "You lowly human." But Lucas Troman's eyes widened in shock at the sheer scale of the ice spear descending, realizing. That's an ice spear of an inconceivable size. A chilling voice from the vortex then screamed, "Die, human." The already wounded shadow beast was brutally impaled, its legs pierced by relentless ice shards, sending glowing particles everywhere. But then, Lucas Troman's expression hardened into pure resolve, planting his feet firmly, ready to face the overwhelming onslaught. He took a decisive, powerful step forward. As a colossal ice spear, radiating frigid energy, plunged relentlessly from the vortex. Followed by a devastating barrage that absolutely slammed into the ship below. The ice barrage just won't quit, absolutely hammering the shadow beast, sending purple energy exploding with every hit. And just when you think it's over, more ice spears rain down, glowing with an ominous blue as they fall. The shadow beast is getting absolutely wrecked, its body twisting in agony, while Lord Peruin just stands there, taking it all in. But then, the attack changes targets. Massive ice shards blast through the sky, heading straight for a pirate ship. The pirate captain and his crew are freaking out on deck, their jaws dropping as the ice of death comes crashing down. The ship gets swallowed whole, instantly encased in a gigantic, glowing blue ice tunnel. Lord Goulard, with his eyes blazing red, tells Lord Peruin, "This power could rival even me." Then he drops the bomb, "Yeah, because you're in the path." Peruin is totally stunned, demanding to know, "Are you saying you can actually see the path of the ice spear?" A confident figure with flowing gray hair stands, a smirk playing on his lips, thinking he's ready to unleash his power, but maybe he'll hold back for just a bit longer. The monstrous shadow beast, its mechanical body pulsing with menacing red energy, roars, demanding to know who he is. It presses, "Are you Fry Blake, the legendary loser of Westwood Academy, or is that just what they say?" Floating effortlessly above the beast, the gray-haired man coolly repeats, "Or so they say." Then, his eyes ignite with a blinding golden glow as he drops the bombshell, "My real name is Lucas Troman." He continues, declaring his epic return to school, these crazy lads, like the beast right in front of him. With absolute, chilling confidence, he proclaims himself history's strongest mage. Meanwhile, Lucas turns to a red-haired man, casually mentioning he can't have him mistaking him for Fry Blake, leaving the red-haired man utterly bewildered about their conversation. Both the red-haired man and the shadow beast are absolutely floored, shouting in disbelief at the sheer audacity. Engulfed in a maelstrom of dark, swirling energy, Lucas Troman is absolutely hammered, the sheer brutality of the assault leaving everyone questioning if this is the end. The shadow beast, his tormentor, just towers over him, a chilling taunt cutting through the air, "Yeah, you definitely look better from behind." Without a moment's hesitation, the beast unleashes a devastating blue energy blast, dark tendrils ripping through the air to obliterate its foe. The hit sends a searing pain through Lucas, a sickening spray of crimson confirming the brutal internal damage. He lets out a pained groan, the agony etched onto his face, as the shadow beast just keeps on coming, relentless. Then, the shadow beast changes gears, holding up a glowing green life vessel, and smugly confirms, "Yeah, as long as you're intact, you're correct." Suddenly, the beast transforms into a menacing skull with glowing red eyes, musing, "Its location is all over the place, so finding the exact spot is gonna take some time." But then, a shocking realization hits it, "Hold on, eh?" Before the shadow beast can even blink, Lucas Troman explodes with a powerful counterattack, a blinding surge of white and blue energy blasting forth. Lucas Troman's counterattack connects with devastating force, shattering the shadow beast's skull and making its menacing red eye flicker out. The beast's body is ripped apart, its shadowy form disintegrating into a storm of dark particles. And there he is, floating above the chaos, Lucas Troman, utterly composed, his gray hair and white energy a stark contrast to the beast's destruction. His glowing pale blue eyes hold a calm intensity, a silent testament to his power. The onlookers are stunned, their faces a picture of shock as someone gasps, "He actually defeated him." More shocked faces appear, a green-helmeted warrior and a bearded man utterly bewildered. The bearded man, completely flustered, shouts, "What? Why would you say that? You're supposed to be an undying shadow beast." But then, as if to mock his words, the shadow beast's particles swirl back together, its terrifying form reforming, red eye blazing once more, sending shivers down the spines of everyone watching. Meanwhile, the pirate captain, hand on his hilt, watches the impossible spectacle unfold with a grim, silent intensity. The shadow beast reforms, and a grizzled man can only stare in utter disbelief. "No need to say it, right?" he mutters, realizing all hope for negotiations has completely broken down. But then, Lucas Troman, his golden hair now blazing white, steps forward, his eyes glowing with an icy, deadly resolve. "Every one of you will die here," he roars, the air crackling with his power. Whoa, a brutal scene. A bearded guy is totally out of commission, bleeding out in the wreckage. Meanwhile, a mysterious cloaked figure is just chilling, face obscured, totally engrossed in some ancient text. Then, bam. The gray-haired mage, Lord Peruin, just goes full power, his whole body lighting up with an insane, glowing aura. That intense, piercing blue eye of his is locked on, absolutely zero hesitation. Check out this squad. Lucas Troman, the pirate captain, Isabel, and the pirate with glasses are all here, looking ready to take on anything that comes their way. Then, Isabel's eyes just pop open in pure, unadulterated shock, like she's just seen something absolutely mind-blowing. The sky above is a canvas of bruised, ominous clouds. Painting a grim backdrop for a massive, multi-masted ship now anchored at a busy pier, its colossal form dominating the scene as small figures scurry below. Close by, a silver-haired figure coolly assesses the situation, stating, that was some absolutely insane prowess. He stands alongside Isabel and Lucas Troman, a powerful trio poised against the ship's imposing silhouette. Isabel, visibly distressed, struggles to articulate her thoughts, her voice a mere whisper as she queries, unhurried what? Lord Peruan's intense gaze remains fixed, absorbing every word. Overcome with emotion, Isabel prostrates herself before him, a desperate plea in her posture, as Lucas observes the raw display of her anguish. She desperately pleads, please, don't be like this. I beg you, raise your head. Lord Peruan gazes down, his face a mask of inscrutable emotion. Lord Peruan's hand clamps down on Lucas Troman's face, a sharp tch escaping the blonde's lips as he recoils. With an intense stare, Lord Peruan drops a bombshell. Lucas's very origins are linked to the Lich's dark magic, leaving Isabel visibly worried. But Lucas, ever resilient, shrugs it off, claiming he's perfectly fine. A smirk spreads across Lord Peruan's face as he taunts, I feel refreshed after purging that dirty blood. Lucas, however, isn't having it, snapping back, sheesh, stop bluffing. Isabel, fed up with the banter, jumps in, scolding Lord Peruan for his disrespect in Lucas's own home. Suddenly, the perspective pulls back to reveal a vibrant town, and a single name rings out, Fry. Above the rooftops, a bewildered voice asks, what exactly happened to you? Down below, two figures stride through the streets, one marveling at how effortlessly a lich was vanquished, a challenge even for the most powerful court magicians. The companion continues, finally dropping the legendary name, Fry Blake. The most gifted trainee Westwood had ever seen. He'd only blown up in the last 2 weeks, leaving everyone asking where he'd been hiding his insane skills. Lord Peruan just drops a cryptic line, hinting that life always has its secrets. A truth he emphasizes. As their eyes lock in a silent understanding. Lucas, with a casual shrug, admits the man's got a point. Then, Lord Peruan throws out a massive invite, come visit my place. He wants to show his gratitude in a big way. As they start to leave, Peruan casually drops that a personal invitation from the Troman house is basically a golden ticket. He confirms his availability for the Troman house invitation, casually dropping, if I have time. What a flex. Meanwhile, Peruan, with a knowing smirk, gives a cheeky wink, holding up a finger like he's got all the juicy secrets. The June house, a total powerhouse where nobles practically beg for a glance, is basically an impenetrable fortress of influence. Isabel gasps, the full weight of the situation just slamming into her. Peruan then flashes something on a small device to Lucas, and the young man's jaw practically drops. Isabel, totally exasperated, demands to know what Peruan's up to, but he's still glued to his device. Her frustration boils over as she demands to know how Lucas, a literal magic practitioner, could possibly be broke and asking for cash. Peruan totally roasts Lucas about being broke, making him blush and look away in pure embarrassment. Lucas, completely flustered, tries to explain his money woes, throwing his hands up like, what do you want from me? He's eyeing that warped stone, calculating the insane price tag. This journey won't be cheap. But before he can sweat it, Lord Peruan steps in, hand outstretched, and Isabel is just stunned. And what an offer it is. 300 shimmering gold coins, a literal mountain of cash in his grasp. But he just brushes it off, saying 20 gold is plenty, and tells Peruan to keep the rest, leaving the Lord utterly amused. Peruan, loving the casual flex, teases him as a noble kid, a mischievous glint in his gaze. He then drops the bomb, he wants to invite him right now, but they're knee-deep in marriage talks for his fiancée. Elsewhere, on a busy street, Isabel and David are chatting about the June house's power, how everyone wants a piece of them, and their decisions shake the world. Back to the main event, Peruan is still playfully jabbing at Lucas about his money, implying his dad would handle his affairs, and Isabel is clearly fed up. A sly, knowing smirk crosses Peruan's face, his eyes burning with an unreadable, deeper agenda. Peruan, ever the provocateur, hits Lucas with a loaded question, does he have an older sister? Brushing off his own question, Peruan then casually states he's fine with the count and tells Lucas to act moderately. What is he even talking about? Then, the bombshell, Lucas's sister is the daughter of the June house. Isabel and David are totally tuned in, absorbing every word. Peruan keeps digging, calling Lucas's family an impressive household of countless skilled knights, but then throws shade, wondering if they'll even get along with Lucas. Lucas just takes it all in, his face a mask as Peruan's verbal jabs keep coming. But Isabel isn't having it. She fiercely tells David that Lucas is not weak, shutting down Peruan's subtle digs. Lucas finally locks eyes with Peruan, a clear, "Are you serious?" look on his face. Peruan, completely unfazed, just keeps on teasing, telling Lucas he already has that handsome face of his. Finally, with a smirk that says it all, Peruan drops the real bomb. "Oh, right. Contact my older sister in a month. What just happened?" He straight up calls out Fry, dropping a playful jab, like, "Dude, is your brain just full of nonsense?" Lucas, totally blindsided, just manages a tiny smirk back. Isabel just scoffs, David's watching, and Peruan. He's absolutely losing it, cracking up with a huge laugh, loving every second of this banter. Lucas, hand on his head, just laughs it off, a total mix of, "This is funny," and "Oh man, this is awkward." Peruan keeps cracking up, saying it's been ages since he's laughed this hard, then drops the "jolly friend" line on Lucas, totally messing with him. The sun's dipping, painting the sky in fiery hues, and the whole town, bridge included, is bathed in that golden hour glow. Peruan's like, "Alright, I'm out," telling Fry he's bouncing. But before he goes, he drops a reminder on Lucas, "You gotta hit up the June house," then throws in a little guilt trip about not looking ungrateful. Lucas, with a heavy sigh, mumbles, "Yeah, I guess I'll make time," as Peruan, Isabel, and David see him off. Lucas Troman keeps his poker face on, but you know his mind is racing after that intense chat. Meanwhile, Lord Peruan is practically glowing with satisfaction, a sly grin playing on his lips. And Isabel can't help but watch the whole scene unfold, totally captivated. "What a sight," she whispers, a flush creeping up her neck. And as they start to move, it's like Peruan is just daring Lucas to react. "Now that's what a noble should be," Peruan declares, and Isabel is quick to chime in, "He's absolutely splendid." Peruan keeps it going, dropping a bombshell about Lucas having deep pockets, making Isabel's gear clink with a nervous energy. "What was that?" Peruan asks, as Isabel visibly shivers, totally flustered. "But Lucas? Oh, he heard everything. And he's had enough." "Excuse me, but I'm broke, okay?" he shouts, absolutely fuming. Under the epic gaze of a colossal full moon, a majestic stone bridge spans a serene river, its surface shimmering with ethereal light as two tiny, silhouetted figures stand poised on its ancient arch. Lucas Troman, adrift in a cosmic void, unleashes a powerful declaration, refusing to acknowledge any god or praise. Back on solid ground, Isabel makes a grand entrance, rocking a fierce new red and black robe, striking an epic pose. The gray-haired observer's face is priceless, a mix of shock and pure exasperation at her bold display. Isabel, still owning the moment, practically dares him to comment, but he fires back, questioning her fluffy dungeon gear and telling her to ditch the fancy threads for something that lets her actually move. Her eyes flash, a vein practically popping as her patience wears thin. Isabel's fury explodes, demanding to know why he's the one getting heated. The gray-haired observer, ever the pragmatist, drops a cutting remark about her companion's minimalist tendencies, leaving Isabel to wonder if she just made a huge mistake bringing him. A sprawling metropolis bursts into view, its grandeur undeniable. Cutting through the crowds, a fiery-haired young woman and her silver-maned companion navigate the vibrant streets. The older man absolutely blown away by the city's sheer magnificence. But she's not having it, silently fuming that he's still acting surprised, as if her own earlier awe wasn't enough. He can practically feel her irritation, first wondering if she's never seen a city before, then flat out asking if she's in a bad mood. Their journey continues, and a powerful warp stone comes into focus, a legendary artifact that leaves the speaker utterly speechless. Yet, the red-haired woman remains unimpressed, scoffing at the idea that these so-called advancements are anything new, claiming nothing's truly changed in 400 years. Far away, Lucas Troman drifts through a cosmic void, a chilling thought forming in his mind: could a demigod have intentionally stifled humanity's evolution? He grapples with the unsettling question, a profound sense of wrongness washing over him as he stares into the heart of the universe. Isabel and the gray-haired observer are face to face with a massive structure, and suddenly, the observer's mind is blown. This isn't just any warped stone, it's an ancient relic. Isabel's like, "Wait, what are you even talking about?" He just gives a nonchalant, "Oh well, like finding an ancient artifact is just another Tuesday." Alright, ancient relic confirmed. The observer's ready to dive headfirst into this new world, even if it means faking it, till he makes it. They roll up to this massive, circular platform, the ultimate warp zone. A robotic voice blares, "Passengers, clear the warp circle," and the observer just goes, "Who?" The warp stone starts to absolutely blaze with power, and the observer freaks out, shouting, "So the stone itself powers the warp. That's awesome." Someone else just sighs, "Gasp, please." The warp circle goes full power, blasting the area with shimmering light and ancient symbols. The observer is clearly not having a good time with the warp, letting out a massive, "You." Uff. Isabel, knowing warps can feel afterwards, just rolls her eyes and tells him to chill out and stop being so embarrassing. Her blue eye practically lasers him with annoyance, as she doubles down, seriously, stop it, you're embarrassing. The warp stone exploded with an eye-searing burst of brilliant blue energy, instantly ripping open a streaking tunnel that tore through the fabric of reality itself. Countless shimmering particles danced within the raw, surging power of the warp. Then, a circular platform began to form, glowing with an ethereal golden light, signaling their imminent arrival. With a thunderous crash and a blinding flash, they were there. The warp platform pulsed with residual energy, settling into its new location. The observer, still stunned by the sheer force of the jump, could only manage a breathless gasp. "We've arrived," a voice declared, revealing the stunning new city of Hispania. Isabel's sharp eyes immediately scanned the intricate, foreign structures, absorbing the grandeur of their new world. 5,000 years later, some places just refused to change, standing as silent witnesses to the passage of time. Taking in the ancient, unchanging vista, the gray-haired observer finally turns, ready to move on. But elsewhere, a furious shopkeeper in a red tunic is absolutely laying into some poor soul on the ground, screaming about getting his point across. Isabel, looking totally fed up, mutters to herself about regretting bringing him along, then immediately switches gears to ask about food. And her gray-haired companion, clearly on the same wavelength, can't help but wonder if he messed up by bringing her here. Back at the shop, the old man is still tearing through his inventory, the sounds of his frantic search filling the dusty air. He finally stops, a scowl on his face as he takes in the absolute mess he's made. Then, he finally turns to the new arrivals, dropping a bombshell, "I'm Fry Blake." Isabel's jaw practically hits the floor. Isabel is absolutely flabbergasted, demanding to know what he's doing, calling it totally unbelievable. He lets out a frustrated sigh, demanding to know how long it's been since he last got to indulge. Isabel, hands on her hips, fires back, demanding to know why the academy is so lame they don't even sell beer, a rule that clearly grinds her gears. The shopkeeper, however, drops the obvious truth bomb: mages are strictly forbidden from touching alcohol. He then casually drops that it's been 13 days for him, declaring anyone past that point is above the law, a ridiculous claim Isabel instantly shuts down as pure nonsense. Slamming a plate of food onto their table, the shopkeeper's eyes narrow as he cuts straight to the chase. "Are you mercenaries?" A mouth-watering aroma explodes from the table, promising a feast. The shopkeeper, ever the shrewd observer, continues his interrogation, noting their plans for the tournament and instantly deducing, "You must be newcomers." The gray-haired man, glass in hand, throws down a gauntlet, mocking the shopkeeper's noble attire and new name, daring to ask if he could even hurt a fly. Then, with a defiant stare still locked on the shopkeeper, he takes a massive, satisfying gulp from his wooden mug, downing the drink. The old shopkeeper, surrounded by his wares, drops some serious wisdom: ambition. It's a young person's game, and totally fine. But then he gets serious, dropping a chilling warning: "Newbies like you, stay away from the Hispania Mountains." Isabel, unfazed, fires back, claiming she's heard it's a monster paradise and they're totally ready for the danger. The shopkeeper's face twists in anger as he snarls, "You know nothing." Isabel, totally blindsided by his outburst, is left speechless. But she bounces back fast, diving back into her food, muttering, "The delicious." The shopkeeper, now calmly wiping a bottle, suddenly apologizes, revealing he once had a son their age. A heartbreaking flashback hits, his son, David, at a grave, as the shopkeeper remembers always telling him, "You'll be a great mage, not just some cocky kid." Back to reality, the shopkeeper's voice cracks with pain as he finishes his story. His son died after daring to challenge the Hispania Mountains. A pang of regret hits her, and she whispers, "I'm sorry." But Lucas shuts it down fast, declaring, "Don't worry. We don't talk about those who pity." He presses on, detailing the grim fate of his son. He was escorting a merchant caravan, then went to gather medicinal herbs. Only the daughter came back to tell me he was gone. His eyes narrow, a grim warning in his voice as he gestures towards the deadly peaks, "But you should give up on the Hispania Mountains." The sheer scale of the mountains underscores his point, as he adds, "Even veteran mercenaries don't make it out of there alive. It's a..." His chilling words leave Isabel stunned, her eyes wide with dread. Suddenly, Lucas breaks the mood, taking a hearty swig from his drink and exclaiming, "Delicious." But the gray-haired observer isn't distracted, cutting straight to the point, "Can you tell me about the monsters that appear in the mountain range?" Isabel, on the other hand, tries her drink, immediately recoiling with a disgusted look and blurting out, "This tastes weird." The observer watches her reaction, a look of mild shock on his face. "Goodness." Isabel's face twists in pure disgust, a raw expletive ripping from her lips after that drink. Lucas Stroman, however, just lets out a heavy sigh, muttering that tonight's sleep is officially ruined. But the mood shifts instantly as Lord Perroin June, an imposing elder, makes his entrance, document in hand. Isabel and the gray-haired observer snap their heads up, all eyes on the new arrival. Isabel freezes, her face a silent canvas of shock and dread, as the Lord turns his gaze to her. She scrambles to apologize for her slip-up, then nervously asks the Lord about the price of her mistake. But the Lord waves off her worries, declaring no payment is necessary. Instead, he hits her with a classic, asking if her brain even functions, a jab she's clearly heard a million times. While their exchange unfolds, the full moon hangs majestically in the night sky, bathing everything in its ethereal glow. Inside a shadowy chamber, Lucas stares out, a thought echoing in his mind about the old man's favorite food, a dish from a place famous for its sausages, yet somehow not to that specific elder. Later, high above the city with Isabel, he makes a chilling declaration to remember a taste, then, with a snap of impatience, demands sausages be prepared, because the moment of truth has arrived. Meanwhile, Lord Peruin June, his gaze piercing, can barely contain his anticipation. Elsewhere, an older, imposing figure lets out a short, chilling laugh. Beneath the colossal, glowing full moon, a majestic mountain range sprawls into the horizon. Back on the edge, Lucas and Isabel stand, their figures stark against the cosmic tapestry of the night sky, surveying the world beneath them. Boom! Lucas just unleashes a torrent of crackling blue lightning, absolutely going off. The air literally tears apart, as the electrical energy intensifies, arcing with destructive force. And then, Kwang! A massive explosion of blue electrical energy erupts, absolutely obliterating unseen foes in its devastating radius. Isabel, watching from a distance, can only gasp, completely overwhelmed by the sheer scale of that insane magic. His eyes are practically burning with blue light, Lucas is locked in, his expression absolutely unwavering amidst the chaos. The air finally settles, leaving behind a faint, misty haze, with lingering blue particles drifting through the quiet aftermath. Meanwhile, deep in a dense forest, Lord Peruin is like, this terrain is too rough, we gotta go around. But Isabel's all, no way. We just gotta find some strong masters to help us. Deep in the mystical forest, Isabel finally gets it. 2 months of grinding for a legendary skill, and now she knows why she's here. But then, Lord Peruin drops a bombshell, challenging her, does she really know the truth behind their epic quest? Isabel, not missing a beat, fires back, wondering if he dragged her all this way for just that. Peruin's face is stone cold as he drops the ultimate bombshell, they're heading to Schweitzer's dungeon. Isabel's jaw hits the floor. Her eyes are saucers, barely able to whisper the name of the great mage Schweitzer's legendary dungeon. The scene explodes into a desolate, world-shattering crater, a place whispered to hold the power to rule the entire world. Isabel's voice cracks with disbelief, screaming, isn't this just a myth? Does it even exist? But Peruin, knowing Schweitzer's twisted mind, calmly states this dungeon is anything but simple, leaving Isabel totally in the dark about his secrets. He then drops more intel on the dungeon's insane layout, detailing a colossal mountain, a pristine lake at its summit, and a tiny island chilling right in the middle. A chilling vision flashes, Lucas Troman, on the ground, as Lord Peruin looms, a cryptic promise on his lips, I will be waiting for you over there. Snapping back to reality, through the barren wastes, Peruin drops a bombshell, the very god humanity worships. Just another dungeon. This isn't just any dungeon, it's where a 6-star once stood, now a volcanic wasteland, its secrets still locked away. He thinks Lucas Troman would have been all over this place, and their mission? Just find an island inside. Peruin doubles down, saying, legend isn't even hype enough, because this place is pure, unadulterated danger. He drops the bomb, you need to be at least a 6-star just to think about challenging it, and Isabel's jaw drops, shouting, 6-star. He points a finger. Peruin lays it out, even with a month of grinding, hitting 6-star takes forever. Isabel, still reeling, asks if he's a 6-star, and Peruin's answer. They need a better training spot, pronto. He keeps dropping wisdom, telling her to always find a safe spot to focus her mana, then hits her with a sharp, are you even listening? The sky above them is just glowing with the colors of dawn or dusk. While Isabel's mind is already conjuring up this monstrous, glowing blue beast. Its terrifying form just shimmering with crackling energy. The sheer weight of this challenge just crushes her, a massive wave of anxiety washing over her as she grapples with the insane power she'll need. You can practically feel her distress. While Lord Peruin, eyes fixed on the distant horizon, notes that she's finally getting used to the local monsters, but then he's like, what's got you so glued to that spot? Then his eyes snap into focus, a hint of pure discovery in his voice as he drops the bomb, found it. The sun's just gone behind the rugged cliffs, painting the vast, open landscape in long, dramatic shadows. Isabel's jaw drops, eyes wide with pure shock. Because right in front of them is this absolutely massive, roaring waterfall. It's an insane view. The sheer force of the water creates this epic misty curtain. And behind it, Lord Peruin and Isabel find a secret cave. Totally hidden by nature's awesome power. But inside, there's this insane, glowing golden orb, just pulsing with energy, and Peruin's hand is already reaching for it. The whole cave lights up from the orb, and Peruin just announces, this is their new training spot for 2 whole months. He calls out to Isabel, who's just staring down, looking totally overwhelmed, as his words hit her hard. She whips around, totally shocked, asking if he's serious, but he just drops the bomb, mess up, and she's dead. Peruin, dead serious, stresses that she has to observe carefully, because the stakes are literally life or death. Suddenly, raw energy starts to gather, swirling around an open palm, hinting at something massive about to unfold. Inside the secret cave, Lord Peruin is already in the zone, meditating intensely, a golden glow erupting around him as he taps into some serious power. Isabel's jaw drops, eyes wide with disbelief, a cold sweat running down her face as she thinks, is this seriously what I have to master? Meanwhile, outside the cave, the epic waterfall just keeps on flowing, totally oblivious to the insane magic brewing inside. But then, bam! A brilliant blue glow starts blasting out from the waterfall's core, swallowing the whole waterfall in a massive, shimmering magical explosion. Back inside, Peruin's aura goes absolutely wild, his body now a conduit for raw, crackling blue energy as the power maxes out. The insane blue energy just keeps on growing, forming a swirling, pulsating vortex of pure, concentrated magic. Lord Peruin is absolutely locked in, pulling in mana from the entire Hispania mountain range, a wild blue energy swirling around him. The raw power just radiates, enveloping him in an ethereal, shimmering glow. Isabel is absolutely stunned, thinking, is he seriously pushing his mana room to its absolute limits? Then, the blue energy explodes, morphing into a wild, swirling vortex of vibrant purple. The waterfall just keeps on flowing, totally oblivious to the insane power being unleashed right next to it. The purple energy just keeps building, pulsating with raw, untamed magic. The sheer force is undeniable, reflected in the intense, focused gaze of the observer. Lord Peruin, now completely engulfed in the deep purple aura, calmly states that with this, his preparations are finally finished. Isabel's jaw drops in utter astonishment, as the powerful mage wraps up his insane ritual. The cavern absolutely explodes with vibrant purple energy, completely engulfing Isabel as she stands at its core. Both her and the gray-haired observer are locked in, watching every single detail. A soft gasp escaping him as he processes the sheer power on display. He can't help but exclaim, I had my predictions, but who knew her talents would absolutely blow past my estimations. His eyes are still glued to her, adding, and more than anything, it's her insane passion for learning that truly shines. A massive, utterly satisfied grin splits his face wide open. Isabel, completely taken aback by his sudden, intense grin, blurts out, "Wah, what are you doing?" He just chuckles, pretty impressive, girl. She quickly turns her head away, a clear flush of embarrassment creeping in. With the magic show officially over, he casually declares, let's eat now. Isabel's face flushes with an adorable blush, her eyes sparkling with pure, unadulterated joy. With the gray-haired observer holding her close, Isabel shyly asks, I'll join their guild and say hi. Would that make you happy? His smile is everything as he declares, extremely happy. Lucas Stroman, ever the master, whips up a magical feast. Glowing orbs shimmer into existence, and with a confident grin, he announces, all right, let's eat. But David's not having it, shaking his head and saying he's good, telling them to save the grub for later because he's just not hungry. The gray-haired observer, ever the wise one, drops some knowledge, saying David's brain must be winter spread, basically meaning he's full on mana, not food. Isabel glances at the food, and gets told to just eat it, even if she has to force it. Her quiet, oh, says it all. Later, chilling in a rugged cave, Lucas Stroman and the gray-haired observer are just sitting, taking it all in after a wild day. Isabel absolutely devours her food. The crunching echoing as Lord Peruin, the gray-haired observer, dramatically looks away. Honestly, she declares, I never thought I'd be chilling with you like this. He drops a bombshell, I always saw you as this ice-cold, power-hungry villainess, only caring about your own spirit. Isabel's face gives nothing away. But he presses on, now, seeing you like this? You're totally different. I can't explain it, but... She cuts him off with a sharp retort, you haven't even found your own path yet, then throws the question back, so, which me is the real deal? A sly look crosses her face. As she lets out a soft chuckle, hee hee. What if both versions are just, the real you? Lord Peruin just shakes his head, thinking humans never change. They just keep growing. He'd rather thank her for changing, he thinks, while Isabel watches him from afar. She points out that before, he never would have brought her to train, just the two of them. Her face flushes bright red, the thought of a whole month in this cramped cave, just the two of them, making her squirm. He brushes off her worries, telling her not to sweat the small stuff, since he never said she couldn't be interested in boys. But a deep sense of annoyance still washes over her. Then, she spots a glowing magic circle appearing behind him, demanding to know what he's up to. Still fuming from his comments, Isabel grumbles about monsters crashing their party. Then, with a huff, she storms off from the cave entrance, only to immediately trip and plummet into a hidden chasm. The immediate relief of being away from him is quickly overshadowed by a burning rage, and all she can think about is landing a solid punch on his face. Meanwhile, deep within the cavern, a tranquil waterfall flows into a crystal-clear pool, oblivious to the drama unfolding. Its soothing sounds masking the fact that Isabel is out cold, bundled up in a mysterious cloak. Her hands are tied, a stark reminder of her helpless situation, but she remains deeply unconscious. Suddenly, a voice cuts through the quiet, asking if she's finally awake, and Isabel groggily comes to, her eyes snapping open. And who's there? Lord Peruin, sitting perfectly still in a meditative trance, completely unfazed. As she immediately demands to know how long she was out, and he just casually drops, about 5 hours, maybe. Annoyed, Isabel just wants a break, but deep down, she knows today's about to get real. Suddenly, a voice cuts through the tension, dropping the bomb. Kasajan's training method starts now. And he's calling it simply, battling. He doubles down, warning them this method is seriously dangerous, telling them not to even think about copying him. Just watch, as he faces off against Lucas. Then, boom. A surge of power, and vibrant particles start swirling around him. His entire body engulfed in a dazzling, swirling vortex of blue and purple energy. That quickly morphs into a mind-blowing, glowing orb of pure, raw magic. Pulsating with insane power. The training kicks off, and two raw, elemental forces, blazing fire and surging water, swirl into a perfect, dynamic balance. He's trying to split the mana inside him, carving it into pure fire and water, and Isabel is watching every intense second. But inside, those clashing mana attributes are going to war, pushing him to the absolute brink of losing control. The fire mana explodes into a raging, demonic beast. While the water mana counters, forming an ethereal, aquatic warrior. And these two elemental titans collide in a brutal, internal battle, the water warrior slamming into the fiery demon. The sheer intensity of this internal war is showing, blue energy crackling around his strained eye. The water entity surges forward, its power absolutely crushing the fiery manifestation. Violently suppressing it and driving it back. Inside, a blazing, dragon-like inferno erupts, pure, untamed fire. Lord Peruin's voice cuts through the chaos, demanding control, match the balance so that the two attributes don't clash and can coexist, he commands, as a shimmering water warrior manifests to confront the flames. A golden scale appears, a visual metaphor for the impossible task, and Isabel's eyes widen, so this is. Lord Peruin, the master, sits amidst a maelstrom of cosmic energy, his mind locked in an epic internal struggle, so this is. Battling, he declares, the very air around him crackling with the raw power of his mana. Isabel can only stare, mesmerized and terrified, as the cosmic energy swirls, a direct window into the brutal internal fight, watching battling. Her face contorts with worry, the sheer pressure of the demonstration almost palpable. A sharp TSK escapes her, a clear sign of her awe and apprehension at the sheer intensity of this training. Isabel is absolutely engulfed. A vibrant, swirling aura of purple and pink energy explodes around her as the training hits different, and she lets out a soft groan. Inside that wild energy, the fire and water mana are going absolutely nuts, forming a dynamic yin-yang that just keeps spinning faster. The internal conflict is raging, these energies are just slamming into each other with insane power. And as that balance starts to crumble, the swirling mana just goes absolutely wild. Her face twists in pure, unadulterated agony, and then, a dark, viscous fluid just bursts from her lips as the power absolutely wrecks her. She doubles over, coughing her guts out, the sheer intensity of this Kasajan method making her scream, "What did he even tell me?" A dark, crimson pool just stains the ground, proving the insane internal pain she's going through from even the tiniest mana wobble. But while Isabel is literally dying, Lord Peruin is just chilling, meditating like he's on a spa day, totally unfazed by the chaos he just unleashed. All around them, the raw, untamed mana just keeps going, a full-on maelstrom of red, blue, and purple, showing off that dangerous internal conflict. He remains utterly serene, his silver locks shimmering as if woven from starlight, while cosmic energies explode around him in a dazzling display of raw power and absolute calm. A massive waterfall crashes into a pristine pool, its thunderous roar dominating the serene landscape. From the depths, a figure slowly emerges, her long, fiery red hair flowing around her. She surfaces, her blue eyes holding a deep weariness, a silent echo of an unimaginable journey. Later, she rests in a small, rocky alcove, her eyes distant, lost in deep contemplation. With careful precision, she starts arranging small, flat stones on the cave floor. Her fingers tracing their smooth surfaces, as if marking the passage of countless ages. A fierce resolve hardens her expression as she looks up, declaring, "I've never applauded nor praised you," acknowledging that 4 millennia have already flown by. She hasn't moved an inch. An unseen voice exclaims, as Lucas Troman, the newly reborn mage, has been absolutely frozen in place for an entire week. And as a massive waterfall roars in the background, the voice challenges her, demanding to know if she's finally going to quit that terrifying, insane method. But she doesn't even flinch, her eyes locked on something unseen below. A tremor runs through her, her feet barely touching the ground, and then, her amber eye snaps open, a storm brewing within its depths. Then, with an explosive surge, a blinding torrent of electric blue mana bursts forth, swirling with raw, untamed power. The sheer force of the magic consumes her, her fiery red hair instantly shifting to a brilliant white silver, her eyes blazing with an otherworldly blue glow. Tears of pure exertion stream down her face, a raw display of overwhelming power, as she masters the impossible, the materialization of mana. 4,000 years is too long to become a great mage, a haunting voice from her past whispers, reminding her that such power is impossible with normal growth speed, yet the unseen observer is absolutely stunned, having never witnessed such mind-blowing growth speed. Now, fully transformed and radiating pure power, Lucas Troman stands engulfed in a blinding blue aura, her raw magical energy surging outwards. Still pushing the limits of her newly transformed body, she strains, her glowing blue eyes fixed on an unseen goal, demanding more from herself. It's still too slow. Faster. And more efficiently. A massive, shimmering blue aura erupts around her, its sheer force causing the very air to crackle, as David and Isabel watch from below, visibly struggling against the overwhelming pressure, barely able to stand. Isabel clutches her chest, her face contorted in pain, the raw mana assaulting her senses, threatening to tear her apart. The sky itself responds to the surge of power, unleashing a torrential downpour that lashes against the landscape, a furious storm born of pure mana. Even a nearby waterfall churns violently, its waters roiling and crashing with unnatural force, a testament to the sheer power unleashed. David struggles to catch his breath, a ragged cough escaping him, as Isabel collapses to her knees, overwhelmed by the suffocating mana, barely able to endure. The source of this chaos, Lucas Troman, remains enveloped in a blinding blue light, her form a beacon of raw, untamed power, pushing past all limits. Isabel's eye widens in sheer terror, a silent scream caught in her throat as the mana intensifies. She gasps. Finally, the immense exertion takes its toll, and Lucas Troman collapses, her body racked with pain, while Isabel, still reeling from the assault, struggles to recover. She groans. After pushing her limits, Isabel can't help but marvel, her own explosive growth almost beyond comprehension. With vibrant blue mana swirling in her palm, she ponders Castian's brutal training, a true battle of wills. This was no ordinary regimen, it was so extreme, she questioned if even the ancients truly survived it. But the power was undeniable, and it all made sense why modern mages couldn't touch the legends of the past. Then, a sudden, unsettling feeling washes over her, making her glance around, a flicker of unease crossing her face. Her eyes snap open, a jolt of shock running through her. A deafening series of cracks erupts, as the protective barrier starts to violently shatter. Isabel's face contorts in alarm, the barrier is breaking. Has an intruder breached their defenses? Then, with a cataclysmic crash, the barrier explodes into a blinding flash of light. The barrier explodes, unleashing a torrent of raw, fiery energy that blasts through the air, a deafening wah ripping through the silence. But from the very core of that blazing inferno, something colossal begins to take shape, a monstrous, fiery bird, absolutely dwarfing Isabel and the observer. Its eye, a blazing vortex of red and gold, locks onto them with an ancient, terrifying gaze, a silent judgment in its depths. Isabel's jaw drops, her mind reeling from the sheer impossibility of it all, barely able to choke out, "Tiche, that's..." The full, terrifying glory of the fiery beast is unveiled, its colossal wings spanning the heavens, as both Isabel and the observer stare up, utterly dwarfed and awestruck. But the observer, cool as ice amidst the chaos, simply states the impossible truth, a phoenix. Isabel's mind is blown, the name hitting her like a truck, confirming the impossible, screaming, Phoenix. Isn't that a legendary creature and a divine beast? The observer drops a bombshell, explaining that those creatures from myths and legends. They were totally real, ancient beings, some dangerous, others like dragons and Qilin, just incredibly powerful entities from forgotten eras. A soft, golden glow pulses around him as he finishes his explanation, his eyes still locked on the incredible beast above. He drops another bombshell, revealing that the very god humanity worships is just another mythical beast. The observer just stands there, chill as ice, right in front of the colossal phoenix, which is practically burning with raw power. And then, in a move that'll shock you, he just casually touches the divine beast's head with his bare hand. Isabel's jaw drops, absolutely floored, muttering, "Unbelievable. He just touched a divine beast with his bare hands." He just turns to her, cool as a cucumber, and says, "It's because it shows no hostility to me." But hold up, he drops another bombshell, the phoenix isn't weak, it's injured. Pointing to a massive gash, he reveals, it has a deep wound left by Argo's claws. Staring at the incredible beast, he can't help but exclaim, it's a miracle it's still alive. Isabel's face is still a picture of pure shock, her brain trying to process a wounded divine beast. Staring at the fiery beast in the distance, she whispers, it's just like the legends, a divine beast that no human can control. But then, her resolve hardens, and a fierce, fiery glow ignites in her eye, mirroring the wild power she just mentioned. Amidst the raging storm and jagged peaks, a sinister purple energy pulses, sparking a terrifying realization. Whatever's here can wound a divine beast. A sharp intake of breath, and the chilling question hangs in the air, what monstrous power lurks in these mountains? A mind-bending vortex of dark purple energy erupts, shimmering with an otherworldly, terrifying light. Exploding outwards as its raw power skyrockets. Meanwhile, Isabel, ever the sharp one, drops a deep question, asking if a phoenix's healing powers are just about energy recovery. Big brain moves. Suddenly, back in the void, a monstrous, scaly claw rips through the mist with an earth-shattering CRR. And then, boom! A magnificent, fiery bird beast explodes into existence, a blinding inferno of golden flames. Its form solidifies, radiating pure, unadulterated power and scorching heat. Lucas Troman faces down the newly manifested titan, and the creature's ancient voice booms, recognizing his rare insight into its illusions and dropping a cryptic warning, choose your opponents wisely. That golden eye, burning with ancient wisdom, locks onto him, piercing his very soul. And from the shadows, the gray-haired observer takes it all in, a deep, calculating look on his face. Amidst a crackling storm, the colossal fiery bird-like creature is still manifesting, radiating pure power. And then, bam! A surge of water or ice magic explodes nearby, creating an epic clash of elemental power. And just like that, two of these magnificent, burning forms take to the sky, dominating the turbulent heavens. But elsewhere, deep inside a cavern, the gray-haired observer and Isabel are together, their eyes locked onto something mysterious in the shadows. A fiery feather, still glowing with raw magic, floats right there, and the observer just sighs, grumbling that the creature was totally useless. He then breaks down the feather's insane value, explaining that a phoenix's feather can heal anything, create magic items, and sell for a fortune. With the feather still radiating power, he figures the creature is just some kind of cosmic spectator. Then, he turns to Isabel, grumbling about how useless she's been, even after he's dragged her around for ages. Isabel, totally blindsided by his shade, snaps back, asking if he's even talking about her. Isabel, clearly fed up, snaps, can't you talk nicely with humans as well? But deep down, she's seriously worried. Because for some reason, this guy, in her eyes, is like an ancient sage, a flawless great mage with unbelievable depth. She's an absolute legend herself, yet he's acting like such a disrespectful jerk. His quiet insight, she realizes, carries the weight of literal pharaohs. A wisdom so ancient, it practically vibrates with history. His insane historical knowledge, every word packed with maturity and experience, makes him seem like an elderly sage, a flawless great mage. This guy is seriously something else. He's an ancient sage, she thinks, his wisdom so profound, he's like a flawless great mage. A truly great mage. She ponders, a hint of annoyance flashing across her face. And again, she's left questioning everything. But then she wonders, is the legendary Lucas Troman actually a hypocrite? She can't help but feel a deep sense of arrogance and disrespect. The more she dwells on it, the more her anger boils. The sheer absurdity of him. Her frustration ignites, a fierce glow in her eye. But even with her burning irritation, the observer's immense presence, radiating a shimmering blue aura and an ethereal figure, is absolutely undeniable. Suddenly, a surge of raw, blue power explodes from the observer, his entire being igniting with an otherworldly glow. The radiant aura engulfs him completely, and Isabel can only stare, a tiny speck against this colossal surge of energy. Her eyes widen, then narrow in a mix of shock and grudging respect, as if she's just witnessed the impossible become reality. A frustrated sigh escapes her, as she grudgingly admits he actually pulled it off in just 1 month, begrudgingly congratulating him on hitting 6-star. And there he stands, the observer, his powerful, chiseled form now fully unveiled, absolutely radiating with the blinding, pulsating blue energy of his ultimate awakening. The sheer power continues to surge and crackle around him, a terrifying testament to his new, god-tier status. With a fierce, almost defiant gaze, Lucas Troman dismisses the very notion of a god that others worship, his own power burning bright. David, ever observant, points out the lingering fragments of the dragon's magic, and Lucas Troman's senses immediately confirm it, he can feel it pulsing around them. A profound realization washes over him, a game-changer, he can now absorb mana just by taking a breath. His eye flares with an intense, magical glow. With a decisive gesture, he points, proclaiming with absolute certainty, the dragon's magic is practically screaming his name. His hand clenches into a fist, a silent, powerful declaration of his intent. He still refuses to acknowledge the so-called God that humanity worships, even as Isabel teases the gray-haired man, offering him some beef jerky. But he just grimaces, flat out refusing the jerky. He needs a real hunt, a proper meal to satisfy his hunger. Isabel, looking concerned, asks if he'll be okay, but he just scoffs, challenging her with a, "Who do you think you're talking to?" Later, the roar of a majestic waterfall fills the air in a stunning, rocky vista. But the duo suddenly freezes, utterly shocked by what they've stumbled upon. Before them, a gruesome sight unfolds. The mangled corpses of massive monsters litter the desolate terrain. One of the creatures, a massive phoenix-like beast, stands out, and Isabel can't help but marvel at its sheer scale. Taking in the carnage, he suddenly understands why they hadn't detected any monsters. Something powerful had been protecting them. Isabel, her face serious, confirms their suspicion. It looks like someone was actively protecting them. Suddenly, he's face to face with a glowing, purple-haired spirit, her presence radiating power as she challenges him about his disciple. He coolly corrects her, clarifying that he's not training him, but that he's his disciple, and a powerful thought resonates: if fate permits, they'll cross paths once more. Later, trekking through a harsh, rocky wasteland with Isabel, he declares the hunt unnecessary, proposing they hit Lord Peruin's dungeon next. A blood-curdling shriek rips through the air. Both he and Isabel are frozen, staring at the devastation, their faces etched with pure disbelief and a dawning, dark realization. The desolate landscape looms, and then, a human voice, shockingly near, cuts through the silence. Isabel, still fixated on the gruesome sight, grumbles about her rumbling stomach. Then, a sudden, sharp insight. With an explosive burst, the gray-haired man erupts into a fresh crater, his powers swirling violently as he braces for the unknown. Out of nowhere, a vicious, glowing blue blade slices through the air, and Isabel barely dodges, letting out a shocked yell. Eyes wide with pure panic, she lets out a desperate, piercing scream, calling out, "Fry!" The desolate, endless landscape looms, and a chilling thought echoes in her mind: what am I even supposed to do out here alone? Alone on the desolate ground, a shimmering magical barrier erupts around her, staff raised, ready for anything. But elsewhere, in a shadowy, cramped space, Lucas Troman has a terrified man in his grip, whose blood-curdling scream rips through the silence. His face twists into a mask of pure, unadulterated terror as he begs for mercy, his plea abruptly ending in a choked gasp. Isabel is now helplessly tied to a tree, watching as the terrified man stands surrounded by a group of menacing, shadowy figures. Then, without a single warning, a flurry of daggers plunges into the man's back, his desperate pleas instantly silenced in a brutal, crimson spray. His lifeless body collapses, a final, agonizing question echoing in the air: "What have I ever done to you?" as one of the ruthless attackers stares down, utterly cold. The tension is palpable as two men clash, one roaring, "I'm gonna get you, 'cause Kim Hung," and a man with a top knot, brimming with anticipation, shouts, "It's my turn." Surrounded by his crew, the man with the top knot explodes in frustration: "Stop messing around. Let's go, you dummets." He's hyped, "It's my turn." But his focus shifts, a frustrated sigh escaping him as he wonders, just when will that woman pass by here? The weight is killing him, he groans, it's already been over a month. By the flickering flames, he mutters a frustrated curse, a deep grumble rumbling from his chest. A new scene unfolds, a hand tightens around a spear, ready to strike. The wielder of the spear barks at his audience, "Watch carefully, you fuckers." He vows, "I'll properly stab him in the forehead." A blonde-haired man screams in agony, his cry cut short. With a primal roar, the spear wielder launches the weapon, a perfect strike heralded by the chilling boast, a 10-point hit. A blood-curdling scream rips through the silence as Lucas Troman is absolutely brutalized, tied up and helpless. His head violently snaps back from a crushing blow, blood exploding everywhere. A spear, still vibrating with raw power, is absolutely buried in his chest, a brutal trophy of the execution. Then, with a sickening rip, the weapon is brutally yanked out. Two dudes watch the bloody aftermath, one bald with gold earrings, the other rocking a topknot. The bald guy's like, "What the heck was that?" And the top-knot guy just laughs, "Heh, they really didn't want me to leave, did they?" Top-knot guy stretches, totally fed up, "Ugh, this is so annoying." The bald guy turns to his buddy, giving orders, "All right, let's pack it up and roll out. The chief's all ready." But before he can even finish, new, long-haired silver fox steps right up, getting in his face, "Who the hell are you?" The bald guy glares back, hand already on his weapon, "You bastard." A brutal executioner, knife in hand, stands ready. But the mysterious long-haired figure who just arrived questions the very premise of their kill, wondering if this dead man was truly meant to fall. A cold intensity burns in his gaze. As the two executioners, one scarred and the other bald, gloat over their bound victim. But then, the impossible happens. Lucas Troman, the corpse, speaks, his voice laced with venom, calling out their sick enjoyment. The executioners are stunned, their faces contorted in disbelief, the dead are talking. In a flash, the gray-haired man unleashes his power, his eyes glowing with electric blue energy, a storm of magic swirling around him. And with a deafening crack, he obliterates the bald executioner with an invisible strike, sending him flying. Both executioners are violently blasted away, leaving the gray-haired powerhouse standing victorious amidst the chaos. The gray-haired man's magic detonates, and the top-knot executioner screams as the raw power rips through him. Both executioners are blown back, their faces twisted in pure terror and agony, completely outmatched by the sheer, overwhelming force. Vicious purple energy engulfs the top-knot executioner, his body writhing as the magic tears into him. The gray-haired man stands his ground, arm outstretched, unleashing a cataclysmic, swirling vortex of purple energy that consumes everything in its path. The ground itself explodes under the impact, leaving a smoking crater as the devastating magic finally begins to fade. This was no ordinary spell, it was the legendary Light Scythe, a force of pure annihilation. With the last burst of purple energy fading, the battlefield falls silent, the dust slowly settling. Barely clinging to consciousness, the bald executioner's mind screams one terrifying thought: 5-star magic. And through the chaos, Lucas Troman stands completely untouched, the gray-haired man's power having shielded him from every ounce of destruction. After effortlessly dispatching his foes, the gray-haired man coolly gazes down, a chilling calm in his voice as he announces, "Friends, it's time for a lesson." Deep in the forest, Isabel's eyes are locked onto something, her focus absolute. A sharp gasp escaping her, as the gray-haired observer remains a silent, watchful presence behind her. Just moments later, the gray-haired observer stands victorious, a chilling silhouette atop a pile of vanquished foes. His gaze fixed on the horizon, a silent testament to the carnage. Isabel confronts him, her voice trembling with disbelief, demanding to know if he truly annihilated every single one, but with unnerving calm, he simply states that he allowed one to flee. Side by side, they survey the brutal aftermath, the air thick with the scent of battle. Elsewhere, a brutalized executioner, barely clinging to life against a jagged rock, gasps out a crucial detail: his fallen comrades referred to their leader as the vice captain, confirming the terrifying presence of an even more powerful captain lurking nearby. After the brutal aftermath, Isabel was totally shaken, demanding answers from the gray-haired observer about the messed-up scene they were witnessing. But his thoughts were miles away, flashing back to a terrifying demigod's taunt: was he getting off on human suffering, or was it just a show? His internal response was a cold, hard "bring it on." A cold sneer twisted his lips, the very idea of someone enjoying this chaos making his blood boil. Isabel, still reeling from the carnage, couldn't believe how chill he was, flat out telling him she wasn't going to just ignore all the innocent people who just died. But then, the scene cut to a totally different vibe: a desperate, light brown-haired guy, his face a mask of pure agony, admitting he'd already shed way too much blood, as Isabel watched, looking super grim. He was practically sobbing, begging for help, his voice breaking, even as some unseen, icy voice just shut him down, reminding him they owed him nothing. Isabel, seeing the gray-haired observer's stone-cold determination, could only manage a choked "this." Totally overwhelmed by his unshakable will. The desperate guy, still bawling, reached out a shaky hand, his last plea to say sorry to his dad before he bit the dust. But the gray-haired observer's eyes stayed ice-cold, totally unfazed by the guy's desperate cries, his stare locked on something way bigger than the current pain. Above a desolate, craggy expanse, a chilling revelation drops: the third floor. Conquered by a god-king. But elsewhere, deep in the woods, a small crew huddles around a campfire, their faces lit by the flickering light as an old-timer starts to spill the beans. And Captain Karlst? He's all ears, his intense stare locked on the old man. The old man throws his hands up, exclaiming that someone downed a whole barrel. He swears to Captain Karlst it's the absolute truth, he saw it with his own eyes. And as he talks, a flashback hits: a white-haired beast, its fur flying in the wind, a raw, untamed power unleashed. Then, a chilling shift, an ethereal spirit, its thin body reeking of decay, a ghostly horror from a forgotten time. The old man keeps going, stressing that this guy was no joke, his mountain fighting skills were so insane, they couldn't even fight back. Captain Karlst stands with another guy, his face giving nothing away as the wild tale wraps up, the old man's crazy story hanging heavy in the air. He decapitated our squad in a flash, and I was the only one who made it out alive. Karlst's face hardens, taking in every word. The blonde-haired man reveals the attacker was a magician, and Karlst just nods, affirmative. Considering the situation, the magician points out the enemy's terrifying ability to double-cast spells. Karlst's eyes narrow, processing the threat, and he grimly states that a "settle-made" is now on the table, confirming with a firm affirmative. His boots hit the ground with a determined thud. As he leads his squad, barking the order to increase the lookout. They have to find that ghost. His resolve is absolute. Once they're in position, they're going to take him down. The wind whips around him, a silent testament to his unwavering will. With an intense stare, he challenges the mercenary, scoffing at the idea that a true mage would ever stoop to martial arts. The mercenary can only manage a weak humph, clearly outmatched. Karlst doesn't let up, accusing them of messing around near the borders, and the mercenary immediately buckles, stammering out an apology, admitting they were just bored. This low-ranked mercenary is completely out of his depth, his mind reeling as Karlst demands answers, wanting to know who he thought he was fooling. Karlst's thoughts turn to the mage's escort, the one who dared to bring them to their territory, realizing the man was utterly clueless about the real danger he was facing. His eyes blaze with a singular, burning question, just who is this mage? The vast, empty sky looms overhead, a stark contrast to the chaos below. As the view sweeps down to a ravaged forest, where the shattered remains of a cart lie scattered, a heavy huff echoing through the debris, hinting at a recent, violent encounter. The battlefield is a wreck, and one warrior lies utterly defeated amidst the carnage. While a grim-faced soldier surveys the devastation, a heavy huff escaping his lips. Meanwhile, Captain Karlst, his teal hair flowing, confronts someone with an intense gaze, demanding to know just how long he's been on this relentless hunt. His target is revealed, the formidable light blue-haired warrior, the eldest daughter of the legendary Aquarium Night House, her aura undeniable even with her guards at her side. With a decisive stride, her identity is finally laid bare, Sonia. But the confrontation quickly escalates as Sonia is abruptly encircled, a menacing ring of armed soldiers locking her in, their blades glinting with hostile intent. Without a flicker of fear, she unleashes a devastating, two-handed swing with her colossal weapon, a whirlwind of steel and fury. The impact is catastrophic, Sonia tearing through her attackers like a force of nature, decimating multiple soldiers with terrifying, unbridled power. The soldier from earlier can only stare, his face a mask of pure, unadulterated shock and terror, as Sonia's raw power leaves him utterly speechless. Sonia absolutely goes off, her sword a blur as she carves through another foe. Shrapnel explodes everywhere, a testament to her raw power. Her gaze is pure fire, locked onto her next target with zero hesitation. That blade is razor-sharp, just waiting to deliver another crushing hit. She tightens her grip, ready to unleash pure chaos once more. Captain Karlst, absolutely livid, screams, "Die!" But Sonia's not done. Her sword ignites with a brilliant, otherworldly glow. The energy surges, making the blade hum with destructive potential. Then, with a ground-shaking stomp, she unleashes the full force of her attack. Two maids are caught whispering, and one of them drops Sonia's name, clearly worried about something big. Elsewhere, a battle-hardened, bearded warrior in full-plate armor is just staring, his face a mask of pure, unadulterated despair. And a dude with epic gray hair is just looking down, the silence is deafening as he processes the absolute mess they're in. Sonia, sword in hand, hears the compliments about her looks, but she's not even fazed, her mind is locked onto the brutal truth of their situation. It's been over a month since that mountain incident, a brutal fight that wiped out their entire night escort. The memory of that massacre is still raw, and Sonia's face just locks into pure determination. Now, it's just the maids and Sir Luther left, the knight is totally busted, sitting there with his sword stuck in the dirt next to him. But Sir Luther? He's been retired for ages, which means Sonia is literally the only one left who can fight. Out in the barren wastes, a formidable group of skilled fighters looms, their numbers overwhelming the single knight. They stand ready. While Sonia, sword in hand, curses the impossible odds, recognizing this as the absolute worst-case scenario. A sudden thought sparks in Captain Karlst's mind, a burning curiosity about what's unfolding. He confronts Sonia, straight up asking, "Where's your escort magician?" His gaze sharpens, utterly rejecting the notion as pure garbage. Sonia, unfazed, fires back, challenging him, "You seriously think a legendary night house would use a mage as an escort?" Karlst just scoffs, his mind already made up, magicians are all weaklings now, nothing like the true magician he remembers. He mutters, "Host," but a profound curiosity grips him, desperate to uncover the true nature of this night. Sonia, looking down, tries to reassure, "Don't worry. We'll be with you right away." But then her face twists, and she snaps, "What do you mean?" Karlst just grins, mocking her, "What? You think that's it? You think it's that easy to break someone who's seen hell?" Sonia's jaw clenches, her anger boiling over. Karlst just keeps pushing, his smirk widening as he looks up at her. "Imagine, guys like us getting to mess with a noblewoman. What a treat, huh?" Her eyes bore into him. Her eyes ignite with a furious, crimson light, and she snarls one word. "Bullshit." Facing the whole crew, Sonia's voice rings out with pure defiance. "I'd rather bite my tongue off, than put up with your schemes." Karlst's face darkens, his eyes narrowing at her fiery declaration. Then, he drops a final, ice-cold threat. "Doesn't matter, really. If you die, we'll just take those women behind you for ourselves. Two women, draped in purple, are forced to their knees on the desolate earth, their expressions a mix of terror and despair. Captain Karlst, seething with impatience, rallies his troops, declaring they've been on this relentless chase for over a month, and his men are reaching their breaking point. A chilling smirk spreads across his face, his eyes glinting with malice as he vows they won't be granted a merciful end. Sonia's eyes ignite with a furious red glow, her gaze a blazing inferno, as she seethes at the audacity of these sons of bitches. Karlst's voice slices through the tension, a direct challenge, demanding to know if she dares to disobey him. But Sonia stands her ground, her determination unyielding as she proclaims they will absolutely not back down this time. Flanked by another woman in purple, Sonia's face is a mask of fierce resolve, prepared for any challenge that dares to cross their path. Sir Luther drops to one knee before her, his head bowed in ultimate fealty, declaring it would be his greatest honor to lay down his life for Lady Sonia. A red-bearded man observes the unfolding drama from the periphery, his face a stone-cold mask. Sonia lets out a soft, regretful sound, her gaze cast downward as a nun's comforting hand rests upon her shoulder. Her eyes briefly flaring a furious red, she offers a quiet apology. Standing before the kneeling nuns, Sonia reiterates her apology, acknowledging that her emotions had gotten the better of her. The nuns, their faces etched with understanding, assure her that they comprehend, expressing gratitude for her past kindness that allowed them to grow up healthy. A quiet sound of contemplation escapes Sonia, her hand resting over her heart as she processes their words. As Captain Karlst watches from a distance, the nuns continue their plea, imploring Sonia for a grave favor. They beg her to end their lives with her own hands. Explaining their reasoning, they declare it would be dishonorable to reunite with their god after having become profane and filthy things. With a heavy heart, Sonia finally concedes, her hand gripping the hilt of her sword as the nuns express their readiness to reunite in heaven, holding their heads high. The crowd, including Captain Karlst and the bald executioner, erupts in disbelief, shouting for a halt, utterly bewildered by the unfolding chaos. But for the sake of those two young women, and to uphold the nun's honor, Sonia charges forward with an unyielding resolve. Her blade becomes a blur, a lightning-fast strike aimed directly at the ethereal spirit, who lets out a shocked squawk, vowing to gratefully send her on her new journey. Captain Karlst, in a desperate lunge, tries to physically halt her, screaming for her to stop. But Sonia's blade, now blazing with an otherworldly glow, moves with impossible, blinding speed. The ethereal spirit's hand shoots out, a soft boo sound accompanying her desperate attempt to block. But Sonia's sword connects with a devastating quang, the impact reverberating through the very air. Captain Karlst and the bald executioner, along with the rest of the crowd, are left absolutely speechless, reeling from the sheer, brutal efficiency of her attack. Sonia's face is a picture of strained resolve, her teeth gritted, the immense weight of her choice etched into every line. A single tear escapes Sonia's eye. As the weight of her actions settles upon her, a sharp, almost metallic sound echoing the finality of the moment, a stark punctuation to her resolve. Nearby, two robed figures recoil in shock, their faces etched with utter disbelief at the audacity. Sonia herself cries out in raw frustration, her entire being radiating pure anguish and defiance. Her hand pulls back sharply from the ethereal spirit's fading grasp, the contact broken with a soft, lingering hum, a final severance. The robed onlookers remain stunned, a silent question hanging in the air, just when, what could possibly happen next? Meanwhile, the bald executioner and his top-knotted companion, along with another guard, exchange worried glances, muttering about the unexpected, terrifying skill of the Skullgate bandits. Sonia looks down, her face contorted in a grimace, a choked "goddammit" escaping her lips, the weight of her decision crushing her. Her fists clench tightly at her sides, as she grapples with the bitter, crushing realization, in the end, I suffered the worst humiliation for a night. The robed figures are stunned, but she's not done. She turns, her voice sharp, ready to lay down the law. No hesitation, she lays it all out. Sonia Aquagard, the eldest daughter of the Aquagard house, order you. She's not holding back, telling them to bite your own tongues and, the onlookers are shocked, realizing who they're dealing with, Lady Sonia. Meanwhile, a piercing golden eye snaps open, locked onto an unseen target. Captain Karlst, with his signature teal hair, steps into the light, a fierce glint in his eye as he declares, you've finally revealed yourself. Sword drawn, he confronts the shadowy, red-eyed figure, the gray-haired observer silently taking it all in. The mysterious cloaked figure, finally named, is simply known as, Ghost. An epic gathering unfolds in a sun-drenched forest, with countless figures converging. And right in the thick of it, Lucas Stroman shines, his golden locks blazing, flanked by Isabel, the mysterious gray-haired observer, and the ethereal spirit. Sonia, the ethereal spirit, and David are all here too, their expressions hinting at some serious business. Isabel and David are locked in, side by side, their eyes laser-focused on something just out of sight. Then, Captain Karlst, with his wild teal hair and glowing eyes, steps up and drops a bombshell, hinting at whispers that he's indifferent to his own people. He finishes, and Lucas, alongside the gray-haired observer, stands poised, bracing for the next move, as the loaded question hangs heavy, "Are you the leader?" Sonia, ever vigilant, keeps a hand on her blade, her gaze locked on Captain Karlst as he presses on. Fixing his gaze on Lucas Stroman, he demands, "Did you come from over there?" Lucas Stroman, without missing a beat, points to the dense woods and declares, "That's exactly where our base camp is." Karlst's eyes narrow as he demands, "Did you do this to my men?" Lucas Stroman, with an almost unnerving calm, simply states, "I took good care of them." Captain Karlst's eyes blaze with an unyielding intensity, his face a mask of pure determination. He clenches his jaw, every muscle straining with raw power. "Kill that white-haired guy ourselves," someone screams, but the gray-haired observer cuts them off, declaring, "No way. He's not just any mage, he's on a whole other level." Karlst explodes into action, a lightning-fast kick slamming into an enemy mage, sending them flying. The gray-haired observer confirms, "A battle mage? No, he's something else entirely. We can't even touch him." His eyes ignite with a blinding yellow glow, fixated on the overwhelming display of force. Karlst unleashes a furious tempest, a whirlwind of pure magical energy ripping through his foe. He follows up with a brutal, mid-air kick, driving the enemy deeper into the chaotic storm. UG8, the defeated enemy cries out, as another watches in disbelief, utterly awestruck by Karlst's insane power. Suddenly, a dark-skinned man's face twists in pure shock, his golden eyes blown wide by something unseen. Then, a massive blue energy blast explodes, ripping through the air with a thunderous crash. The raw power intensifies, swirling into a vortex of pure destruction. A lightning-fast, blue-tinged kick rips through the chaos, before erupting into a blinding white explosion that blasts everything apart. But as the smoke clears, two new figures emerge, a fiery red-haired woman and a cool light blue-haired man, calmly surveying the destruction. The man, his sharp golden eyes narrowed, immediately challenges, "Who are you people? What is your purpose?" The red-haired woman, though, just offers a soft, knowing smile. She calmly declares they mean no harm, telling him to "rest easy now. We are not your enemies." Sonia, poised and ready, holds her stance, the calm before an explosive confrontation. Then, a thunderous footfall erupts, sending dust flying as she charges into battle. She's a blur of motion, a storm of light blue energy blades tearing through the air. As she unleashes a glowing yellow construct, her relentless attack continues, but her foe underestimates her, writing her off as just another mage. But this isn't just any mage, her blades are terrifyingly real, and her mana supply is absolutely endless. Captain Karlst, trapped in the brutal onslaught, can only wonder if she'll finally burn out, or if his forces can even stop her relentless assault. His face twists into a snarl, eyes blazing with furious yellow light, as he promises her head will be flying soon. But before he can even move, a brutal impact slams into him, sending him flying back with a choked cry. The sheer power of the hit leaves him glowing with raw energy, completely disoriented. Captain Karlst goes all out, unleashing a barrage of glowing magical blades. But she's not backing down, parrying every single strike, even as he's practically screaming, "How are you keeping up?" His golden eye is practically burning with focus, he's not letting up. The sheer volume of his attacks is insane, a relentless storm of blades that just keeps coming. Karlst keeps pushing, thinking his mana is endless, but Sonia, though taking hits, is still standing, wondering how he's keeping up this insane pace. His eyes are practically exploding with power, a dark aura just radiating off him. But then, bam! A sudden, sharp impact. That sound shouldn't even be possible with his attack going on. Before he can even blink, she's there, delivering a devastating kick that sends him absolutely flying, his body twisting like a ragdoll. He's spinning helplessly, totally out of control. A cry of shock and pain rips from his throat, the tables have completely turned. Captain Karlst is down, trying to shake off the devastating blow, his mind a chaotic mess. The ground itself is still exploding with dust and debris, a brutal reminder of Sonia's power. Karlst is clutching his head, clearly in agony, and David can only stare, stunned by the turn of events. He's still on his knees, coughing up a storm, barely holding himself together. David, seeing Karlst's pathetic state, can't believe it. Did he actually stop attacking? Then it hits him like a lightning bolt, Karlst is completely out of mana. He's done. But even out of mana, Karlst's rage is explosive, and he screams, demanding his troops finish the job. Terrified of Karlst's fury, David and the others launch themselves into the fray, because if they don't kill her, they're next. But wait, David breaks off from the charge, turning to Sonia with a desperate plea, asking if she's out of mana and promising to help her out. Just as things looked dire, Lucas Stroman unleashed his power, his hands blazing with raw magical energy. Eyes closed in fierce concentration, he pushed his magic to the limit, swirling particles of pure power erupting around him. Then, with a cataclysmic roar, the very earth shattered, massive chunks of rock exploding skyward. The charging enemy, including the top knot and bald executioners, were instantly thrown into chaos, their battle cries replaced by shouts of pure shock. Pure terror twisted their faces, as the earth continued to rip itself apart. Even Captain Karlst, jaw dropped and eyes bugging out, could only scream in disbelief, what the F***ck is this? The ground is shaking. Under a soldier's boot, the ground simply disintegrated. He plunged into the gaping maw of the earth, screaming, "It's an earthquake." Down he went, a desperate, "Ah. I'm falling," ripped from his throat as the world crumbled around him. Dust and debris fill the air, and one soldier's face is a mask of pure, unadulterated terror. More soldiers plunge into the abyss, their screams swallowed by the earth's furious roar. Scattered and broken, the remaining soldiers can only plead for a mercy that will never arrive. As the chaos unfolds, Captain Karlst's eyes widen in utter disbelief, a single word escaping his lips. He gazes across the ruined battlefield, the horrifying reality of their complete annihilation crashing down on him. Amidst the newly scarred earth, Lucas Stroman, Sonia, and David stand tall, surveying the catastrophic aftermath of his overwhelming power. A red-haired warrior, sporting a single wing, can't believe it, a 5-star magic beast just popped out of nowhere. He's thinking, do I seriously have to fight that thing now? He drops a bombshell, revealing the previous attacks were just a smokescreen, all to buy time for some insane spell. Lucas is absolutely stunned, the pieces clicking into place, someone was pulling off a massive diversion. The red-haired guy is blown away, admitting he's never seen anyone pull off a double cast like that before. A look of pure shock and understanding washes over his face. While the gray-haired observer muses on this insane power, confessing he'd never seen anything like it until Lucas came along. Then, just like that, the memory vanishes, replaced by a desolate, icy wasteland. Beneath an endless, crystal-clear sky. Distant mountains pierce the horizon, their jagged peaks cutting through the blue. An ancient, sun-baked cart lay forgotten in a desolate field. When a group converged, and a woman stepped up, radiating authority. She poured out her heartfelt thanks for their assistance, then declared herself Sonia Aquareed of the Lionheart Kingdom. Sonia's face hardened, a sharp edge to her tone, demanding to know why the light-haired mage showed no courtesy. She shot back that he wasn't exactly a paragon of politeness himself, the tension palpable. Suddenly, a fiery red-haired woman jumped in to smooth things over, apologizing for his rough edges and introducing herself as Isabel Trisnan. Isabel then glared at the light-haired mage, pure frustration in her gaze, demanding to know if he thought his attitude was charming, and why he couldn't show the same respect he did to the phoenix. Still reeling from the bizarre encounter, Isabel scoffs at the hermit theory, but the gray-haired observer just lets out a frustrated humph, clearly annoyed by the whole thing. Then, Lucas turns to Sir Luther, straight up asking if he knows the guy, who apparently hails from the legendary Blake House. Sir Luther, looking serious, confirms it, dropping the bombshell that the Blake House is one of the most powerful noble families keeping the Casca Empire running. Isabel's jaw practically hits the floor, shouting out the name of the current family head, Sir Isaka Blake, in total shock. The gray-haired observer chimes in, revealing Isaka Blake isn't just a 7-star magician, but also the head of the 6th magic tower. Then he's like, seriously, how can someone so epic look so rough? Changing the subject, Sir Luther cuts to the chase, asking where they're all headed. Lucas, ever the man of few words, just says, to the city, and Sir Luther's like, oh, I know that place. The City of Magicians, named after you, right? The gray-haired observer jumps in, confirming they're all going to the same place, and offers to lead the way, making Lucas genuinely thankful. A light bulb goes off for Lucas, as he lets out a quiet, thoughtful, ah. Sir Luther, ever the pragmatist, thanks Lucas for the offer, but insists they must first retrieve their fallen comrades. He makes it clear, this will take a while, so Lucas and his crew need to move on. Lucas, ever the strategist, questions if they'll just bury them on the spot, and Luther grimly confirms it, no way to haul them all the way to the city. But Lucas, with a bold move, offers to take the bodies to the city himself, leaving Sir Luther utterly stunned, a bewildered "excuse me" escaping his lips. But before Luther can even process it, the sky rips open. Figures and debris rain down, and the entire group stares up in shock, their previous conversation forgotten. Chaos erupts, but Lucas is already moving. His eyes blaze with an icy blue glow, hands snapping up, ready to unleash some serious magic. A massive wooden cart, one of the falling horrors, explodes into splinters mid-flight. Its wreckage raining down with explosive force. Meanwhile, a blue-haired woman with striking lavender skin stares up, eyes wide with shock, uttering a stunned "my goodness," as the chaos unfolds. With chaos raining down from above, he coolly asks if they should just keep moving, as impacts rock the ground around them. But elsewhere, in a chilling contrast, two brutal executioners loom over a helpless, shadowed prisoner, their intentions clear. The city, far off in the distance, remains oblivious to the chaos brewing outside its walls. Back to the action, another object smashes into the ground, just barely missing the cart. But even with death raining down, Sonia can't help but be utterly shocked, calling out Lucas for being only 20 when she thought he was way older. Lucas just ponders her words, thinking about how he appears to her. But then, he just shrugs it off, completely unbothered by her surprise. Another massive impact rocks the ground, forcing their focus back to the relentless assault. With more debris crashing down, Sir Luther, completely lost in a bizarre exchange, demands to know what on earth they're talking about. He's still piecing it together, realizing the mercenaries were hiding something in those mountains from the jump, but the why is still a mystery. Sonia chimes in, remembering they'd been waiting for over a month. The gray-haired observer connects the dots, pointing out that a month is exactly how long it's been since they left Louisville. Sir Luther, still reeling from their nonchalance, can't wrap his head around it. The aquarium's got enemies everywhere, not just friends. But Sonia doubles down, stressing just how skilled those mercenaries really were. She presses on, the image of menacing, red-eyed figures flashing in her mind, because to take out mercs that good, you'd need some serious power. Her mind flashes to Captain Carlston, another formidable warrior, solidifying her conviction that only true heavy hitters could pull off something like that. Lucas, ever the cool one, just shrugs it off, pointedly reminding her how effortlessly Fry handled them. Sonia's face tells the whole story, a mix of awe and pure exasperation at his casual display of strength. Still trying to process the sheer audacity, Sonia demands to know how Lucas got so ridiculously strong, so fast. She grabs his arm, practically shaking him, but he just shrugs it off like it's nothing. Meanwhile, the gray-haired observer, Lord Perruin, is just trying to wrap his head around it, thinking about those skilled mercenaries they just wiped out. But Lucas, being Lucas, just drops the most casual bomb, like the answer is literally staring them in the face. Lord Perruin's jaw practically hits the floor as Lucas drops the ultimate truth bomb. It's all about effort. Sonia's face is a masterpiece of pure exasperation, and Lord Perruin is just speechless. Lucas just doubles down, hammering home that effort. Suddenly, the view sweeps to a vibrant port, with a massive ship gleaming, totally ready to set sail. Crates and supplies are getting hauled aboard, all set for an epic voyage. Lord Perruin grips Sonia's hand, a poignant goodbye hanging in the air. Stepping onto the deck, she casts a final, lingering look back. The sun dips below the horizon, painting the port in fiery hues as the massive ship, bearing Sonia, Lucas, and their allies, readies for its epic voyage. Lord Perruin and Isabel stand firm on the dock, their gazes fixed on the departing ship. Lord Perruin, with Isabel beside him, thanks a guard profusely, ensuring their family's safety was paramount. He hopes his aid will continue to prove invaluable. He then bids the red-capped figure a pleasant voyage, a seemingly innocuous wish that sparks an immediate, intense reaction from Sonia. Both Lord Perruin and Isabel are stunned, utterly bewildered by the sudden turn of events. Sonia, her eyes burning with resolve, makes a powerful vow: she will return the favor. With their departure imminent, Lord Perruin placed a reassuring hand on Isabel, urging them to protect each other and survive, and she was all in. Then, facing Lucas, Perruin gave a respectful bow, seeking his approval. He clarified that a simple send-off would be a major blow to the royal family's reputation, a serious issue for them. Meanwhile, Sonia stood firm, fist clenched, a determined look on her face as Isabel observed her intently. Breaking the tension, Lucas then cheekily told Isabel to buy him dinner, and she immediately shot back that she knew the perfect spot for amazing salads. Captain Carlston and a bearded man are just chilling outside a busy inn, checking out the vibe. The bearded guy just hums, totally judging the place with a skeptical look. Meanwhile, inside, people are just chilling, but someone's already throwing shade, asking if this place even looks fit for royalty. But Carlst isn't having it, spilling the tea that even royalty hits up this spot for its legendary brews. He glares a bit, then calls out the bearded guy, like, seriously, why'd you call this place a dump? A nearby innkeeper chimes in, defending his pub, but the bearded man just grumbles, saying he's taking this as his cue to bounce ASAP. Carlst just cracks a small smile, totally entertained by his buddy's endless complaining. But the bearded guy is still not impressed, snarking that he's shocked anyone even survives coming here. A piercing gaze cuts through the silence, an elder figure with a commanding presence taking it all in. Close by, a young man with light brown hair and a red-haired woman are locked in a moment of shared worry, her words cutting through the tension. Then, a chilling close-up on a creepy doll, a knife clutched in its hand, as a voice demands, "Are you Kazan?" The scene explodes into an inn, where the bearded man holds court, captivating a small crowd, as the young man with light brown hair desperately calls out, "Father." A bandaged arm, clearly injured, reaches out to grasp a scroll, the wound a stark reminder of recent events. The red-haired woman hovers over the young man, now seated with his bandaged arm, offering a calm assurance, "It'll be fine." But his face remains etched with worry, and he whispers again, "Father." The bearded man then drops some serious wisdom, balancing respect with fatherly authority, "You're right, master. But as a man, I'm your dad, so listen to me, master." He's absolutely crushed, tears flowing as he screams about regretting every single moment spent with his father. Isabel's freaking out, apologizing for the master's son bailing, but Karlst just shrugs it off, saying it's totally fine and doesn't even matter. Karlst then eyes the two executioners, baffled at how they even got into the master's son's room, and they look exactly alike. Karlst figures the team's dead weight must have some crazy healing magic up their sleeve. Isabel's like, "Who are you even talking about?" And he just casually drops, "Oh, just asking who the drag is," totally calling her out. Karlst just brushes it off, muttering, "Anyways." With a total, I don't care vibe. Cut to a massive hall, where Karlst is scoping out Sir Luther and the knights, realizing they were about to get wiped out, and the whole house looks like it's going down. Karlst points out the huge crowd, thinking it's a good sign, but Sir Luther just sighs, saying it's a shame and they'll need to find a new spot. Karlst then apologizes to Sir Luther for even mentioning it, but then drops a bombshell, calling the casualties, perfectly delectable. Suddenly, a furious shout rips through the air. The shopkeeper is kicking everyone out, no exceptions. His face a mask of pure rage, he screams that the place is shut down for good. Isabel and a bewildered customer can only stare, the customer fuming about the early shutdown when he was still trying to buy things. But the shopkeeper is having none of it, literally pushing the guy out the door, telling him to get lost and he won't even charge him. And with a sharp click, the door slams shut. A "closed" sign now hangs, making it official, no more business today. Meanwhile, in a completely different scene, the gray-haired observer is trying to convince Isabel that this place is totally secure, gesturing emphatically as he speaks. He then talks about saving up his cash to get ready, planning to conquer the tower as soon as he's old enough. Outside, the moon shines through a heavily barred window, a stark reminder of confinement. Light slices through a barred window, revealing dust motes swirling in the silence, punctuated by a subtle splash. Elsewhere, in a steamy bath, Sonia sinks into the water, a soft splash accompanying her. A hand breaks the surface, water splashing softly. She stares blankly, lost in thought, steam swirling around her. Meanwhile, a feast awaits, with baskets piled high with fresh bread and more. In a lively tavern, the bald server brings out a platter of meat, as Isabel and the bearded master watch, the sounds of the room buzzing around them. The food is set down, the tavern's in a constant backdrop. Later, dressed and moving, Sonia climbs a wooden staircase, a quick glance back revealing a lingering splash sound. The gray-haired man immediately picks up on it, asking what's wrong. While Isabel quickly tells him to sit down. Finally seated, Fry manages to explain he'd been desperately looking for them, shocked to find them here. Then, a sudden pressure, a foot pressing down. And he just collapses, caught by the gray-haired man as Isabel stares, horrified. His face is a mask of pure agony. And the gray-haired man's expression turns grim with worry. He's still haunted by the question, "Do you have so many eyes?" But the scene shifts. Sonia confronts the gray-haired man, a crumpled paper in hand, as he just stares her down. She lets out a frustrated "TCH," her face etched with worry. Then, with a hint of admiration, she blurts out, "They look cool." She points, demanding to know, traces of effort. A sudden blush creeps up her face, her tough facade cracking just a bit. Nearby, Isabel's eyes widen in sudden realization, muttering, now that I think about it." Sonia presses the gray-haired man, demanding to know, "We heard you were headed to the capital. Is this your final destination?" He just coolly confirms, "You're going to the capital, aren't you?" The gray-haired man delivers the ultimate mic drop, the job is done, leaving Sonia and Isabel in stunned silence. Lucas Stroman's mind races, dismissing the very idea of a higher power, a concept he's never once acknowledged or praised. Suddenly, the gray-haired man shouts in pure shock, "The fiancée? The daughter of the Aquarius house?" Sonia, her face a mask of calm, takes it all in. Then, an older, bearded figure cuts in, demanding to know if they're familiar with Lord Peruin. Isabel quickly clarifies, revealing Fry and Lord Peruin were academy trainees together, and that's where they got the engagement scoop. The bombshell drops, leaving Sonia to grapple with the shocking news, she's Frey's fiancée. Her eyes flash wide, a sudden emotion breaking through her composure. The gray-haired man shuts his eyes, a deep contemplation washing over him. Outside, beneath the glow of the full moon, a mysterious voice suddenly declares, "You know." The skies are brooding, a canvas of dark, ominous clouds stretching across the horizon. Down below, outside a magnificent stone estate, David and Isabel are locked in a deep conversation with a prominent gray-haired figure. David bids a polite farewell to Isabel, wishing her a peaceful journey ahead. The gray-haired noble then pivots, addressing Fry directly, hinting at a future conversation once his current tasks are wrapped up. He extends a bold invitation, asking if Fry would grace the June house with his presence. Isabel observes the exchange, a flicker of intrigue crossing her features. The gray-haired man holds his gaze, awaiting Frey's decision with calm anticipation. Fry finally responds, a casual, why not, sealing the deal, much to Isabel's subtle amusement. Isabel flashes a knowing smile, her words a quiet vow, I'll be waiting for you. But the journey continues, and the talk turns to the elite. Someone of high lineage like Lord Peruin June, looking to. The voice trails off. Lucas nods in agreement, you're right, as they trek through the rustling forest. Isabel scoffs, that Peruin brat must have used up all his luck just to gain her favor. Then, a sudden realization hits her, and she corrects herself, actually. She quickly clarifies, I'm not talking about Fry. I'm talking about the eldest daughter of the prominent aquarium night house, Sonia. She shakes her head, how can a commoner like you be so dense? Their conversation fades as they press on, the path ahead still veiled in uncertainty. And that's exactly where their next big challenge begins. The legendary Schweitzer's dungeon, a place of untold dangers, now stands before them. As Isabel and Lucas Troman stride towards the formidable structure. Isabel's breath hitches, her eyes blown wide with a mix of terror and wonder. This isn't just any dungeon, it's the infamous Drake Mountain, a name that strikes fear into the hearts of many, its menacing peaks clawing at the tempestuous heavens. And within its treacherous domain, a colossal winged beast, a true nightmare, takes to the skies. The apex predator, the ultimate terror, known only as the Drake. Isabel can't tear her eyes away, her face a mask of pure apprehension. She turns to Lucas, her voice laced with disbelief, asking if he's actually going to fight those things, but he just smirks, wishing it were that simple. His hand clenches, a silent, powerful declaration of his unwavering resolve. He surveys the vast, desolate expanse of Drake Mountain, a place known for its formidable dangers. Lucas acknowledges the sheer scale of the Drake, admitting it's larger than he had anticipated, and remarks that this is a place where anything can happen. Suddenly, Isabel loses her footing, tumbling to the ground with a cry of surprise. Scrambling back up, she gasps in disbelief, having never imagined a drake of such immense proportions. Lucas confirms their location deep within the treacherous Yadama Mountains, a region where the unexpected is the norm. Isabel, overwhelmed, declares it a living hell, then turns to him, demanding to know his intentions. Without a word, Lucas extends a hand, and a shimmering, azure portal of magical energy begins to coalesce before them. Before it can fully form, a colossal, unseen force violently impacts the nascent barrier, shattering it with a deafening crack. The impact sends Lucas Troman reeling backward, a monstrous, scaled claw having struck him with devastating force. He explodes into action, a blur of motion. Snatching Isabel and pulling her clear of the unseen threat. Stunned and disoriented, she yells, "Are you crazy? Why did you?" Before she can even finish, an unseen blow rocks him, sending him flying straight into the path of a colossal, crimson beast. He barely manages to choke out, "Do that." Her jaw drops, pure terror in her eyes as she screams, "An ogre." Shaken but defiant, he grumbles, "He could have just told me about it instead of doing that." The beast towers over them, its bloodshot crimson skin and three piercing eyes a nightmare made real. A deep, unsettling thrumming vibrating from its colossal frame. This isn't just some ogre, it's something far more grotesque, far more dangerous, a mutant. He grimly acknowledges the master's warning, realizing the mountains are crawling with mutants. The grotesque ogre unleashes a deafening kraah, its third eye burning with malevolent energy. It lunges with terrifying speed, closing in on Isabel. But Isabel is ready, a blazing orange aura erupting around her as she channels her power. A concentrated burst of fire ignites in her hands. Her eyes blaze with fierce determination, the raw energy swirling around her. She unleashes a devastating fireball, screaming a command. The attack slams into the ogre, detonating in a blinding explosion of light and heat. Lucas watches the explosive display, a stunned "ho!" escaping him as he realizes just how much stronger she's become. Boom! A colossal explosion of orange and yellow energy just detonates, the raw power of that last attack still ripping through the air. But wait, through the smoke, a pulsing purple core emerges, like some impenetrable shield at the epicenter of the chaos. The magical impact just keeps on reverberating, sending shockwaves that tear through the very ground. And get this, through all that raw power, the colossal red ogre just stands there, absolutely unfazed by a direct hit. Watching the whole thing go down, Isabel is absolutely fuming, realizing her attacks just did nothing. Lucas, ever the strategist, drops the bomb, the ogre probably just evolved a magic resistance. Talk about a power-up. Isabel, desperate, asks for a plan, but Lucas just throws it right back at her, "What do you think we should do?" Then, as Lucas starts thinking, "Am. Blue lightning just erupts, a clear sign he's about to unleash something wild. The energy just keeps building, coalescing into this insane, shimmering magical array. After channeling his immense power, Lucas detonates his spell, unleashing an earth-shattering force that pulverizes the surroundings into a storm of crystalline shards.